Ah. Wait, why is it? Okay, there we go. I was like, why do I sound like Piglet? Or no, Pooh. Wait, it's Pooh, right? Oh, yeah, it's Rabbit. Yeah, it's Pooh. Oh, I was thinking Piglet. Doesn't sound like anything like Piglet. Bruh, bruh, bruh. Oh, wait, no, I need to do the YouTube thing first. Oh. Hello, Kitty Hunter. Alex, hello. Yo, Binks. Can I have a tiny bit of coffee? Sorry. Oh, nice. Nice. This is great. Skitter Carl, I'd be Victor. Are you a Christian? Yes. X53NJ Lively Spoiled Soda Trace to Ray. We're finally gonna do the most misunderstood heroes in Overwatch. Finally got that thing freaking. We were gonna do it on Tuesday, but the preparation for finding the codes took a lot longer than I was anticipating, so we had to pull an audible, which is a bummer, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Make sure that game audio is not too loud here. Shouldn't be. Wait, where's my OBS? Okay. Who are we coaching? Well, I mean, randoms, basically. Oh, the coach and the coach code. Well, people were saying that the Christopher awkward combo from this morning was actually pretty interesting. We might look at that later. They had a lot of discussion about like bubble usage and timing, and I thought anytime there's like any sort of like coaching discussion that's like not cancer like it was on Tuesday, which is why I bailed as fast as I did, I'm actually pretty interested in it. So we'll see. Yeah, if it's an actual interesting strategy discussion, I'm in. But Tuesday was just drama, and I was like, okay, well, I can't be bothered. Why do I have radiation burns? I don't know. It's cold. Your cat found the sunny spot? Yes. Reaper better be on the list. No. But we have a couple honorable mentions. But Reaper isn't still really on the list because I find Reapers definitely... I mean, every hero is misunderstood to an extent, but not as much. It's 70% towards interesting. Yeah. We'll skim around, but we'll cross over when we get there. But first things first, misunderstood heroes. Big Goose, thank you for the sub. Congrats on the 18 months. If Brig is on the list, Brig is on the honorable mention list. We'll wait a few minutes and then we'll get cooking and I'll go full YouTube mode and you guys know the routine. I might try to use Epic Pen and windowed Overwatch. I want to actually see if that works because that would actually be kind of nice. Give a little scribbly scrap. Sim is on the honorable mention list. If I do this, and then where the frick did chat go? Somebody, why is my face cam over there? Frick me, man, I'll tell you what. I think it's because, okay, there. Yeah, it's Diva Kiriko May. I mean, to be honest with you guys, it's nobody says that those are by far the most misunderstood. Part of it's anecdotal. You know, in my experience, those are definitely near the top. But also part of it is, I think those characters will be interesting to talk about too. So, you know, it's hard to really judge objectively. Is Spilo on this? No, Spilo is perfectly understood. How's my lifting been recently? Pretty bad. I had a bit of a nagging injury over like the last 10 years. That's been giving me a lot of grief recently. So not great, to be honest with you. But I appreciate you asking. Mama Hong. Yes, definitely one of the most misunderstood characters. What is the drawing thing you use? Epic Pen. I don't know that I can really recommend it because now it's subscription based, and I hate subscriptions. Like, I physically, anyone says like, oh, it's a subscription services. No, give it to me. I want it. I'm buying the product. It's mine. So frick Adobe, frick the Spotify. It's mine. It's mine. So I refuse to participate. I still have like my license from when I first bought it, when you could buy it like 6 years ago, which is why I use it. But yeah, freaking joke. Twitch is a subscription service? Yes, but that's because it is an entertainment service that is constantly providing new things, right? I have a list of movies that when I'm rich, I'm going to buy all of those movies, like MP4s, download them, buy the DVD or Blu-rays, rip them, whatever. I'm going to own it. I own my music. I use streaming services to find new music, and then I buy the songs that I like. Freaking killing me, man. Is Brigham misunderstood hero? She's on our honorable mention list. Yeah, we'll talk briefly about it. Starting to call myself codes because I'm diamond right in the middle. Yeah. No diamond players. Too mid. Bro, get on piracy. Yeah. I will say nothing. I will say nothing. But I will say, if you buy something you don't own it, then, I personally do not participate in piracy, but I've never really been one to judge other people that do with certain services. I have ethical concerns with piracy, but I also have ethical concerns with subscription services. So, it is what it is. You're pirating the spoiler stream right now. I actually respect that a great deal about you, to be honest. Windowed Overwatch. Well, I'm going to try to use Epic Pen, and Epic Pen is really not a great program. It's super buggy, and so I think Windowed will probably be friendlier. It gets tweaky with full screen applications. So,
you want hot coffee or cold coffee?
I don't give a frick, man, to be honest. I wouldn't mind. I appreciate that.
Hot is the extra.
I always prefer hot. You get what I'm saying? So, what's your favorite album you've recently discovered? Ooh, I wouldn't say recently discovered, but like there's a couple good War on Drugs. Spoon has some good albums I've kind of gotten in the last couple of years. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Yeah. If you want to see a funny clip of this recent clip and highlights, I will, but we got to get started on our project in about a couple of minutes. I'm not much of an album guy. I listen to everybody's discography, but I will very happily cherry pick the songs that I like. Okay. All right. Distractions aside. Let's get a good little starting thing here. Let's get a big old saucy here. I apologize if we're going to have to edit this up for YouTube because I know I'm going to technologically struggle here. Can I even? Yeah, look! Woo! It works! Wait. No, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean Oh no. Okay, it's fine. We're good. We're so back. Okay. We're so fine. It was good. We're good. Let's get a nice little intro here. Wait, and I need to... Okay, wait, the title is good. There's my notes. Don't peek. No, frick. Okay. No, frick. Okay, let's go. All right, you guys know me, YouTube mode. Be a little slow to respond to certain things. Let's turn up the audio just a wee. I'll get started. All right, what are the 3 most misunderstood heroes in Overwatch 2? Obviously, this is not a question maybe everybody's asking, but it's certainly something that I was interested in, and it's something that I feel like I'm relatively qualified to answer because I've been coaching this game for a long time. And one of the consistent things that pops up is that there are certain characters that feel like they do a better job communicating exactly how they're supposed to be played. And so even in lower ranks, mid ranks, you'll still see people replicating the play style that's appropriate for that character. But either due to maybe a misunderstanding of the hero design, or more often than not, kind of like a cultural community thing that we see with a character and we think that that's where they get value, and it's just kind of like snowballed out of control there. A lot of heroes are just not really thought of in the right direction. Part of this is going to be a macro understanding of like how the game of Overwatch is played, which can be difficult to understand. We're going to talk and start with that, of course. But also, I think with all three of these characters, and we'll get to them, one of them is obviously going to be Kiriko, is due to a misunderstanding of priorities, of like what is more important in these situations, and people prioritizing the wrong things, feeling like all of the hero identity is tied up in doing this and this alone at the expense of basically everything else here. So we're going to talk about the three misunderstood characters. The reason I chose these characters is because I feel relatively confident that they are near the top of the most misunderstood for each role. Maybe not the most misunderstood. I mean, obviously it's totally subjective, but because I've been coaching this game for all ranks for a long time and playing it for a long time as well, I do see more frequently with these three characters than almost any other hero within their role. They are going to be as follows: Diva for tank, Mei for DPS, and Kiriko for support. Again, near the top of the most misunderstood. Now, generally, as I said, they are misunderstood by the general player base. Higher ranks generally don't misunderstand these things. We had a funny moment here where I was looking for lower rank codes to demonstrate the misunderstood principle. And we had a really funny problem on Tuesday because I was going through like gold and plat players in my community, and they were not making the mistakes that I was expecting them to make. Now, mechanically, they were clunky and they were messing up their cooldowns. That's why they're gold plat. But they were actually not playing the way that most players in gold plat play them. Because they've been educated. They've broken through the fourth wall. They've taken the red pill. But the second that we got a couple randoms from a competitive game or somebody that isn't within the community, their cooldown usage, their mechanics are better than the gold plat players, but they were just playing the character completely wrong. Just absolutely awful in terms of the positioning and the approach. And so what we're going to focus on is we're not going to tell you how to play the character completely. But what we're going to do is we're going to myth bust one specific or two specific problems that a lot of people make with that character. Things that a lot of players, the vast majority of players who play the character make. And so we're going to be focusing on those. Now, some of this is going to be due to 5v5 to address the elephant in the room in terms of how spacing works. Mei, Diva, Kiriko, there's definitely some misunderstandings of how it works. But to be honest with you guys, as somebody who's obviously coached 6v6 just as long as I've coached 5v5 and continues to coach 6v6 to this day, the mistakes that we're going to see here are also problems in 6v6 as well. The difference between 5v5 and 6v6 and how it functions is not all that much different. So the things that we talk about in 5v5 are also going to apply to 6v6. The consistent problem with all three of the characters that we're talking about today, both Mei, Diva, and Kiriko, is a question of space. And so if I can get my epic pen to work here, essentially what ends up happening here is that a lot of the time you have problems with how people control space in Overwatch. Because with Overwatch, obviously, you have the objective, whether you need to push it or control it, whatever the case may be. And then you have the very important problem of, we'll make this nice and big and juicy, these side angles, fights that are happening on the sides, right? And a lot of Overwatch is kind of both applying pressure and controlling space on middle. I know this looks boring, bear with me, but it's also about controlling side angles and splitting your pressure, splitting your attention. It's one of the first person shooter fundamentals. It's controlling multiple different lanes. And the problem with both Mei, Diva, and Kiriko is, we'll go down the list in just a second, is they have problems misunderstanding how space is controlled. And for each of the characters, it's a little bit different. I'll crash course it. For Diva, a lot of the problem is being too passive, not aggressively controlling space, and then trying to put out fires left, right, just chasing threats without actually consistently controlling space. For Mei, it's more about putting a lot of attention on the tank or on main without controlling side angles at the same time. You can kind of multitask here. Meis tend to kind of zombie walk into the core of the fight and get their cooldowns forced, right? And then with Kiriko can be even worse because a lot of Kiriko's values, a lot of Kiriko players, all the way up even to Diamond, even Master sometimes, really don't experiment or experience any of the fights on the sides. A lot of heal botting in the back, a lot of looking for Suzu, not really creatively trying to take space and take angles, utilizing their Suzu, utilizing their mobility crucially. And so it's a real problem with support players, but especially Kiriko players in particular, that causes them to play the character incorrectly, which means that it's really easy to get value out of Kiriko on the angle if you do these things. So the question then is, if everybody's misunderstanding these characters, how are people still climbing? How are people still in diamond that are playing the character incorrectly? And the answer is because they're doing everything else right. If you were to simply take the average Kiriko player in diamond who's mispositioning correctly and have them train and practice their positioning, same thing with Diva, same thing with Mei, they would within training time, immediately skyrocket a rank if they can actually apply these principles. And so it's not that you can't climb applying these principles. It's just that it is one of the most important things that you can do along with mechanics. And that's what we're going to be targeting at today. Okay, let's start with Diva here. So I know we've got Kiriko pulled up here, but let's go ahead and start with Diva here. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about Diva here, and then we're going to kind of demonstrate here using a high elo VOD, and then we're going to migrate into a low elo VOD to demonstrate how it's done relatively well and how it's not done well at all. I'm going to actually start with the low elo VOD with Diva. So first things first with Diva, what is Diva's responsibility in 66? What is Diva's responsibility in 5v5? I'm going to boil it down to as simple as this. Diva's job is to control an angle or a lane using her mobility, finding a position to approach and apply pressure, and then to peel, and by peel I mean protect, people, including herself, within that position. So let's say this is my angle here. This is my team. This is my team here. Everyone's all grouped up. We're working together. A lot of Diva players will kind of either just sit and turret from too far away, where she's just not very effective at this range. Alternatively, they'll go, okay, I'm going to go start applying pressure. Coach Spilo says to go pressure. And then they'll see a problem way over here. And they're going to go, and by the time that they get there, either the problem's already resolved itself, they're too late, and crucially, they've given up space here. They were best equipped, best positioned to deal with the threats here, either protecting this target here or shooting this target here. And because Diva's mobility is often very slow, and there's the opportunity cost of using one cooldown to move, a lot of Divas will prioritize either on standing AFK, kind of turreting, or moving around the map trying to put out fires. And it's a lot like real life. You're equipped to deal with problems that you're positioned to deal with. So with Diva, it's about aggressively pushing, controlling, finding ways to close the distance, finding different cover, finding different positions without chasing problems all the way around the map, because somebody in a YouTube guide from 2019 said Diva's good at peeling. You should go back and peel your backline. Well, if you're not near your backline, you cannot peel your backline. So the best thing you could do is apply pressure to put pressure their backline or pressure their front line so that those targets are less likely to pressure you. Now, one thing you can do is, if we were to kind of step away here and pull out the little bit of epic pin here, is like, let's say this is where the objective is, and we've got a bit of a side fight happen on here, and we got also a bit of a side fight happening here. And let's say they're playing a tracer comp, right? And that tracer keeps using this angle. As Diva, you could plop yourself on this angle and fight the tracer before she even gets to your backline. This is what's called marking, right? Where basically you're peeling proactively. You're going where they want to go to start. But then crucially, if the tracer pulls a fast one on you and goes the other way, it's not your responsibility to go across the map to go deal with that problem. You're not there. So at that point in time, really what you need to do is just take what's available, pressure the backline, pressure the front line. A lot of it is convenience-based target priority by setting up and then just shooting what's available. A topic that we've talked about in other videos, and a topic we'll continue to talk about today. So what we're going to jump in here is we're going to jump into a replay code, kind of demonstrating when things look ugly here. Now, for our purposes here, we are going to turn on streamer mode because, as I said, my community is just too freaking good at the game.
What other characters will you go over?
We'll talk about it later. I appreciate the sub. Let's see here. Hide other player names. Okay. So as I said, my community was too good, just simply too good. So we actually had a really, really hard time finding codes. And so we had to use a couple of random rank codes. And it's really funny because the second we found a random rank code, immediately the randoms were playing it wrong, like immediately. So it's not just okay, where's my Midtown code here, chat? Did I pin it? Where is it? Hang on, give me a second. It didn't get wiped. I don't see Midtown. Do you guys remember who was here? Where did it go? Or is there a limit for import? There might be an import limit. Worst case scenario, I can just go back in the stream VOD and find what the code was. It took me 2 seconds. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. We can pause, it's fine. That's weird. I didn't know there was an import limit. There used to not be, I swear. Painful. Okay, we did Kiriko first. Where's the Midtown code? Okay, I think that we found it. So mid-ton code was... oh, no, don't do it too fast, buddy. It was this. Okay. Does that work? Yeah, weird. Yeah, it must have just, there must be an import limit. So we're here. We're here. We out here, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, as I said, it was pretty funny because like, I think I was, it was funny because looking at people within my community who know a lot about off angles and flanks and controlling space and finding lanes, it was like, well, you know, they weren't making the same mistakes I was expecting the average gold plat player to make, especially from my experience. And then we pull up the first, literally the first random diva player that we can find, the first random Kiriko player that we can find, and immediately they're making the exact type of mistakes that we expected them to make. So it's definitely a community thing that I think my community's done a pretty good job with. And so something that we're kind of try to share that knowledge with the greater community now. So big things first here. And the reason why this code works so well is because there's a dive threat here, right? And by dive, we mean a mobile character on the enemy team. A character that can move around and harass your backline. D.Va is pretty well equipped at dealing with those. She's good in those matchups. She can do a lot of damage. She can matrix damage. But the crucial thing here is that a lot of D.Va players fixate on one thing, right? So they'll fixate on, you know, Winston diving is the problem, right? Or Junkrat spam's the problem, or Ana cooldown's the problem, or the Tracer Sombra's the problem, right? And the reality is that any one of those things can and will be problems, but you may not be equipped to deal with all of them. So you can't play a game of whack-a-mole and try to deal with 5 different things at the same time. So you have to prioritize the position that makes sense for you, close range off angle. Remember, you're a shotgun character, and then deal with that threat appropriately. So right now, this is going to be about low plat diva. Okay, so this is not bronze, silver, gold. We wanted something that was like at least somewhat capable. And right now, the first thing that you can see already is that this diva player is in a great position to deal with Winston. That's fine. That's okay, no problem. But the problem is that we don't really have an off angle, okay? So in other words, we don't have a crossfire, which means it's really easy for a lot of the members of the enemy team to kind of just spam down the choke indiscriminately without denying them cover. It's really easy for the Winston to duck behind cover. It's really easy for the jungler to deny cover. So while we're in a great position to deal with Winston, one, the problem is that we don't have an off angle, two. So what we could do here is we could fly to an off angle that deals with the Winston or deals with the soldier. And what we could do now is once we're on an off angle, okay, then we just simply prioritize what's on our screen. You understand? So first priority is get a little bit of a crossfire at a good range, and then we go here. So if we go here and Winston, we fly here and Winston jumps to our backline, not our problem. Our problem is to deny this Junkrat follow-up. Our problem is to deny the soldier follow-up. The problem that you could see here is that we do not have an off angle, number one. And also we're being incapable of closing the gap close enough, right? We're standing on main. This is what's called turret diva. Very, very popular. Now we go, oh, soldier. Let's go deal with soldier. Okay, it's fine. Not just because it's fine because, oh, it's soldier, but because this is an off angle. Because once we get rid of soldier, now we can get a bit of a crossfire. So this is fine. It just took us too long to do that, right? And then obviously once you go there, they peel back. You got a matrix. You got to use your matrix. So more mechanical error. We're not going to worry too much about that. We're not focused as much about cooldown usage because that's something that I think all diva players can improve on. But for the misunderstood thing about controlling space. Now, this is important. Ladies and gentlemen, what does my diva have in terms of a crossfire? The answer is nothing, right? She could go here and apply pressure to this tank. She could wrap around behind here, apply pressure to the Winston Lucio, or she could once again fly up top and deal with this backline here. The problem is that once again, we're right back in turret diva. We're getting sniped across the map. We do no damage at this range. And then this is the misunderstood thing right here. We refuse to actually take space, to move forward, to find the next angle, to take a lane until the enemy team makes an action. And the problem with us peeling, going back and helping this Winston here is what? What's the problem with this, chat? What's the problem with this? I'm going to ask questions. I'm challenging you guys to answer them, but I might answer them for you just for the sake of the video. It's too far. It's too far. There's been inactivity, and it's too far. By the time that we get there, the damage will have already been done. And in addition to that, there are closer threats and targets that are probably more important for us to deal with because they are closer. So you can see it immediately. We go all the way across. It's too late. It's too late. And so the damage has been done. Winston simply walks away. We got shot in the back a lot, and no space has been taken. No problems have been served. No peeling has occurred. We've been chasing. And so we're not going to beat a dead horse here. We'll maybe watch a couple more fights from this perspective. But you can already kind of see it's a lot of inactivity, looking for opportunities for the enemy team to do something instead of actively taking space here. Like even right now, we need to be here. We need to be in the off angle here. We need to not be standing directly and creating a crossfire. And right, it's a waste of a tank, exactly. And so you notice that when we do gap close, it's just directly at the enemy backline. We're never thinking about pushing forward to here. Like you got to think sometimes sequentially. I want to close the gap, but maybe I need to find cover along the way. I need a rest stop, essentially. Maybe I'll booster to here, get a little healing, booster to here, look for opportunities. But you notice that we get frustrated because nothing's happening and it's just 50 meters away, right, on a target that's nowhere close enough without an off angle. And this is a very common problem. And I want to encourage you guys, this is not bronze, silver, gold. This is plat. This is plat. Good use of our missiles there. And this is so incredibly common. And a lot of people in the comments will be like, well, this is not plat. You know, I'm plat and I don't play like this. Well, the answer is you probably do. And if you don't, it's probably because the D.Va players better at you mechanically or better at you with their bombs, right? We made this funny little anecdote where I think a lot of D.Va players actually kind of win a lot of fights just off of bomb usage, right? But really, we've done a terrible job actively walking forward, taking space. Like right now, shoot the Lucio or find cover, finding the next off angle. But it's a lot of turret D.Va-ing and being very obsessed with Winston. And just a lot of inactivity, right? Just a lot of passivity. And then we go for the bomb. Okay, we're gonna move on here. And I think we're going to go back to, we're gonna go to our defense, kind of flip the script here, because obviously when you're in defense, you know, aren't things different? Well, kind of, because you can start with an angle instead of having to worry about taking an angle. So you kind of already see a problem here, right? Whereas like, you know, our Freya is applying a little bit of pressure here, but we really don't want to be playing here. Maybe we want to be playing here, a little bit closer to that corner. I don't know if this is controller or console. I don't believe it is, and it does not change. No, it does not. So we can pressure Winston here, but once again, we're leaving the open space to go pursue him, and then turning our back. So we need to be very careful. He was a little closer than he was last time, so that's good. So it is a little bit easier to quote unquote deal with a Winston player when he's a little bit closer. You can see the mechanics are actually not too shabby when we're diving targets. Good, great use of matrix usage all the way to cover. That's really nice. We need to just chill for a second. And in terms of priorities here, guys, like this is kind of what we talked about, like target priority, right? This soldier's a little far, right? We're not really in a great position to go for him, and then we end up turning our back once again, getting ourselves pincered. If we wanted to push a target here, we probably should push the Ana, because not only is she about the same distance away, but she's on the outside. We don't end up pincering ourselves. We're able to actually apply pressure without getting shot in the back. So it's not just about setting up off angles. It's about when you apply targets that you're putting yourself on off angles and you're not putting yourself in the middle of it. So really, really not great from this D.Va player here. And it feels so incredibly bad because we're either chasing dive targets when they're too far away, or we're chasing poke targets when they're too far away. Everything is chasing and chasing and reaching and chasing, and it just feels awful. We'll watch one more fight, and then we'll move ahead to a little bit of a higher quality performance, and we'll go from there. Deep Soldier's fine. He's right in front of us, so we can absolutely deal with it. We matrix our EDR. That was great. You see, that's peeling because she's right next to us, so we can absolutely help with that. And then here, we probably should go for the EDR just because she's closer. So it's easier for me to commit my matrix and my boosters and my missiles and be an actual threat to the target that's closer to me, right? It's all about the next step, right? Like, where's the next angle? Like right now, if we want to go for backline here, this is too far. But if we just run it right down the middle of the enemy team, it's not good. So here's the question. Again, I'm going to challenge you guys to pause the video on YouTube. Where would I get to get closer to backline for my rest stop so that I could, we could go top right, get a little closer. We can then drop, shoot matrix, see what happens, maybe even go even deeper, right? Alternatively, you could boost her to the side of the fire station here, or fire engine, and then move up top here, right? Using cover. It's all about that rest stop, right? Getting a little bit closer, getting that angle without going all the way in, right? It's about setting up, staging, such an important concept. And staging and setup is essentially just going for a target in a two-step process instead of a one-step process. That's really all it is. And you don't have to fully understand the character to start experimenting with this, because this concept applies to a lot of characters in Overwatch. I don't mind us quote-unquote peeling Winston here because he is close to us, but it's one of those problems where it's like, it's not great because the Winston jumped us because we were sitting inside of our backline. We never really applied proactive pressure earlier. So our DPS kind of bails us out a little bit here, which is nice. But we were kind of waiting for things to go wrong. And when you wait for things to go wrong, things are going to go wrong. There's no sort of preventative action, right? There's nobody aggressively poking the Winston before he dies or holding this angle away from Ana or harassing backline, right? And if you look at it, even though we were on top of our backline, we were still unable to peel correctly. Because if you're that passive, it's just, you cannot deny the perfect dive, even if you're sitting inside your backline sometimes. We just didn't set up. So we're going to stop there. I want to go ahead and move ahead to the higher ranked diva here. This is going to be on Shambali. But hope that might make sense. Sorry, I'm a little hoarse. We'll keep going. This is going to be Shambali. I think. Yeah, I said Dorado on my notes, but I'm pretty sure it's Shambali. Correct, chat? You guys remember the Shambali? I'm a pony. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I'm like 90% certain it was Shambali. Yeah, it was Shambali. Let's find it. Where was it? It was Masters. I hate that the import limit is a thing. I swear that used to not be a thing. Yeah, I found it. Okay. Super weird. I also realized I'm using windowed mode and just haven't used Epic Pen at all, which I need to be better with that. The whole point of us doing windowed is so that I can use Epic Pen. I sound low-key evil today? Just today? All right, well, I'll work on that. So this is going to be Masters 2, so this is really high ranked diva. Obviously not the highest ranked diva. We wanted to find kind of a balance of what's attainable for a serious Overwatch player. Sound like George Lucas is what I sound like. Yeah, it rhymes. It's like poetry here, and Anakin and Skywalker, and I'm a multi-billionaire. And, sold my soul to Disney. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, basically, this is going to be this is going to be good here because there's a lot of potential dive threats here, marking off angles, controlling space. And so what we're not just going to do is glaze this diva player like, oh, this is just amazing, because they're going to make a lot of mistakes. But we're going to talk about, oh, that was good, that was bad, and we can actually see exactly when and where it's bad, So let's keep going on here. How's the audio level? Can you guys barely hear it? I want to have audio to be somewhat audible. What a sentence. Okay, so this is like, to me, this is like such a great way of looking at diva. Now, it's a little sloppy. We got flanked by the Ramatra. We didn't know that he was here. But this can still work because we set up on an angle. Now, crucially, you're like, is this an angle? Yes. You know why? Because we have somebody else taking an angle. If somebody else is on the side, where you are, even if it's on main, it's still an angle, right? An angle is contextual from where your team is positioned. So if your teammates are positioned on an angle, now, shockingly, I don't like the support stacked here. Who would have thought? But this is okay. And so we're really pretty well equipped to deal with this Ramatra. I mean, Diva's not the best, quote unquote, brawl tank, but she's okay. She's a shotgun character. If the things start to go poorly here, we can always just Matrix and fly out. But yeah, so we're going to kind of deal with this problem here and trust our team can deal with this problem here. Now you're like, shouldn't our Diva be peeling this here? No, because if she did, then that mean that this Ramatra would get this space for free, which would mean my backline would die. So I need to peel my team from Ramatra, not Genji. Why? Because Ramatra is what's closer to me, closer to where I set up. It's not because Ramatra is more threatening than Genji necessarily. It doesn't really matter. It's just that I was better equipped to deal with this, and I have to trust my team to deal with that. And so what happens here is a pretty decent cooldown trade, all things considered. Ramatra gets forced out, which then means that resources can actually go back to my DPS here, as you can see, because we've won this trade handily. My DPS did a great job controlling space, and we keep going. Now we're going to be dealing with Iana. Why? Because she's here. Good job. And you can see the difference here, right? Like, this Diva player is obviously not playing perfectly. We're not expecting perfection. But a lot of it is just kind of like you set up on an angle, and then you just kind of deal with whatever's on that lane. Now, that's not going to be done perfectly here. Spoiler alert, we do watch this code. And there are some moments where maybe my Diva player gets a little bit too hung up on dealing back with threats. So for example, like right now, we're going to choose to take this angle pre-fight. And so then if we see a lot of crazy threats over here, we should not come over here unless there's literally nothing to do here. You understand? That's the key thing. It's not that you can't move as deep. Of course you can move, but you don't chase if there's a problem that you can deal with right now. Like right now, this is not a problem. This is our problem, right? So matrix those missiles, shoot that Diva, 2v1 or get her out, force nade. Look at all that. Look at all those resources. So then if we're worried about this, these resources are unsupported. Ugh. Now we go back to the angle. Oh, This guy's close to me now. So now I'm gonna deal with this. Now you gotta be careful, right? But you see how kind of like, instead of like snapping onto the different targets, those targets are just kind of providing themselves to us. So it's a lot of just like, okay, well, I'm gonna hold the angle and then we'll see what I can deal with from there. Now, this is important. This is a really important mistake here. And this is proof that sometimes things just go wrong, right? We've kind of driven that back line out. We forced some cooldowns from that. And Genji kind of just dashes across the map and just one-shots the soldier. Now, part of that is because my supports are idiots. Okay, sorry, guys. That's disrespectful. My supports are morons, and so they're not controlling space very well. But it's my D.Va's responsibility here to not peel back here. It's too late. The damage has been done. You just need to hold the lane here, and maybe we can build up enough time. Maybe we can mark cart. Maybe we could stop the D from taking the space here. This is our responsibility here. Maybe even just back out entirely, right? Because the problem with this is that it's simply too late. We can't stop them from doing this. The damage has been done. And then crucially here, do you see what's happening over here? Do you see what's happened to my moronic supports? This is our fault, right? We were positioned to stop this from happening at a time. We left the lane, they fill it, and they go pincer my backline. Now, what's more important, helping my DPS or helping my supports? Again, that's a trap question. It depends. It just depends on where you chose to be, right? So if we look at this from the overhead here, this is where our epic pin can come in. The problem was the opportunity cost of going here, right? Instead of dealing with our resources here. This was where we set up. Now, if the flip side was true, and if we already had a lot of resources here and we wanted to off-angle top like we did at the start, then we could have dealt with this. And we could have dealt with this, right? But we didn't. We chose to be here, which was a good call. It's okay. Important life lesson here, and this is not just about D.Va here either. This is a really important concept for just Overwatch, period. So yeah, it's just a train wreck. So we're gonna go ahead and skip out. And you notice how simple this is. It's not easy to do. A lot of it is knowing how to position and take space, but it doesn't require you to analyze the composition and over strategize about things. Or be a wizard. It's simple chess Overwatch. You know, you just move, you move, you move. No. So where's my next step? Where's my next off angle? Right? There's a lot of resources here. Can I get to here? Can I get is my rest stop here? Right? I want my rest stop. I don't want to be standing in the open here. Rest stop, rest stop, rest stop, rest stop, rest stop. Yeah. I don't like this that much. I would prefer us to rest stop here and then maybe use this for here. Do you see how that's much more convenient? But at least we leaned right. Okay. You notice, by the way, we've not worried at all about D.Va. Why? Well, too far. We just can't. We were in a better position to what's called trade backlines. And it works. Nice. Sharon, I mean, there's a little chasing now because everyone's too far away, but yeah, we'll keep going. I'm going to skip around a little bit, just the different sections of the map, because I think it's informative to kind of see different situations here. Here's us taking that off angle on that left side. Genji's our problem right now, so we deal with the Genji, right? We're peeling the Genji by being proactive with it, but you notice what happened over here, right? If we had tried to cross to deal with that, we would have gotten poked along the way, probably crowd controlled, and then we would have been too late to deal with it anyway. Instead, we're trying to deal with the Genji. Like, this is going to be the reality. You're going to go, oh, we lost the D.Va dive from the soldier. It sucked, right? You couldn't have done anything about that. And if you try, you're going to lose more games. Or you're going to lose games because you're going to let the Genji stage for free, and you're not going to let you just have to be available where you are. Right? And I think that's the crucial thing here, right? So we're going to disengage back to our team to get healing. Very nicely done. And then we're going to try again, right? Now, maybe we could push here, pre-fight, and take this angle instead. But once that decision is made, it's going to be very difficult for us to cross here. Alternatively, we can move here, or we can fly up and over and deal with the same lane again. Let's see what our D.Va decides. We're dealing with Genji. We're thinking about Kiriko. I would have preferred Kiriko here just because I like the spot a lot. We don't have an off angle right now, and it feels like this angle is great for us. So it's not just about peeling off the Kiriko, but also I really like that position, right? But we choose not to. In fact, we kind of choose to sit on Genji, which I'm not so sure how I feel about, but I think it's partly due because we had VAP window. We won't get into the weeds there. But you notice, again, it's just opportunity. We eat the nade, we pressure Genji. Again, we just can't worry about this hit squad if we choose not to deal with it. So now our job is to control backline and to stop card. It is not an appeal here. We will trust our team to deal with what they can deal with. Look at that, 2v1, 2v1. Could be a little bit better with the cover usage there. Trusting our team, using cover. Trusting our team. Don't let the follow-up happen here, because this is what's going to kill your team right here. This may or may not, but if these guys shoot, it's over, right? There's nano involved, nade, sleep dart. Rail, ultimate, another nade E there. And we trading backlines. You notice that? We're trading backlines. We love that. That's how it goes sometimes. If we instead had done what I had asked, which was to push the Kiriko out earlier, what probably would have happened, we would have spent more time peeling, more time fighting that diva, that dive hitbox on the angle there, like rather than going for backline. But that would have meant that, well, we were well positioned for it. It would have worked. All right, let's look at a little bit of third point, and we'll keep going on from there. You guys have any questions? We'll only watch a couple more fights here, I think. You know what? Actually, let's flip it. Let's go right to attack. I think third point's pretty cringe, and so there's not going to be a whole lot to look at. Let's look at third point. Oh, we got some tracer play too. That'll be nice. Okay, we choose left. We deal with left. Maybe a little early here with our team, but we could have gone right as well and fought this. That would have been fine. But alternatively, we're going to try to deny the Cassidy Kiriko from free firing. Diva's flexible. Any of these things worked. No threats. Support's kind of freaking group up, group up, group up. I agree. It's a little early for that play. Now, this is interesting. What do you guys think? What do you guys think here? So first off, the pressure was a little too soon. But what do you guys think? Better to control this backline here or peel back here? Ooh, I don't know, man. Now, this is close. This is close. And this is also close. It's hard to say, isn't it? I would normally say backline here. We're down a lot of resources because we went too early, unrelated to kind of what we're talking about today, right? So optimally here with missiles and with full matrix, I probably would prefer controlling backline here. But you could also argue that backline's not really a threat right now. You know, I'm down resources. These guys are close, so I can deal with this. But you notice that, like, our situation has not improved, to quote the great Sean Connery. Like, nothing has really changed about our situation. We've not improved our positioning. We've not improved our space. And then now Cassidy's a real threat. And so we are being a little bit whack-a-mole right now. And it's not going great. We're taking a lot of damage, right? Tracer still gets the kill on our Widow. So maybe we really should have just trusted our gut, controlled backline, and prayed that our Brigitte could get over here and help the space. It's too much. Too much, right? So in the simplest way to say it, don't try to be the jack of all trades. Just do what you can actually manage at the given moment. Right. But crucially, that has to be done from controlling an angle. Right now, this is controlling an angle because we had 2 resources on right. Alternatively, if our entire team is on cart, then we got a solo angle here, or we got a solo angle here. You understand? So the reality is in plat, bronze, silver, gold, sometimes even diamond, you take an angle, you might be on an island. There might not be teammates taking angles. So you need to be taking that angle and dealing with what's on that angle by yourself. And you see a lot of chasing, trying to find opportunities to get value, and it's just not working, right? We're always a little late. Now here, our teammates in spawn a little bit, so this is a little silly. However, we go, oh, well, this is close. Let's see if I can deal with this. And this is peeling, right? Kira goes out. She's no longer an offensive threat. Tracer's marked. This is called marking because this is the lane that we're on. We're playing cover. And so all of a sudden, we've had a little more space than we've had in a while, even though we took it well down 1, just simply because we dealt with the threats that were on our screen. Tracer without recall, Cassidy's isolated, opportunities are provided, and you notice that this fight has gone the best out of any of the other fights, and yet we have been more on a leash, pressuring angles around us than any of the previous fights before. And it worked. It worked. It wasn't smooth, but it worked. And now we need to go, okay, where's my next angle? Where's my next angle? Let's take this angle here. Okay, maybe I go top here and take the angle from here, right? Where's my next angle? Where's my next angle? Where's my next angle? Shoot Kiriko, force her out. Where's my next angle? Where's my next angle? Okay, take it left. You can also go here and take right. Either one works. Now we're marking Tracer because we chose this angle. Probably would have preferred us to just stay here, you know? Like, and then, see, we're worried too much about this crap. Oh, I gotta eat nade. Well, maybe. But if you worry about nade, but now Diva gets the free lane to go follow up on the nade. You should have been there to mark her. You see the problem here? And then now the Nano Diva gets the free lane, Kiriko Tracer gets free lane, and it's just a train wreck. So the problem here was not that we didn't eat nade. We can't be in 2 places at once. The problem was is that we chose to mark Diva Tracer, which then automatically exposes us to nade. But then we didn't mark Diva Tracer. We didn't mark Diva Tracer. Now, alternatively, we could have been here. It could have been easy to mark nade and let Diva Tracer go for free. But then we wouldn't have had to worry about nade. It would have just been Diva Tracer. Hope my team can deal with it. I'll deal with this. We try to do too many things. So there's a big improvement over this, over the Platinum player. But there's a reason why we chose this as a misunderstood character, even up until higher ranks, because this is still something that you'll see as being a mistake, even at the highest level. And it's important for you not to try to put out fires too often, but to invest your time in controlling the space early, dealing with what you can deal with, taking angles, improving your angles, and trusting your team to deal with the other lane when and where possible. Okay. Any questions before we move on? We'll keep it quick and preferably questions related to what we're talking about. Yeah, obviously the team could do a better job taking their own angles and taking their own space. We're also running double hit scan on Shabali attack. It was just not great either. Certainly something that matters more at the Masters 2, Masters 1 level. How much is this different from Winston? It's not different. Not different. With Diva, you're more likely to move around and peel things that are close to you with your Matrix because your Matrix is a much better peeling tool than a bubble. But not all that much different. Is Diva the optimal pick here? Yeah, I think Diva's really good here. Probably the optimal pick, I actually would say. Probably the best tank. A little bit of verticality, lots of angle control, very important here. Relatively compressed map, which is really good for Diva compared to other dive tanks. So, yeah. Is it very valuable when you have to peel yourself? Yes. Yeah, so like, for example, if you're playing very aggressively, you're going to get a lot of resources. You get a lot of resources, you got to peel for yourself. When you peel for yourself, those resources are not going to your team. Now, there's a difference between I overextended, I'm playing no cover, I'm standing a million miles away and just face taking damage, I have to matrix myself. But yeah, I mean, that's why a lot of high-ranked divas, a lot of the matrix is for themselves because they are themselves baiting and forcing a lot of resources. Maybe not in third point, though? Yeah. Third point, you definitely want to go to like a Sigma swap. You could go like a Ram swap, stuff like that. Okay, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and move ahead to May. We're gonna jump in the practice range here, and we'll talk a little about May. So as we kind of talked about earlier, a lot of the problems with the characters, well, the ones we're going over today, is how people understand space with a character, how they control space. And space is what allows you to live from pressure. Provides cover. It provides opportunities to crossfire and pressure backline, and to split the enemy team's attention. It denies the enemy team powerful positions and powerful angles that they can use to pressure your backline, or you can use to pressure their backline. And one of the challenging things about Mei is that Mei historically, if we go all the way back to Overwatch 1, had a lot of really useful tank utility. Wall is really good on small congested spaces. Chokes, payloads, pressures, points, places where tanks usually were. And the other thing with Mei as well is back in the day, the gap between Mei's tank pool or health pool and the tank health pool was a little bit closer. Kind of arguable, but let's say a little bit closer. But the most important thing was that primary fire actually froze people without the major perk. And when you talk about like where and when is that useful, well, it demands proximity. And oftentimes, tanks were the people that wanted to close the gap on you. Mei is happy for you to close the gap on her. You wall them off, you freeze them, you shoot them in the head, and they die. And so what that automatically meant is for a lot of Overwatch 1 players is that it kind of stereotyped Mei as a compressed, tank-focused, tank stacking main bot that just walls and freezes tanks. Now, this is where things get important. Mei was never perfectly, properly played as such. Mei always had the opportunity to freeze and deny tanks. However, she almost never should stack with the clump of her team. She should always be a little bit off to the side so that her ice block is not immediately forced, to where she can reach you with her freeze without putting you directly in your hammer range or Winston bubble range or whatever else. And then crucially exploiting the fact that not only do you have range with your primary fire, not only do you have range with your icicles, but also you have range with your wall. So you can do the things to the tank, to the choke, to the freeze, to the wall, to the, I feel like I'm doing, this feels like some 90s hip hop song, but without actively putting yourself immediately at risk. And if the tanks push you, if they go out of their way, then you're willing to meet them. But you need them to do something first. You need them to commit towards you first. You can freeze, you can ice block yourself, but you want them to actually have to commit something on you first. And one of the big problems that somebody used to coach a lot of Mei back in Overwatch 1 is the zombie walk, right? It's fitting that she's got this as an emote because a lot of Meis and gold, plat, diamond, even masters occasionally, were obsessed with the enemy tank, with how they positioned. Not just a question of attention, but also a question of proximity. And Mei can be a tank buster, but she doesn't want to get her hands dirty. And I've got a really funny little anecdote here, back to the Overwatch 1 developers who I think didn't fully understand the game, where if you guys remember Goats meta, the Ryan Zarya Diva, Lucio Zenbrig, super brawly, super sustained focused. Very difficult for the traditional tank busters to find ways to play in that comp. There were some teams, actually coach a team that experimented a little bit with Mei Goats, but Mei Reaper were not good versus those compositions because they wanted to close the gap on tanks, but when there were too many tanks, too much HP, they just, because they had to close the gap, they were also playing in the tank's effective range and they'd get obliterated, right? So what would happen, and what was really funny, is there was a point in time with development where the balance team was trying to get rid of Goats by buffing Mei Reaper, by buffing the tank busters with no understanding of why that would never work, because Mei Reaper would just get obliterated by the tanks anyway. And so then what happened is then we have 222 lock, and then now Mei Reaper overtuned. Yeah, long story short, the developers also misunderstood Mei at the time. And it led to a very funny consequence where they miserably failed at their attempt. And then we had overtuned Mei Reaper once Goats was removed. Yeah, Orisa's overbuffed, unrelated. But yeah, long story short, Mei, if we're going to use a little epic pen here, Mei is going to want to contribute oftentimes to this main fight, right? Main fight, comedy. Wherever there is going to be chokes, wherever there's going to be objective pressure, wherever there's going to be tank trades. Mei is not the best at tank trading, but she can, Wall is very good for splitting, period. Freya. Freeze is useful, slow is useful. She has the health pool, Blizzard's good. But the key thing with Mei is that you don't gotta be here to contribute here. And you're like, well, why not? Well, we already talked about being that proximity can put you a little bit more at risk. But even more importantly than that, if you were paying attention to the Diva code discussion, a lot of Overwatch is proximity and convenience-based priorities. So in other words, when you take this angle here as Mei, and you're walling off here, and you're shooting the tank, and then all of a sudden, Batman, Pokemon. Why am I going for the Batman theme song? Tracer appears. This is your responsibility. Why? Because she's freaking here. You're like, oh, but Tracer versus Mei. It's like I said, it was a bad matchup. It's a good matchup. I don't care. It's your job. And so what you could do here is you can wall. If you're like, well, wall is not that useful versus Tracer. Okay. Wall off the tank, shoot the Tracer. And because what makes Mei exceptional is not just, it's the fact that you can go on anything. You got 300 HP, you've got Icicle from range, you've got Freeze up close, you've got wall utility if you want to, and then you have a way to reset the entire thing basically with Ice Block. What if it's Far Echo on Dorado? I don't want to talk about it, but you guys heard me talking about it already. And the reality is that Mei, when she's played appropriately in appropriate spaces, can essentially 1v1 anybody if you play it correctly. It's not going to be convenient, but it's going to be efficient. It's going to be patient. She has incredible sustain. And the reality is that a lot of people look at Mei and like, oh, you can't flank with Mei. Of course you can. You might not need to. It might take too long to, but you can at least put yourself on the side. And so the reality with Mei is that if you run into these situations here, where you're taking these side angles and contributing on main, and then all of a sudden, you want to wall tank, but Bastion appears. And Bastion is mercy pocketed with his Zen. Well, you know what? I know how I'm using wall now. I'm walling them off. Now, they might break right through the wall, but I need time. This is a 3v1. And if me as Mei, if I could just live this engagement and keep these guys busy, we're going to win here without my wall. Walls are used to split people off, to remove them from the fight, right? Might wall in front, might wall behind, doesn't matter. But of all the DPS in the game, there are only a handful that could actually take this engagement right here and not die instantly. Tracer, Mei, stuff like that. There aren't a lot of characters that have that level of sustain and uptime and survivability that can hold lanes without any help to help protect their team. And if there's nobody here, guess what? You put on your skates and you go, wee, and you murder their backline. And so a lot of what Mei has done is, and I've coached the greatest Mei in the world, Backbone, and I've played Mei to a very high level myself, probably one of my better DPS, is a lane control DPS, shocker, right? With the opportunity to impact many different spaces without moving. But the priority is always going to be where you are. Okay? Now, crucial thing is we're going to take a look here really quick at a code. I believe Havana was the one that we had here, but it is imported, so I'm expecting it to get wiped. Ugh. If so, we'll dig it up. it is indeed wiped. So I'm going to have to go sniff around for it. Okay, yeah, I found it. Now, funny story about May. I talked about Diva Kiriko, my community, doing a really, really good job of doing the misunderstood part anyway correctly, to where I couldn't use any of my community codes. With May, I was actually, we even had some high rank May players who maybe aren't May mains, but picking up May for a scrimmer or for a rank game, and we're actually not really positioning all that well. Mechanics are pretty good, cooling usage was pretty good, but definitely a large understanding gap. And this really, if anything, proves how misunderstood that she is even when high rank players are more often than not getting her correctly. So we'll have a Diamond 1 code for the better demonstration. And then this is going to be about a low silver code for a little bit more of a more difficult, not quite as good execution. Okay, let's take a look here. So, is my May controlling a lane here? Where can my May control? The nice thing about May is that because you have ice block and wall and a sniper weapon almost, is that she's probably one of the most flexible angle characters in the game. Like, you can really control any lane you want. You could get here, wall off tank, freeze, use the corner, ice block yourself, or you could just go around and be like, what's up, Cass, and ruin his day, right? You could go top, you could go anywhere. There's so many different lanes that you can control. So the problem here is that we are surrounded. So despite being up one, we are surrounded. So we needed to be faster at pushing this guy out from this angle here, or being like, well, I don't want to deal with this, so I'm going to create my own pincer here and use my wall here, cut these guys off, freeze, whatever. But we just can't play here. We just can't play here. I am going to give you some flexibility. You can choose either lane with May almost always, but you do need to get on an angle. You do need to get crossfire, and you do need to find a way to use your wall. And you can see this crossfire, it feels so bad, right? It feels like we're reaching so far. So, like I said, we're not going to worry as much about the cooldown usage a little bit. We're going to focus kind of more on, like, again, that we're just kind of stuck in the middle of Guam here. Focus again on how we're positioning ourselves, how we're setting ourselves up, because that is the misunderstood part. I don't think people misunderstood exclusively how to use wall or how to use their ice block, but there is a big understanding gap you can tell already in how we should be positioning ourselves. So, like, again, right or left. You can choose here. It doesn't need to be fully split from your right. It could just be a little bit off to the side, helping my right here, provide this crossfire, wall off the soldier, wall off the Sigma, wall off the backline, or we could do the same here. Wall off the backline, shoot Cassidy. Wall off the Cassidy, shoot soldier. There's just endless, right? Like, there's so many different options here right now. And all of them involve us not getting stuck here, right? And once again, Ryan's dead. And Ryan's dead here because he inted. Yes, sure. But Ryan is dead because he is getting crossfired. There's nobody distracting these angles here. There's nobody walling off or protecting this angle here. We're just getting wrecked. Would you still say that May is one of the best 1 DPS to 1 trick? She's certainly one of the most flexible. She just might not necessarily be the strongest. So we've walled here. But do you notice that we're still struggling to know exactly where we need to be? I like the wall. I like the split. But we really, as soon as we possibly can, as soon as we get our health back here, we need to swing wide. We need to swing left. We need to swing right. Find a lane, find an angle, control it. Help protect your tank by doing that. Nice. Rock. Those who know. Okay, what do you guys think? Should we go here? Should we go here? Should we wall up and do something silly here? Now, that would be my choice. You guys know, especially with Blizzard. You know me. Very sustain-oriented. Or should we go up in this little staircase here and control this lane here and wall off this choke here? I think objectively here, it's probably best to get up here to get a little bit closer and to use our Blizzard. And then to mark this angle. If nobody comes here, we're fine. Or to use this lane here because we're already here. I think this might be a little bit too sniper-focused, but we can. I think there's some options here. Let's see what this May does. Yeah, there's a lot of options here. And so you see the difference now? We're not getting flanked. I don't like that wall. We need people to commit before we use our wall. But you see, like, how we're kind of helping protect. And because we used our cover, we're able to pull resources and live. And because we're off to the side, we're not getting surrounded, right? And so this is helping our tank immensely. This is helping our backline immensely. In fact, it really should. Why did it say eat Kitsune Rush? Was it the Freyhold? I think she must have eaten the Freyhold. Wait, what did he eat? I'm sorry, chat. It must have been Freya ult, right? Surely. Yeah, it's just being weird. Okay, yeah, like, basically, we need to stop migrating here. We need to hold here, toss the Blizzard on the choke, hold the lane. You notice that we're obsessed with this tank. We are obsessed, but the tank is too far. It's too far from our corner. And this is that zombie walk, right? We started on a good angle. We're getting sucked in. We could just freeze the soldier from right here. No problem. Shoot the Sigma with our icicles, use our wall, whatever else. I guess we don't have our wall right now because we used it too early. But we could just shoot the soldier, freeze the soldier, right? No problem. No problem. Just hold the lane. And this is the problem that a lot of Mei players have of mini ranks, right? This isn't just about the Mei in this particular example. We're believing. You notice that we left our lane, and what happens the second we leave the lane? We open ourselves to high noon. We open up ourselves to the back line. We get ourselves crossfired. We get our ice block forced. Now, we're fortunate to cap, but we actually end up losing this fight, essentially, because things just look terrible in terms of our space control. So the enemy team C9s, they let the point cap, which is an unfortunate mistake. But we really need to avoid, it's not the focusing tank that was the problem. It was the problem that focusing tank pulled us away from cover. It pulled us away from a really nice, powerful lane. We could have been sitting up here and maybe focusing tank if we'd been here to begin with, but that was not what was convenient. And so you can start to see the similarities with what we were talking about with D.Va already trickling in. Should have ulted there? Yeah. Even just a zoning ult there is totally fine. You can ult point. Blizzard can be very difficult to get value out of, and a lot of it's just about kind of using it on wherever you want to be. Now, this is important. Do we want to be here, very isolated sniper style mate? This can work. You could make this work very well, where you can kind of wall off snipers or wall off poke and be just a nuisance that they really can't dislodge because you're super tanky. We could also go around up here and just be sneaky here. I would prefer this because we have Blizzard and then wall choke, right? Again, you're like, this is very aggressive. Yeah, but it's a little bit off to the lane, a little bit off the side, right? So we don't need to be here. There's too many people on cart right now. We're not controlling space. We're pressuring lanes. And so even if we get a good wall here, do you notice that we're surrounded, completely surrounded, total chaos, coming from multiple different angles. We're not protecting our team. We're not controlling a lane. We have no opportunity, complete chaos. If my team is mostly holding an off angle, would it be better for me to stay in the main angle? Sure. Yeah. If your team is, let's say all of my teammates were holding height and nobody was pushing cart, Mei's great at pushing cart. Remember, an angle is contextual with what your team is doing. So the reason why I wanted my Mei to leave here is because we already had so many resources already playing here. We didn't need more. We needed more pressure from the side. We needed more pressure here, right? That's the key thing. Let's let the script look a little bit of defense here, and then we will look at some of the higher rank Mei play, which is going to be pretty funny because the Mei player, the high rank Mei player we're looking at, goes a little crazy with some of the flanks. And does a pretty good job of it, all things considered, but we'll look at that in a little bit. So I don't mind this angle here. Maybe a little too sniper focused. I love starting here with Mei. It's a bit of an all-in, but it can definitely work. Alternatively, if your team is kind of opening up here already, well, then you can play here, right? Or you can even play here. So I don't mind this. It's a little too sniper focused, but as we said, Mei is fairly flexible, so it's not a terrible decision. Your icicles have no fall off. They do, what, 85 damage, I believe? So 170 on a headshot is pretty juicy. But you kind of see the problem here, right? We're holding top. And I don't know if you guys can hear this, but Doomfist has taken top. You know what? Who cares? You have your cooldowns, fight him. If he's going to gap close on you, you don't have to run away from him. You can fight him. Right? Because this is your lane. This is your angle. See, this is the difference with Mei's approach to tanks. Is tanks aren't necessarily a problem if you have a little bit of a gap and the tank has to go after you. Right? You notice the difference here. Now we're running away from tanks. Before we were running at tanks. That's the problem. Yeah, we're using streamer mode because, especially for some of the lower rank codes, especially some of the randoms, I don't want to be calling people out like some random quick play player or some guy who's just like, wait, why am I getting violated? You know, prefer to not use it, but this lane is ours. This lane is ours. Nah. See, this is our lane, right? So you need to use hug the wall, use cover here, and poke. We swing so incredibly wide here. It's a miracle that we don't get punched and die. We probably will anyway. The problem is not the tank focus. You notice this? It's what the tank focus makes us do with our positioning. We could shoot the tank from here, force him to go to the side. This is insanity, right? Now, I'm being very critical. This is Silver Mei. This Silver Mei is actually doing a pretty good job mechanically and cooldown-wise. There's no shame in this whatsoever. But this is exactly what a lot of other Mei players struggle with, And so this is kind of what we're using. We'll look at one more fight here. A little bit off pressure. Notice that there's no angle here, right? There's a lot of pressure here. I mean, to be honest, our team is staggering, so maybe it's actually better to look for a fight here where we've stabilized. This is fine. Tank's coming after us. Maybe I'll go after him now. I got my wall. He's low. I'll wall myself up, take the fight, right? I need an angle, right? Look at the stack here, right? We don't want to be all here. Can we get up to here? This is the flexibility that a lot of Mei players struggle with. What's stopping their whole team running past the main and off angle? What do you mean? I mean, you could obviously always run past the Mei, but I mean, that's like saying what's stopping them run past the Bastion or a Zen or an Ana or a Cassie or Genji? Damage. You shoot them. You wall them. It hurts, right? But you see how easy it is to force our cooldowns without really any serious contribution. Thought this was plat? Yeah, it's not too shabby, right? Okay, let's look. I lied. Let's look at one more fight when we actually have some time to set up here. Maybe a retake will be a good one to look at if we get an opportunity here. We can wall this Doomfist off if we like. Maybe this one. Ah, that's it. That's the code. Okay, so not great, but definitely struggle with kind of retaking angles. But yeah, any questions with? Oh, why am I asking any questions? Because we have the good code. The good code, I say. It's a little chaotic. It is a King's Row. Let's see if it's still here. It's not that King's Row. Poopy. I keep burying them because I keep importing new ones. So we might be in a bit of a loop here. Honestly, is the Mei even here? It was Diamond, Mei. Oh, crud. Oh, I think I found it. I think I found it. I think we're good. We're so back. Powerful warrior, yes. And when you are taking an off angle, aren't you risking your ability to protect your team? To protect your team? No. No, your ability to control off angles is exactly how you protect your team if you go back to the Diva example, because threats don't come from one direction. And remember, because you have range with both your freeze, your wall, and your icicles, you can impact fights that you are not directly on. And so, no. You're significantly more likely to help your team by controlling angles, because that's where multiple threats come from. Cap. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, this is not, with all due respect, super high rank. Maybe this is Diamond 2, Diamond 1. But I think that while there's a lot of cooldown mistakes and mechanical errors and so on, I do think this Mei does a really good job of demonstrating the potential value of taking creative angles, creative lanes, and still impacting the main fight on the choke. And it's a good map for it. Lots of verticality with the walls, so lots of ways to take space and some creative stuff. So we get a little silly with it sometimes. We'll talk about when and where. I like it. And yeah, let's go. Good wall. And you notice that we take the wall, but we don't walk. Because I guarantee if we do this, we get our ice block force. We get naded, we get shot, we get disrupt shot, we get recreation. We take the wall, we poke, and then we swing wide. Better position to see stuff like this. Better position to see stuff like this and to prevent people from taking these lanes on us. So already a good start here. Bam. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that wall value. Look at that wall value. Haven't needed to use mouse 1, but you know, great. Keep swinging, keep swinging, keep swinging. Just keep helping our tank. And then now, for our Mei player, you think, okay, where's my next angle here? A couple of options. We could double back here and change lanes here. We have the time to do that if we want. We can go here and wall off the choke and fight the tank from here. We could even wall up here and get really silly and connect with backline, shoot from here. Your choice. This is the problem. You see it? Just a brief moment of zombie walk to try to get that Mei wall off. But that immediately is going to lose us half our health pool. We probably could have waited there, to be honest. I don't mind the wall. Probably need to walk forward to do it. Sim player, by the way. Well, as we said, I think your symmetric experience is definitely helping you here in terms of like being creative with how you're positioning. And I wouldn't mind us being close to cover as well, like a little bit leaning more to that right side so that this doesn't happen. But for the most part, decent start, and our team is going to be able to capitalize a lot of the space off of that. But we just need to do a better job swinging. Yeah, looks like we probably will win this off of that. Yeah, phone booth would have been great there, that right side. Yep, 100%. So you notice here, it's a little cheeky here, but it's pretty clear our intent is to get ourselves snug as a bug as a rug here, right? So that I get a wall, I get poke, I get crossfire, and if the Ryan pushes me, he has to extend to me, in which case I can ice block, right? So the problem with this Mei has been that we fish for walls pushing beyond the positions that we want to play. You notice that? So we have a good intent, but we sneak too far from cover to do so, which then means ice block. You notice that? So you got to be really careful about this stuff. Even as this Mei has been trying to open up lanes, we get a little zombie walk to reach for that wall. And if you have to reach that far for the wall, a lot of times it's probably not worth doing. And you can see this, it's like, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot, I messed up. All right, we're getting silly. Getting silly. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think the better play here is the wall on this choke and to stand here and poke. It's just a better split. It's good. However, I want you to watch this. Who's advantaged in this duel? Same lane, 1v1. Ice Mei by a lot. You've got more health. You can burst her down just as fast, if not faster. You can close the gap. You have a full health reset. Mei by a lot. And this is what so many people get wrong. I still would have preferred the utility of the wall on main and just holding the soft angle. Let the Soj have the high ground. It's fine. This is too good for me. However, the nuance here is that this is not a bad play. If we commit with that wall, we need to commit a little sooner. This is really rough for that Sojourn. Right? And you can tell it's not just a 1-for-1. It's a 1-for-1, and we're about to win it. Bam. Bam. There it is. And then now, I could just pop here and just shoot the Ryan in the back. Now, this Mei's problem is that we tend to drop. We tend to chase. So we will see. But yeah, this is really impressive. Really powerful. The problem there is that we took too long to get there. But this is still a nuisance. We could drop our ult here if you want. I mean, look at how stupid this is, right? What can they do? I would just throw my ult here. Still controlling this lane. And this is despite them using nano boost, them using the whole 9 yards Freya ult. And this is, we just need to ice block, use our blizzard way sooner. So like, again, like the Ryan commits to us, we should be blizzarding this, we should be ice blocking this, we should be walling this and just winning it easy. So good idea, bad execution. But I think you guys can see what I'm talking about. Even if we were going to be a main-focused Mei, we still do it from an angle. We can impact from range. And then if we want to be silly and go crazy, you can. You just got to do it right. Yeah. So. I definitely would toss my ult at that range. When there's no life grip or Suzu, when Ryan counterpins, remember, he can't get away, and so you could just wall this or whatever. So. Yeah. Okay, how are we going to take space? Getting out of the choke here. We can wall out of the choke and go left. We can go far flank right and then create a wall from our tank there. So you can literally, one of the most consistent ways is to get to here and then you can harass from here and then wall yourself if they push you. Or even just get to here and just be like, boo, right? And again, you've got your wall, you've got your ice block. You can even wall yourself if they're going to push you a lot, right? All sorts of things that you can do. So let's see what we do. Left angle, left angle, left angle. Probably would prefer left angle and then go from here, right? Just allows a little bit of a safer path. Alternatively, we can swing right. We do. Good wall. You know, we don't even have to get our hands dirty with a Ryan. We can sit here and poke. Again, pushing tank 6655. It's scary. Shields are tough. Ult's okay. It needs to be deeper. It needed to be a lot deeper, but it does create a decent amount of space and put them in a resource disadvantage. Now, this is where a lot of Meis would make a major mistake. Again, no pun intended. Where this is no longer something that we can impact. We can wall here and provide value maybe, but there's really nothing stopping the Ryan just standing on this choke, and then we can't wall anything, we can't do anything. There's no impact that we can have here. So our Mei does the creative play and says, well, I can wall from a flank, I can poke from a flank, and I'm going to create this choke break the choke without any resources. And this is good. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. I honestly can't remember. We're going to Nano Soj, so it's not like we're going to win this. But this is the only way. Only way. Because the reality is that even if the Ryan makes the mistake that he does and pushes through the choke, which he shouldn't, and we get the wall off and whatever, that wall is going to break. The Nano's going to come out. Our Ice Block's going to be forced, and then we're going to die. This is the only way they're going to clutch this fight. One, and crucially here, if you see a 2v1 here, You could even go, oh, I'm just going to wall myself, and then just keep their attention. So this is definitely a mechanical error. Obviously, we die. But you could see we've disrupted Freya. We've chunked her down. We've wasted Sojourn's attention and support attention on the Sojourn without demanding any resources here. And the reality is if we had lived here, which we should have been able to, if we'd killed here, which we should have been able to, right? Then this fight is actually easily won. Easily won. Look at this. Nano Ryan explodes. Look at that. Huge space, and we didn't even play it well. We didn't even play it well. But the macro, the strategy was sound enough to where this is a fight that we're going to actually win off of our efforts. Supports were MIA, Sojourn MIA, Freya took damage before she could even push, and that's all it took. Yep, high ground angle there's good too. Yep, 100%. You guys are already thinking outside the box here. You're like, well, what if she did that? Like, couldn't she do that? Yeah. You can get really creative with it. What if you use your wall to put yourself in a better position instead of get a split? Ooh, right? Ooh. What if we'd had Blizzard there? What if we had not tried to fish for Blizzard on Rhine and instead taken though, what if we had done this? You guys remember how we tossed our Blizzard from here? What if we had walled up here and tossed Blizzard on backline here and isolated and poked from here? There's so many options, right? Very flexible character with what you can do. Get left. Yeah. Anybody pushes, they get walled. This is a mistake. We need to swing to here, pop to here, wall from here, swing to here. Very, very nuanced, right? You notice that our gap closing, that's a nice little wall there. Our gap closing a lot of time is on squishies, not necessarily on tank. Okay, let's look at maybe one more fight here, and then we'll look at a little bit of defense, because I think third point could be fun. This is great. Very difficult for anybody to clear you out. It has to be Ryan clearing you out here. With wall and your major perk here, you are like impossible to remove here. Maybe Junkrat can, but even then you can win the war of attrition. Really, the tank has to clear you out of this lane, which is a big waste of time for him. But yeah, this is really good. Such a nuisance. Oh, so annoying. Oh, so annoying. And what can they do? Look at the backline space here. You know? Look at this. Look at the space here, right? And the crucial thing is we could just be like, well, I don't like this. I'm going to go back here and wall off the tank. Yeah. You picked the wrong major here? Yeah, it's all right. Still, nuisance. I don't like this. We have enough resources to where I think we can go play patty cake with that Ana a little bit more. And you can even wall here to cut off the Ana and then just like chip the Freya. There's all sorts of things you can do. Super annoying right now. Freya's looking at you. Honestly, I love this wall because now the Ana can't do anything to you, and now you can play patty cake with the Freya. There's the headshot. You're still under no threat whatsoever. Now you could be like, well, should I wall the Rhine instead? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe this is in a situation where you can ult track. It doesn't really matter. But we're doing such a nasty job controlling space. Ana uses sleep darkness. Ana's terrified. We're gap closing-ish. Ooh, there it is. And then now, I mean, look at this. They don't even know, guys. They don't even know. Genji's like, oh, I got her. No, you don't. I'm just going to freeze you. You panicked a little bit with a perk choice there. But honestly, that perk is not even bad in this particular situation. He gets very lucky. Wall yourself off to live. You just need to live. You can throw a Blizzard on point. I mean, what other DPS could hold this lane as long as we have? Get the snipe on the Ana. Get the kill. Maybe Tracer prior to her nerf. But, like, it's just so annoying for the enemy team. And that's what the map provided. We'll look at a little bit of defense and we'll move on to Kiriko. But yeah, you can kind of see sometimes the execution isn't perfect, but yeah. Yeah, that ult is very nasty. We can mark Genji till the cows come home, or just kill him. That also works. You know, so we never really have to push here. Okay, we can live this. We should just drop. Just drop. This is super cheeky. We should just drop. Just walk away from the tank. I think the Ice Block perk is more often than not better than the Freeze perk, with the exception of if there is a tank that is often pushing you that doesn't have a shield. Zarya, no, you know, wouldn't do it Ryan, probably wouldn't do it with Sigma, but like Ram going out of his way, Hog maybe going out of his way, maybe Malga going out of his way, the Freeze perk can be pretty useful. But if there isn't a tank going out of his way and pressuring you, a tank without a shield, then the Ice Block AoE damage is like actually a lot of damage, like a lot of damage. Even if it's just like it hits for like 1 second, it's a huge advantage in the 1v1. Yeah, Queen, Diva, yeah. Because the ice block just needs to hit for 1 freaking second. It's a huge problem. We're being a little silly here. Like, we could just drop here and wall ourselves back up if we need to, and then just wall this choke. But yeah, this is okay. But like you can see, like, we still have a lane. Like right now, the wall is a little early, but like the wall, if we had done it a little sooner, like that Doom is isolated. He has to slam out, and we didn't have to actually commit. You know, the difference between us and some of the maze that we saw earlier is the wall ideas are good, but we're not having to leave our angle to do it. They actually even counter stop us with May or try. That's funny. Yeah, it's fine. We get cleared by the tank, drop the ice block, and get ready to wall yourself if you get pushed. A little earlier the wall, we should have dropped the cover sooner. So we back up, but we're still holding the lane. We back up, we're still holding that left side, right? Now go peek it again. Oh, we didn't see the Ash. Shoot. It's okay. We're still fine. Look at the sustain, right? We got surrounded. Yeah, we just need to use our cooldowns more. But you can see, like, again, how long you can maintain space with this here and still provide value on main. Okay. That is all. Any questions before we move on to Kiriko and wrap this sucker up? What are the DPS could do this? I mean, it's true. Mei is probably the best DPS in the game at anchoring an angle. The only thing that she's weak at, is we just kind of demonstrated right here, is if your team or you take a really bad resource trade and you have to leave, it's really hard to move. Like a Tracer in this situation would have been able to disengage and live, give a lot of space, and then kind of go back in. Mei doesn't really get a chance to get out. She's pretty much all in, but it's still worth it, right? Like, and you can still move. It's just you're more limited, which is why she's going to feel a lot better on maps like this and a lot worse on maps like Flashpoint, where that movement's a lot more valued. Did Backbone retire? I don't know. The main value of the wall on a very open map is denying sight lines. Correct. Yeah, you don't really wall a choke. You just wall off a hit scan, inconvenience them, so on. Would you suggest to swap Mei in open maps normally? No, you can make it work. Like I said, she's one of the more flexible DPS in the game. But if you're like GM and playing Mei on Flashpoint in a full dive, that's just, yeah, it's going to feel pretty bad. For sure. You know, for sure. I feel like one thing that you want to agree is what I call good spot. What's the tech for deleting her from the match? What's the best support for anchoring? EDRA probably, if the map's good for it. She's definitely one of those Mei-like supports where she doesn't really like repositioning very much, but once she kind of gets her feet set with Pylon, she takes a lot to dislodge. Whereas the other supports that are also good at angling are generally a little bit more mobile, but easier to clear. You could argue BAP situationally can be pretty good at anchoring as well, but I find he's a little more fragile. Can you comment on double jump? Yeah, I mean, it's just a great perk, right? Like, I mean, I came up with the idea with the other minor perk, and I'm a fan of it, but the problem is that perks have been power crept, and so her perk options aren't really choices. I think double jump is just the better perk 99% of the time. If the map has any sort of verticality, relevant verticality, double jump's better. Is Mei still worth running more open lines with Jib? You can, but you're going to have a harder time finding rotations and angles. You're going to be more isolated, which is not bad, but it's just going to be a little bit harder. So nothing changes with how you play in Jib necessarily. It's just she's not going to be as effective. Can you turn off streamer mode so I can flex some in the video? Yeah, sure, buddy. Son of a gun. Remind me I got to turn it back on, I think, for the Kiriko player, because I think the Kiriko is a random and plays not super well. Hide other player names. Yeah, there's your flex. Yeah, the difference between EDRA and Mei is that I find the way Mei holds space is just a little bit more interesting, but EDRA technically can rotate a little bit more. You're welcome. If Team is sorry, Vendetta, carry Lucy, do you think it's only good to let Lucy go with a minute? Okay, well, it's a good question, but I'm going to try to focus on the stuff here just so that we can be efficient. I apologize. We do have times where I will answer questions, but not super right now. Okay, any last questions with what we're talking about here before we move on? I apologize. And the answer, Ritzy, is, okay, just a really quick, is just if that lane is good for Lucio, like it's good, it's safe for him to gap close, then he can go with her as well. It's not about what's the most efficient use of resources in terms of like, do we only need one? Then why should we send the Lucio? It's like, would the Lucio get value there? If the answer is yes, then just send it. Who cares? Are there any heroes Mei just sucks to play against? So Mei is Mei is going to struggle versus the characters that perform well on maps. If you're playing versus Pharah Echo on a map with a lot of verticality, Mei is going to struggle. If you're playing versus Tracer Sombra on a very broad map, she's going to struggle. If you're playing Mei versus a Circuit Royale Widow, there are a lot of worse characters than Mei. Is fine. Mei is fine there, but she isn't the optimal character. So Mei, because she's flexible, she's a little like Hazard, where she's never really the worst pick and she's never really the best pick for the situation. I'd say Mei's best choice would be maybe Sniper, very compressed maps. Yeah, something like that. More compressed maps are definitely a little better for Mei because it's easier to find that wall utility without leaving your angle. Way to pick the Spilo perk, flat maps. Free value. Definitely can change how you use the ultimate, although if I had my way with the Spilo perk, I would have turned up the speed boost, turned up the healing. I think it's way too conservative. I think it's way too conservative. It doesn't change enough how you use the ult, which is my initial intention with the idea. How valuable is the Mei to stay in LSO support? It is valuable, but less valuable and less important than it is with other DPS. Would be good. Who would be good to have as support with Mei on these angles? Lucio. On this particular map. With the angles we've been taking, definitely Lucio. Objectively Lucio. Then Kiriko. Then Moira. Then Juno or Brig, in that order. But definitely Lucio would be the best. Yeah. Okay. How to play against Flyers on Mei Sim? Just take the angles that they want to take and beat them. Yeah. Like if you take the space here, you can fight Flyers here. You can fight Flyers here, right? Just out sustain them. Put yourself in those positions. Easier said than done. When you chill in main and Mei? Never. Unless your team is on the angle. Never. Always a little bit off to the side. And then you can wall on main from that little bit off to the side, or you can go crazy flank. We talked about it here. We had a really good angle to poke tank without getting our hands dirty with tank and a wall main. Perfect. But then we chose to get a little silly with it. That's also fine. Okay. Kiriko time. Oh boy. Let's turn on the streamer mode here. Gladys. Is that like a robot? That sounds like a robot name. Sounds like something from like Portal or something. Can you wall main then rotate? Sure can. Sure can. Yes, you can. Is it from Portal? Okay. I'm not crazy. All right, nice. All right. You guys ready for the mother load here? So, sarcasm aside here, Kiriko's definitely was one of the main ones. I think Kiriko and Diva were like the main two that really prompted me to do this whole project. I've had this project in the back burner for a while. And Kiriko was one of the main ones. And we'll talk briefly about the problem with supports. I've talked about it before. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole too deeply, but I do think it deserves a brief touching, which I did at the start, which is that a lot of supports do not exit the little bubble. They stay in the objective. They stay in the backline. They never, ever really explore lateral space. Very, 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 it's a little bit unintuitive for how the game is supposed to be played. There's a lot of people that kind of get in the MMO space instead of the first-person shooters headspace with how to play the game. This was true even in Overwatch 1 where people were way too focused on main. Thank you. I appreciate the sub, mate. Worth every penny, that's right. Definitely not a hackneyed, what's the term here? I don't know, pyramid scheme? I have no idea, whatever. The comedy's gone, my brain's cooked. But yeah, lateral space is just almost never explored by supports. And this isn't just a Kiriko problem. This is every support problem. And it's why a lot of support coaching for me, especially in low to mid ranks, is, my friend, get off of stacking with your support. Now, if your entire team is on the angle, main is an angle, right? Like if your entire team's on left, being on main or right or the objective, like who decides main? It's just, but you cannot stack with the entirety of your team. And one of the big no-nos with support, and I know this is going to make people some angry, is stacking with your support is the biggest crime of all. Going with your tank, going with your DPS, staying within sight lines of your support are great, but you can't stand on top of your support because then you're denying anybody that steps away from that little core the ability to receive healing. Huge problem in bronze, silver, gold, plat, diamond masters, and grandmaster. Very important first-person shooters to help and enable different angles and lanes, not just for offensive damage and carry and win, but just to defend yourself, to defend your other support from, think about it this way, and this is, we talked about this briefly, why Mercy can be good in low mid ranks, is because Mercy intuitively for a lot of even low rank players helps people on the side, helps the DPS. So here's what happens. Your DPS is fighting a Mercy pocketed hit scan, right? And you are sitting here. Let me ask you a question. What's going to happen on this lane? I don't care if this is bronze. It's going to collapse. This guy's going to die, or this guy's going to have to run away, which then means this jackass is going to walk forward, and now you are dead. And the problem is there's nowhere for you to go now. And not only that, but because you weren't on the angle to begin with, you may have not even seen them coming. The difference with how this needs to be played is that you, if you already have support on your tank or already support on main, is you could proactively go, I'm going to help my DPS heal and damage and fight for this lane. And then all of a sudden, is a Mercy pocket better than a Kiriko pocket? Don't say, yeah, because one of them shoots and one of them doesn't. It depends. It's a skill matchup, and that's what we need, right? And so this is where like a lot of Kiriko players really struggle. We'll get more into Kiriko specifically because it's not just about the fundamentals of space control, boring arithmetic. It's also because you are one of the best supports at swinging very wide because the further you go, the more resources you bait on yourself, the better teleport is as a defensive cooldown. Because now they're like, Zoink, Scoob, where'd she go, right? Whereas if you're here and you're stuck here and then you get pressured, your options are to go to a blind angle where you don't have any clue, or even worse, more often than not, to go forward. And that's not good at all. Whereas if you're on the side, you're probably teleporting back to your other support, away from threats, proactively controlling space. Now, there's a lot of debate around like, should I Suzu myself? Should I not Suzu myself? Should I Suzu and try to stay, or Suzu before I get my Suzu force leave? I don't really care. There's some nuance to that discussion, nuance to that argument. It's situational. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Suzu if you need to, but if you can get out without forcing Suzu and then retake an angle afterwards, that's great as well. But Kiriko has one of the best mobility cooldowns in the game, and the further you are laterally, the more DPS in a tank that you're helping on the sideline, the better teleport is. And I don't want to hear two arguments. Number one, yeah, but you get so much value out of just healing. Shut the frick up. Your healing per second is fine, but your ability to control lanes with your mobility and then heal the people that actually are fighting for space for you is what's more important. More often than not, Kiriko healing, when stacked with another support's healing, is redundant. You don't need more healing in the same target in the same space. You need healing in different spaces. And as you guys saw with that one Samoa game we played on Tuesday, I'll have to post that in Spylo 3. I demonstrated that perfectly, where my ability to take an angle meant that I actually just heal botted. I really did. For a lot of these fights, I would take an aggressive angle and I heal botted, but because I was taking an aggressive angle, I heal botted in locations with my tank and Genji that no other support could have heal botted. Because if I had set in the back, I could not have seen them. So I would go aggressive onto this wide angle with distance and heal bot my tank and DPS on an angle that other supports couldn't go. And the enemy team couldn't push me. They couldn't push me because if they push me, they waste those resources. I teleport out and I retake an angle anyway. It's not about being more proactive with your damage versus healing balance. You guys want really sad news? I see a lot of Kiriko players over-focusing on damage and not focusing on positioning enough. It's not about damage. That's generally something that a lot of Kiriko players could definitely do. But it's about the positioning. Once you take the angle, you can do whatever you want. You can damage, you can heal, you can do both. It's more about putting yourself in the position where you can actually control side space and use your teleport. Second argument here all the time. What about Kitsune Rush? Isn't that just better thrown on main? Sure. The more targets in Kitsune Rush, technically the better. But that's only looking at it within the value of a Kitsune Rush. For example, do I think I'm going to have a better chance winning the fight here by having me stuck with my tank, my other support, my DPS, solo DPS by himself over here? He's crying a little bit. There's some tears. Look at that. Am I more likely to win the fight Kitsune rushing here or moving myself to my sad DPS and Kitsune rushing my DPS and maybe getting my tank too? Maybe, right? Kind of going towards my team. The answer is, I don't know. But see, the fact that you actually have to, there's uncertainty here. And by the way, I know that this situation is a tough one because I've coached this situation a million times. I've seen it a million times. You would be surprised at how often a 2-man Kitsune rush is better than a 3 or 4-man Kitsune rush because it allows you to help one lane instead of dumping everything here. You pop a Kitsune rush, you get surrounded, you die anyway. Oh, what did we do wrong? A Kitsune rush on main. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. So I'm begging you, Kiriko players, please take lateral space. Please allow yourself to make mistakes, get picked off a little bit early because you're taking more aggressive risks with your healing and your damage because you have the toolkit to do so. And don't let your healing or your Kitsune rush bait you into only sitting in the backline and healing. It is a major, major, major problem with support players in all ranks. And there's a large part of the reason even why this character's win rate is not as good as it should be given her kit. I do think she's a little bit overhated. Actually, that's not true. She's not overhated or overvalued. Let's put it this way. A lot of high rank players think that she's literally the greatest hero ever and it should have been nerfed to the ground years ago. I kind of disagree with that to an extent. I won't get into the weeds. We've already had that conversation. But one of the reasons why she's chronically underperformed and ranked, even in high ranks, is because people do not know how to take space with Kiriko. We overvalue Suzu. We overvalue healing. I sit in the backline. I cleanse my tank. That's why I'm playing Kiriko. No. Trust me on this. Okay. Most flexible support in the game because her positioning requirements are very flexible. Very flexible. She can be generally better in further ranges. She's a bit more fragile, but there's a lot of flexibility. And I'm going to warn you guys, this is going to be a tough watch because it was fun for me to experience this because a lot of the Kiriko players in my Discord were doing a pretty good job taking space. Their aim was bad, their Suzus were bad, the healing was bad, but they were doing a pretty good job taking space. And so a lot of the gold, plat Kiriko players were unreviewable because they were actively taking space and helping their team. It was really nice to watch. First code we look at from some random plat rank game. I'm trolling around on Doomfist over here, feeding my brains out. I don't even care. And first, this is like plat 1, diamond 5. This is actually probably the highest low rank code that we're going to look at today. Because this is like diamond 5. It's just awful. It's just awful at controlling space. So, this is why we're using streamer mode. So, okay. So first things first. Ana, Venture, we don't really need to look at compositions here too much. But the big thing here is we could probably predict that right now my Ana's going to kind of sit in the back, right, with my cast. And so there's not really anybody going to be helping on the left. There's not really any going to be helping on the right. So we really want my Kiriko player to be opening up lane. And you can kind of see the problem already where we're kind of clumped with our support. We're focusing on damage instead of taking a good angle right now, which the good angle here is probably further along this way here, right? Somewhere a little bit further away with a little bit more cover. You notice it's not about, this Kiriko's too aggressive. She's too close. She's too stacked with her team. So it's not about damage necessarily, okay? I do agree that a lot of players need to do more damage, but you notice that the problems have come because we've been clumped. We have been stacked. We've got our little bit of our split. You notice that we didn't take an angle initially, so now we have to teleport to an angle, and that's a really, really, not always bad to teleport to an angle, but it's always dangerous to. And so then now we don't have a lot of, we don't have our cooldowns. Now, crucially here, we actually do have an angle here. We just need to kind of hug the wall here, and then heal our Cassidy. You notice again, we compress. We don't find cover, hold the angle, hold the lane, bait resources towards us, and then get out safely. We compress and then walk in the open while we're doing so. Walking in, and we get surrounded. We get ashed by behind. We didn't even see her. Stack with her support. Anytime our tank DPS walks forward, 0 LOS. I'm going to be a little bit hard on this one. A little bit harder in this one than we have in the past. So bear with me. Teleport to an angle because we didn't take space initially. Walk up top. Now, I will praise this Kiriko. I think this is a little cheeky. You got to be careful. You need to drop here. But I appreciate the attempt to try to control some space. We hold... Oh, gosh. You have guns. You have guns. You can heal each other without leaving space. We can sit on this corner right here, heal each other, and then I can help my Venture control this lane. Alternatively, I could have started to rotate further on left. The reason I'm going to be a little bit harder here is because I think this is a role-wide problem. And so it's going to be really important for us to talk about it. And obviously, I think if you were to choose, I think definitely Kiriko is going to be near the top of most played. So I hope that more people are listening to this. This player is not stupid. This player is just misinformed. And it's also partly due to kind of how the game is communicated. It's understandable. So we've left our lane. We've committed our teleport. And now neither our DPS on either angle has help. Nobody has help. And so we're trying to do damage. You see it? Cassie doesn't even need help. But you see he's under pressure. So we got to teleport in. And then we got to Suzu in. And then now I'm getting crossfired. And now I'm getting surrounded. And this is a train wreck, right? It's a total train wreck. We actually end up losing that fight. Or we actually end up getting picked off because we didn't commit to a lane. We didn't commit to helping either DPS. Now, either one can work, right? She is wall climb. She's decent at multiple different ranges. So we could have helped Cassidy. Could have helped top right. Both can work. But we didn't help either. In fact, we ran away to our honor and then had to go teleport to reach out and help people. It's all about setting up to help, not then having to immediately bail out to help. Okay, let's keep going here. We're gonna wait, we're gonna regroup, and we're gonna see what happens here. And then this is a really important moment because, I'm on Doomfist feeding my brains out. Our guys swap Sombra. Oh shoot, they're on dive. All right, let me ask you guys a question. This is where we might use the epic plan a little bit. This is insane. Where is the Doomfist Sombra going to come from, right? They're going to come from here, or they're going to come from here, or they're going to come from here. So our Kiriko kind of has to hold a lane here, apply pressure, or maybe mark here. Now our support's here, so I like her moving away towards left. But you notice how we did it. We're too slow, and we teleport in blindly. But we've got to get away. We cannot stack. So here, again, it's a blind teleport. We're getting surrounded. But here, the only way we can win this is to open up wide, try to create some distance, force me to make a bad engage, force someone to make a bad engage, help my Cassidy, and then if they dive my Ana, well, then I can full pocket my Ana because I can see her, right? And I'm not getting AoE'd by Virus and Doom Slam and Doom Punch and all that crap, right? The problem here is that we have compressed. We're stacked. And so anytime either my Zarya or Cass walks forward, we don't have good sightlines. You see it, like, again, we just have to teleport through walls again. I mean, that probably should not have even demanded Suzu if we'd been there in the first place. It's just constantly putting out fires. Let's keep going here. We'll watch a couple more fights here. We won't watch too many more. Who do we want to help? We're stuck with our team. We could have wall climbed and shot me a little bit. We could have swung here to this corner a little bit. All right, we have a choice here. Do we assist Cassie, walk to the Cassidy? I dive, you teleport out, fine. Or do we walk to the Zarya, swing wide, and pressure? You have to choose. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I had no idea Kiriko was there. No idea. This is what I'm talking about. There's an indecision with how to go, and she's just there, I guess. Right? I didn't even mean to aim for her. And because we haven't committed, we're unable to help ourselves. In fact, we have to teleport away from the person that we might need to help. Suzu's forced. Teleporting blindly into map, right? And we're dead. Matt says, playing this way seems really stressful. It's way less stressful if you pick a lane and fight for it. Exactly. It gives you a vision. There's an objectivity that you lose when you're stuck on main and surrounded because people want to surround you. That's the way that these shooters work. And so when you don't help, your cast early and then you can fight the BAP and then, I can deal with this. Or when you go here and you go, heal this, I can go deal with the Ana. You do get overwhelmed very easily without this proactive space control. And so like curious how much damage she has, right? Well, see, this is the thing. It's not that she's not trying to do damage. She really is. This is not a damage versus ceiling thing. I know you're not saying that necessarily is. It's that she's not able to actually settle in and just pressure. Everything feels so stressful, right? Like right now, if we're going to help Cass, we need to commit to the Cass and then Kitsune rush from here towards here if necessary. Alternatively, we could commit to going and sneaking with the Venture. I personally would prefer the Venture here. I think Cass is probably okay. And then we could do all sorts of silly stuff with our teleport from here. But we need to commit. And then once we're here, we don't go back, right? Where's your Cass going to go? Probably top left. So where should we go? Well, probably top left. But you see what we've done. We've stopped. We've not committed to here. We've not committed to here. We're stuck. Now, our Bob here is terrible. We're stuck. And now, now we're surrounded. Now we're surrounded. You see the problem here? AoE value. Pull full. Right? Gladys fed. I wonder why. It's just total chaos, right? There's no sense of vision or guidance, and we're getting hit by things that are not even intended for us. We'll watch one more fight here. And let's maybe look at this setup here. Still stuck. Where should we be right now? Well, we should be left angling solo, which, by the way, questions in chat. What if my DPS don't take angles? Do it yourself. Do it yourself. Trust me. Alternatively, we could have very easily seen, we could just split from Iona and kind of hold here, right? Hold here even. Hold the space here. And then we don't have to teleport to the Venture, right? Which then means we don't have to burn Suzu. Which then means, this Doomfist doesn't get away with murder, and you see it again, right? So we'll stop here. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you could see how much more chaotic, stressful, panicking, cooldown forcing it is to just not have a vision or a guideline or an angle to start. Whether that's in a small room, whether that's on a solo sightline, whether maybe my Luciu's in here with a Venture, so then I can play back with my tank. Remember, the problem here is that because my Ana is sitting on main and sitting in the back, I can't also be, right? That's the problem, right? But if my Lucio Brigitte is aggressive, flanking, I got a DPS Moira, then you could be a little bit more flexible because you always got somewhere else you can go to, right? Somewhere else you can go to. All right. We have a Jib Oasis. I don't think the code will still be here. Yeah, so I'm going to dig it up. We have a Grandmaster Kiriko. Shut the frick up. We have, I believe this is going to be Jib. And if I remember correctly, this was a decent demonstration. It's not perfect, but a decent demonstration of more of what we're looking for. This is Grandmaster Kiriko. And you will immediately notice the difference with how space, it's not perfect, but how space is being taken. Way more proactive, way more aggressive on angles. And by aggressive, I don't mean damage and killing, more aggressive on setup, right? Setup, right? So let's take a look here. Look at this. We got Ball, Sombra. This is a dive comp. You have to peel your backline, right? So huge problems, right? Like, oh man, we're peeling our backline, right? But watch how the things evolve and how differently things evolve. We get a little split from Zen, but we have a sightline. We go forward to our Genji. We're aggressively, because we know if I can apply enough pressure here, that I don't have to sit in my Zenyatta, right? We'll even use our teleport if I know the angle's safe, right? Aggressively healing, aggressively damaging. Look at this. Help my look. I didn't have to be on top of my Zenyatta to help my Zenyatta. Do you notice that? Look at this. Beautifully peel, and not giving up the angle, right? Go right back. We kind of messed it up. Okay, but yeah, the intention's there, right? So Zen's dead? Okay, whatever. Now I'm gonna focus on what I can pocket from here, which right now seems to be Genji. Maybe Zarya. She's thinking about it right now. She's like, do I want to be here or do I want to be here? Right? She's thinking carefully. And right now we choose Echo. Great healing, great damage. It's good. It's really good. And you notice that there's not actually been a ton of damage here. I want to PP to this position. I like this position better. It's been more about like, where do I want to position, right? And then kind of making that decision once we get there. Immediate difference in how space is being controlled right now. We're just going to let my Zenyatta push. Oh, that's super unfortunate. Notice that we don't have to use our teleport as often if we are better about setup. Oh, we don't quite get the wall climb right. Again, another peel without actively being on top of my Zenyatta. Look at that. I have my sightlines on him, So he got virused by a Sombra, like worst case scenario, right? This would be like the definitive, I'm going to sit on top of my Zenyatta situation. But nope, I'm going to sit up here, shoot the ball, and force him to use resources on me so that I can teleport away, right? So she teleports towards Zenyatta after the peel, and it opens wide the angle. You notice this? So we're already creating a bit of a split. Look at that, look at that. Proactive protection, beautiful. And then now we back off because, okay, we need to regroup. Zarya's in spawn. But notice, again, I teleport to my support, and then where do we go? Away. A little bit away. Trying desperately. I really don't want to teleport there. That's a 2v2 hit squad. I want to set up my hit squad here. Really just backing off here because, again, we're down 1. We're here. We probably should have retaken space sooner. So, like, my criticism here is that we probably needed to get up top here quickly or move forward here and go underneath to top here. So this is kind of one of those moments where we're a little too slow to take our next step positioning because there's been a real clear urgency up until this point. I mean, this is still a hard comp, right? Look how the Kiriku's doing the same thing too. Yeah, so we're gonna stagger here, reset, let's see how things go. Told you it's not perfect, but you could see immediately night and day with how aggressively we take space. We're listening for Sombra, actively marking the ball, keeping our sightlines on Zenyatta, but not stacking, so that we can keep sightlines on our Zarya, and then we can keep sightlines on our Echo, and then we can heal our Echo, and then we can evaluate, do I really want to be here? I don't know if I like this angle. I'm not going to teleport to my Zarya because I can wall climb. So I'm going to pocket my Zarya and trust that my Zenyatta is not going to instantly die. Answer, he doesn't instantly die. Suzu's used, turret form is used. My job is here. My job is not here. You notice the split here? This is like textbook right here. Are we doing a lot of damage? No. We've not had time for it. Been too important to hit the Suzu and heal. And yet this is perfect. Very satisfying to watch, agreed. Kitsune Rush, why? Because winning this lane is super important. In fact, I would have said here, I probably would have Kitsune Rushed right here. Just to guarantee. I think we thought that we didn't need it. The Bastion would probably just die. So I understand, but I probably just would have Kitsune Rushed right here. Just kill the Bastion, force the Sarma Kiriko off, we win the fight off of that. Just win the lane, win the angle, totally worth it. So right now, we are just confirming that we're going to win this. And then, a lot of healing, and then a lot of damage. And you notice the split, right? We're still controlling space. Still not on cart. Now we go to cart because Ball's the only one left alive. Get him out. But it just immediately, the splits and sightlines and management of how we're positioning, it's not about how we use our teleport as much as what we did before we had to use teleport. What were we doing before the fight started? Split on our angle, proactively controlling this right lane. We know that our Zenyatta is safe because he's here, I'm here. I'm going to prevent the Sombra from going for him, and if he dies, it dies, you know? Like, it happens. Then I just shoot what's available to me, pocket what's available to me. Go in for the last second teleport Suzu when there's nothing else left to do except prevent a trade, and there you go. We'll watch a little bit more, but I don't want to beat a dead horse as always. Like, this has gone on long enough, but you guys can see it's like it's night and day, right? Just so much better. We're proactively controlling this high ground with our Echo. We like being here. We're gonna protect our Zenyatta by making sure that Ball, Sombra, Ball, Bastion, whatever can't be here. We're gonna protect our Echo. We're gonna look for sightline that's good for us. Damage and healing. Damage and healing. Beautiful, beautifully done. Check our Zenyatta quickly, but we don't want to leave. Still healing, still Suzuing. Now, I wouldn't have mind a couple of pot shots here to peek, but do you notice that we're not being critical of the lack of damage done here? Because the healing that we have done has been immensely useful, right? Immensely useful. It's been all about the position. We wanted to wall climb and shoot there, I could tell. I mean, look at that. We did like with 0 damage. But our positioning was exceptional, so it didn't matter. They added a tab menu to the... Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. I forgot about that. I feel like they did this a little bit ago, but I just forgot. Yeah, I mean, you could look at her Kiriko, right? She's got 1,700 damage and 4,800 healing, and she's only 3-1. It's not about stats, man. It's about where that damage and healing has been applied and how we've played space. I mean, it's difficult, right? Some games are going to just pop off. Some games are not, you know? Thoughts on minor perk, both are fine. Both have their uses. I don't think there's like a really clear choice. I can see value out of both of them. Let's look at defense here really fast, just to kind of, again, I like to kind of pivot things, then we'll kind of wrap it up here. Okay, what is our split looking like here? So we're kind of stacked with our Zen, which I don't love. I frankly would have preferred this. I would have preferred this angle here, because our Zenyatta really kind of doesn't have as many positional flexibility as we do. So we need to split from our other support, but we let him kind of get the pick of the litter because he's a lot less flexible than we are. So I would have preferred here, and then just kind of chip, that we can heal from here. So I don't like our space control here because it's compressing our ability to pocket our Echo, pocket our Zarya, and we don't have good sightlines for damage. And then also, crucially, we don't really have a good teleport angle here because our teleport is here, right? It's in kind of blind, right? Instead of going back towards our support. We can't, it's just, this is uncharacteristic, not good positioning from us. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's not great. I appreciate us kind of keeping our vision on our DPS, letting our Zenyatta do his thing when necessary. So this has been better, but it's kind of been created because Zenyatta kind of created the angle for us. But this has been a big step back. And if you feel how it feels, a little bit more chaotic and a little bit more stressful accordingly. So Zen pushes. We're kind of sitting in the back here. When your BAP is doing damage, you have a problem? That's true. I told you guys about that Masters 5 game with a BAP that had 0 damage in 4 minutes. No joke. Not joking. Yeah, you see, we've lost space. You see it? Look at the Sombra. Zarya's not gotten as much support as she's needed. We've actually forced ourselves a bubble. I don't know why she's bubbled us, but there's not been enough damage and support here. There's not been enough damage. We could have DPS'd angled here as well. We've gotten ourselves... This is a problem. Look at the Echo. Look at the Sombra. Look at the Kiriko. We've lost space. So you could see it. We get punished. It's only a matter of time before we get punished for our poor positioning. So let's see how we retake. Even good players, man. Even good players. This is a map understanding issue. Right, this player is not prioritizing being more flexible with how they position on this particular defense. Sure, open left, keep going 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 left, yes. And then now we can trust our Zenyatta, and then instead we can angle and pressure from here. This allows us a bit of a crossfire and a little bit better vision. The problem was is that we were too slow to take that space. We were too busy playing patty cake and spawn. Let's watch one more fight. Maybe defense in second might be useful. What's going on here? Near Kitsune Rush is fine. Again, my problem though is that we still have a support stack. We're not... You could drop Kitsune from top towards your Zarya, and then you ready for this one? Bail. Leave. Go help your Echo. Go help your Genji on the angle here, right? So this Kiriko... I don't think we meant to teleport there. Yeah, I think we actually meant to teleport top, which is kind of funny. But we have uncharacteristically done a really... And you see it. Our Gecko's losing the duel. A Genji gets nothing out of the blade. And so maybe this is a great way to end it because we have gotten surrounded. Our DPS have been unsupported. And we've gotten traded nonetheless. Because for whatever reason, this Kiriko has stopped taking space. Has stopped taking angles, stopped taking space. It's been nothing to do with healing. It's nothing to do with damage. It's just stopped taking space. And it's just looked terrible as a result. But on the conversely, attack was much better. And yeah. Okay. Any questions with Kiriko on terms of space control? How to take space, how to take angles, how to progress your map. My goodness, what a lot of yapping. Honorable mentions. We'll get to those in a second. Because I do have a couple of heroes for each role that I think definitely deserve to be on the list of misunderstood heroes. And I'll give a quick TLDR why. Similar problems with what we talked about here. Standing by the box and give first calls to all supports. Yeah. Please, Sem. I've had a hard time angling Kiriko off the projectile nerf, not gonna lie. Well, remember, this isn't about damage necessarily. It's also about your ability to provide an angle to heal your tank and DPS on an angle going aggressive, and also create an angle to teleport out. The myth of Kiriko is that when you angle, you do it to carry, 2-tap, and get out. That is a thing you can do, but it is not the only reason why you're taking the angle. Because if you look at this fight here, why did we lose? Well, DPS didn't get support. Like healing. Literally, they just didn't get healing. That's why. Right? So, you're definitely going to have a harder time playing Kiriko, period, after the projectile nerf. But yeah, great point. Any other questions Oh, my thing isn't even on. I'm not going to turn it on. You guys can see. Any tips on reminding yourself to angle more? I mean, you got to go in with the deliberation of that is your entire purpose, is to experiment with taking space, finding an angle, helping my tank, helping my DPS, find a lane, right? That should be your entire purpose of the game. Not your Suzers, not your mechanics, not your damage, not your healing, not your positioning, not your Kitsune rush, not your cover usage. Just angle. Angle. And do that for 30, 40, 50% of your games. And this applies to really all the characters that we talked about today. So, thoughts of projectile size nerfs? It was good. There's a lot of things that they can dump Kiriko's power budget into more, but I think the character definitely needs a soft rework at least. Should the angles you take be generally more conservative in 6v6, 5v5? No. The same in 6v6 and 5v5. The difference between 6v6 and 5v5 is your angles are more likely to be contested in 6v6, but that also means that you're more likely to have help. You're probably going to be +1ing with another off tank or with DPS or with your main tank. So, no, it's the same. You're less likely to be solo flanking backline because nobody was on the flank in 6v6. Let's put it that way. Should you always follow up with flank DPS? Well, if the angle is there, yes. If you can set up with a flank DPS, yes. We gave an example on the Coliseo Kiriko where if your Lucio or your other support is already going in with a DPS, then you can hold your angle on main because now main is an angle. You just need a crossfire and you can't have your support stacked. Why don't pros do this as much? Pros absolutely do this as much. The difference is that the pro compositions more often than not have that Kiriko-Lucio split that we just talked about, where you have the Lucio generally splitting off a little bit to the side, marking DPS, marking angles, Kiriko controlling the main angle. The reason why pros don't do this as much is because pros play Kiri-Lucio with the Lucio controlling more side space. But if you've ever seen a composition Kiri Wuyang on a Kiriko, the Kiriko is usually the more one taking the deeper flanks. That's exactly why. Would I prefer taking medium, long, closer jingles? I'd probably prefer medium with Kiriko. Is it ever worth to give up a good position to use Kitsune to more teammates? Yes, but kind of as we saw here, it may be a good call to Kitsune rush a teammate and then leave your own ultimate to go help people elsewhere. No problem, Pablo. You have that video of why you can't play with the pros, and that sums it up well, right? I mean, I've had people send me videos legit of like Chio and Chorong and Lucio and be like, yo, is this angle good? Like, why isn't Chio and Chorong angling? Half the time, yo, Hottie, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it, brother. Half the time, I think they are angling, they are marking the side angles. It's just not as deep as people are used to because they're playing dive or they're marking tracers. So like they are doing the right thing. It's just the players misinterpreting what they're doing. And the other half of the time is like, yeah, Chio made a mistake. Like just straight up. Like Chio, the GOAT, is not positioned well here. I mean, pro players make mistakes, man. Like it happens. But more often than not, it's just like you as a viewer are misinterpreting what they're doing. The context of the ult layering is more complicated. Or maybe they just screwed up. This just happens. So, are we going to see some brig coaching? Not today, no. When shouldn't you take those angles? Never. I mean, always. Like, you should always have something of a support split. How far you go, like, if you've seen a lot of high-level Kiri-Lucio brawl, it's very, very tight. Like, right? Lucio's just a little bit off the side. We still want to keep people in our aura. But, like, you never want support stacked on top of each other. Like, ever. It's just not good. You don't benefit from proximity. You benefit from sight lines or from being within my Lucio aura or within Inspire range, right? Not by directly being on top, right? So, okay, so let's wrap this up with some honorable mentions for misunderstood heroes. These are characters that I definitely considered adding to the list. You could add a lot of heroes to this list, and everyone's subjective experience is going to be a little bit different. Tank, we'll keep it quick. Malga. I think Malga, a lot of players play him now as like the very much frontline focus, stand in the open, pop, cardiac, and blah, 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 blah. And that can work when there isn't a lot of range damage, range CC. If the tank matchup doesn't have a lot of mitigation, so you could just kind of sustain yourself on the enemy tank. But Malga, more often than not, needs to kind of angle max, like play a little bit like the dive Reinhardt. Pin to a corner, sustain on the tank, harass the DPS, cover. Like Malga just melts standing in the open. And so you really can't just stand on main and shoot tank a lot of the time. You got to kind of use your mobility, open up side angles. Big misinterpretation. You guys saw me play a little bit of Malga on stream, kind of messing around. We did the whole Malga coaching session, the full guide that's on Spilo coaching, Grandmaster to low rank, and you guys kind of saw some of the variety there. But yeah, much more dynamic, much more flexible, much more mobility focused tank than he has before. Yeah, there's nothing worse than seeing a Malga trying to counter swap the enemy tank, like Malga versus Ryan, and the backline's like, Ashe damage boosted with like Mei with an Ana, and you're like, frick, my Malga is just gonna die instantly standing in the open, So yeah, bummer. Okay, so for DPS, we've got two. One of them is gonna be Bastion. Again, Bastion is just really strong right now, but a lot of reasons why Bastion is strong isn't just the turret form on tank. That is something you can do situationally. But turret form is just really good in 1v1s, period. And if you're just standing on main in the middle of the open, aka Mei style, you're going to have a hard time. Nades are important. Nades and duels are important. Bastion is not super brawl focused. He's pretty fragile up close versus a lot of characters. And it's really, really easy to shoot you if you're just standing in open. So Bastion is a character that is played really badly by people that swap to Bastion to counter the enemy tank, right? You just focus and stay in the open and you die. Like Bastion is one of the worst counter swaps characters in the game because people think, I can just counter the enemy tank. Doesn't matter what it is. Not only does Bastion have really bad matchups versus some tanks, aka Sigma, Orisa, Diva, Doomfist, even characters like Hazard, Map Situational, Roadhog, Reinhardt. There's a lot of tanks that just destroy Bastion. But also, even if the matchup is good, if you are just sitting on main, staying in the open, you're going to get obliterated from DPS. So, yeah. Very misunderstood characters, especially by the people that swap to him. Symmetra, a little bit less so. I think Symmetra players are definitely evolving, but again, you're noticing a pattern here. Bastion, Mei, Symmetra, the unholy trinity of stand on main and focus tank. Yes, you can. It's not good. Turrets give you wall hacks. Your orbs are really strong. Your beam is a little bit less strong than it used to be. Your teleport is super good for solo flanks and solo angles. Symmetra is just not great on standing on main. There's just so many different ways to use her dynamically, to control space, to DPS flank, to help your team, to help your backline, to harass the flankers and so on. Symmetra's matchup versus flankers, especially in small rooms, is really good. And so you need to be opening up side angles. Again, another one of those characters that people might swap to and just really struggle because they're not playing the character correctly. But yeah, I think Symmetra players are better, but people that swap to Symmetra are not. Okay. There's other characters we could go on, but we're going to move on here. Support. And we're going to kind of put two in the same. Brig, Lucio. Definitely Brigitte, Lucio. Characters that are kind of seen as like either A, I'm going to speed my team, staying on core. I want my number 5 aura always. And then my DPS flanks, I'm like, well, wait, what would I do? And they never think about their own positioning. They just kind of sit on main. Even Plat, Diamond, Lucius will struggle with this. Don't close the gap. Don't prioritize the quality of the people, the aura, instead of the quantity. And the Brigitte is kind of the same. It's less about the number of people in the aura and more about, I'm going to peel the dive by waiting for the dive to happen, and then my backline dives. If you guys remember that Midtown Diva, if you wait for the dive to take all the space and then pull the trigger, it's over. You got to proactively deny an angle for the DPS this stage, and then your Inspire will help the people around you, and then you can armor pack people that are away from you. So Brig denies dive by denying an angle or a lane or a target proactively, and then also healing the person that might need help across the map. So a lot more proactive, a little bit more angle focus. He doesn't want to get her hands dirty with the tank too often, and so on. So nice, Sayonara. Yeah, cool stuff. So yeah, Brig Lucio, similar problems where people really kind of clump with them. Again, you notice a consistent theme for today's misunderstood characters. It's the characters that feel like a clump, but you just don't. Okay, questions. Any last questions about misunderstood? Holy crap. See, this is why we didn't do it on Tuesday. It's been almost 2 freaking hours. My voice. Mamma mia. Is Life Evil also pretty misunderstood? Yes and no. I would have said yes 6 months ago. And then they nerfed his HP to 250. He's definitely a little bit more pokey than he used, which feels a little bit more, but the way that I would like Life Weaver to play is more misunderstood. And I do think he's misunderstood, but you are going to get more value out of being a little bit more passive than you would. How many characters do you think are completely misunderstood? I don't know. I mean, it's really hard. Is like Diva really completely misunderstood, or is there just an important aspect of her that is misunderstood? So it's a gradient. Do you think Tor fits into this or no? Yes and no. Yes and no. Not as much as some of the other ones. Echo partly, but I also think that there's also people that play Echo too far, too pokey. They don't go for the surprise birthday parties, right, Stefano? So they don't go for their sticky cycles and proximity and then kind of play the poke range between those cycles. So parts of Echo, yeah, for sure. Is Wing a support that can sit on main? Any support can sit on main, as long as their other support is not on main. But if my support is on main, no support should be on main. You understand? I don't care what supported this. It doesn't matter. You do not stack. You do not stack with your other support toe to toe. You always open up a little bit this side or deep this side or all the way. You got to get outside your head of like some DPS take angles, some DPS don't. Some tanks take angles. It's about you have to spread your resources in Overwatch. You have to spread your resources. Okay. All done? All done. Is it coaching the coach time? Maybe? Feels like maybe that's appropriate right now because I am baked. Thursdays are always my biggest coaching days in terms of like time commitment and energy. And I am gassed right now, to be perfectly frank with you guys. So you might need a little bit of thinking, a little bit more conversational stuff. Sombra misunderstood by devs? No. I don't think there's any misunderstanding with Sombra with what she is right now. I think it's more of a question of what state do we want her in. At least not by our metrics. Although you could argue that there's certain aspects that have been misunderstood, sure. All right, I will be right back. I got to go Tinkletown. Yeah, right back. Nice. Ah, man. But yeah, I want to shout out to my Discord community, Twitch chat, Whole 9 Yards, YouTube chat thank you guys for submitting the codes. Really very kind of you guys to submit and support the project because that was obviously a lot of work, a lot of preparation and such, but I hope it was relatively educational for you guys. And we will try try to crop that down a little bit for YouTube at some point as well. But I really appreciate you guys for submitting the codes because very, very helpful. I am drinking freshly squeezed tangerine juice sold at a local grocery store. It's amazing. I mean, it is 9, 10 out of 10 drink. It is incredible. I did wash my hands. I did. But yeah, just amazing. Isn't that packed with sugar though? I mean, it's just fruit juice. So yes, it's fructose. Yes. But there is no added sugar, and I'm a sucker for fruit juice. I don't give a frick. I'm a bad man. What can I say? I just don't care. I just could not possibly care less. I'm glad to hear it was helpful. That's the number one priority. But I appreciate you guys for taking the time to submit and also to be here as well. Nice, Scary Monsters. I'm glad. I appreciate your kind words, my friend. Did I see the Quartz tweet? No. About what? Vendetta? I think maybe that's someone. Yeah, I saw something about an r/cal, but complaining about Vendetta. And yes, water is wet. Vendetta is OP. Pro players complain and gripe and generally have bad takes. Now, is Quartz wrong about Vendetta? No, but I mean, I don't know. There's nothing really shocking there. Sorry, I'm being dismissive. I'm sorry, but yes, Vendetta's OP. Pro players are going to complain and whine and be passive aggressive and probably have half their complaints be wrong. But yeah. Is Widow good right now? She's pretty good, yep. She's not super... No, she's good. This is about as good as Widow's been in a long time. Venamine's really strong. There've been a couple of tweaks to her, but I can't remember. Meta's pretty good for her. Yeah. But 125 OP is... Venamine, sorry, is great. Who do you think they're going to rework? No idea. No idea. Not been a while. It's been a while since I've reworked anybody, so no idea. But, okay. So, let me update stream title here. Chris and Awkward had a conversation about his Winston. Interesting. Coaching the coach. Tuesday's goofy thing just felt like more like a drama thing. I was hoping to have like some full coaching philosophy discussion, and it just went down the toilet, so I just left. But this apparently was a little bit more interesting, a little bit more in depth, and talking about Winston bubbles and how you. And so I want to listen and I want to learn. I want to talk about it. So especially now that we're kind of we're going to go into some React slop stuff here. We'll take a look. Hottie just had a stream about it. That's crazy. I apologize, Hottie Raiders, coming from freaking Hottie talking about Chris talking about Awkward. To Spilo, yeah, sorry. So, well, I guess you guys knew what you're getting into. Yeah, and we'll take a look here. So, think you'll be a little disappointed in terms of the discussion, or what? Disappointed in what way, necessarily? I mean, if it's a good discussion, I'm down for it. But we might have to skip through it a little bit. Yeah. So I guess just like a quick disclaimer here. I think it's awkward coaching Chris. And I have a lot of respect for Chris as a coach and like his ability here. So I'm going to be, if I'm criticizing Chris's Winston or the way that he's explaining himself, it's going to be criticizing Chris as a player coaching himself, not Chris. And I guarantee you if we like took Chris's name off of the code and gave him the code, he'd probably coach himself better. Like, it's really hard to be objective, especially right after you played a game. And you guys have seen me, right? I make excuses. I get frustrated. I say, well, I did this, you know, it's like everybody's like this. Nobody's immune from this. So this is me coaching, not Chris's coaching, but coaching Chris as a player and thinking about the way, whether I agree or disagree with some of the advice that Awkward is giving. So like what Sarah's saying, we'll do a little bit more actual VOD work, and this is not a criticism of Chris's understanding of the game or anything like that. Like, it's just hard to be fully objective about your opinions and yeah. So
shake hands with danger. Need a guy who ought to know. I used to laugh at safety.
Yes.
Now they call me.
Hopefully this song will not be relevant. Hopefully this song will not be relevant. But I'm gonna let it 1.25, a little bit of brain rot, just because we'll get growing here. coaching the coach, and then, yeah, I will use this as a springboard to kind of give my own thoughts. So, a lot of experience coaching Winston. Definitely one of the most coached tanks that I've coached. I've coached champion. I've coached World Cup players, coached Overwatch League, coached contenders. I mean, it's been a hero I've coached for forever. So, yeah.
I mean, as long as we don't get... The worry is... the only... All right. Yeah, Eamon in the debate yesterday, he needs to give me a live coaching. He needs to prove himself right now, not you, okay?
You want to hear something funny? I'm not gonna lie. What I planned to do originally...
Feels a little quiet. I'm gonna turn up a little bit.
Coach you, and he would scream, use the bubble, use the bubble.
He would do.
Can you guys hear it okay?
All
right, you're playing Ryan here?
Yeah, I'm sure I get booped off the map after one fight and then go Winston.
So let's just do the Winston. You can see the screen, right?
Yeah, I can see it, okay?
Alright. I just swapped to Winston. How do you get booted off the map, bro?
Now, this is where I actually broke a...
I will say this. What freaking timeline are we in right now? Like, what? I just...
That's on the floor in this moment. That's fucking... That desk slammed.
Alright. First of all, what I love is that I like this. This is you being sentient. You were about to jump and then you paused.
Yeah.
You realize I killed the ball, let me stabilize and then go in. That means you're sentient. Most people below your rank would just jump in and down.
Here. I'll also move my face cam so you guys can kind of see Chris's face. There. What rank is Chris? M3, I think, something like that. M2, M4, I have no idea. Like mid-masters, something like that. And I'm gonna try to not pause. I know, ironically, I'm pausing. I'm gonna try to like let multiple minutes go by, or like people are fully able to flesh out their thoughts before I chime in. It's the same thing I do when I want to hear their thoughts fully before I interject, before I fully hear them explain themselves. It's Commander X or Christopher. I think Christopher is the better Winston.
Looking back, I think
check the back line, and then watch this.
Yeah,
Nano
nice.
with no jumps. Okay, most Winstons can't pull this off. You need to understand that.
Yep,
this
that
is
was good.
Generational Winston right now.
Right. So you played really good and you won the fight. Not really surprising, right?
Well, but then what's about to happen at some point is I'll fucking...
Right. So, I mean, of course, if you're not winning consistently, it means that there's inconsistent performance. You don't do it every fight.
He and Huddy did not get the GM1 last week. I think they got the GM5, but they definitely did not get the GM1.
Right, is the point.
But yeah, they have had a bit of a loss streak, for sure.
What's the purpose of
Okay, I need to look at the context here.
Right. So, I mean, of course, if you're not winning consistently, it means that there's inconsistent performance.
You're good, dude. You're good.
You don't do it every fight.
Sorry,
is the point.
that was condescending of me.
What's the purpose of the bubble here?
I mean, at this stage, I don't know. I don't know. Once it all goes wrong, I feel like in this moment, what I feel like is it's like, well, A, the fight is fucked, but B, my job is to go on backline, but I actually can't here, you know, like there's four of them together, so I'm just like at this stage, it's just a bubble to protect me from the
let him talk.
and then just go next.
Just a little bit. I have my thoughts
You
here.
would be correct. You can't really jump on the backline because there are 4 people together. So what do you think you can do?
I mean, at this stage, the only thing I can do from like a macro perspective is stall the point long enough to hope that the team can respawn. That's the only thing that I can do.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question. If you realize I cannot jump on the backline, they're either too far away or just stacked together and I can't really make the jump. What is the alternative besides just sitting and doing nothing when your team is getting dove on?
I mean,
help you out here?
Okay, sure, help me out.
Counter dive. As simple as that. You can they're too far away. We can't really do much. Let me just jump in here, put a bubble, protect my Ana. Maybe if I can stabilize.
No,
but
that has to be worse, to be honest. Like the better thing to do in the moment would be to at least stop their backline making progress. Like I have to let the ball go. The reason I bubble is because I panic. You don't understand because you play the game, but I can't see my screen. It's really important you understand that when shit happens fast on my screen, I just can't see it. I'm decrepit, okay? But in this situation, I need to play in bubble, block the from coming bridge, lose 0 HP, and hope my supports make a play. If I jump back, the fight is always
correct. That is correct.
Listen, I don't disagree. So the first thing I mentioned is that my bad. 1 second. Okay. The first thing I mentioned is that the bubble was panicky. There was no point to use the bubble. It was completely pointless. I get it. What I am saying is that you say in theory you need to stop their backline of making progress, and you would be correct most of the time. The problem is that you can't. You just can't because you get zoned out by the mines. They're not really pushing yet. Like they only now.
I'm gonna interject really fast here. I accidentally muted myself because this is gonna be one of those moments where I think it's. I'm gonna let them keep talking, but I'm gonna explain my point here. Winston you control an angle or a lane like every other hero, and then you dive and pressure from that angle or lane. You never go back if there is something that is near you that you can provide pressure with, because what that means is you can then bubble trade effectively on this corner or on this corner or on point, and then live after the bubble's done. Whereas if you go back, I'm dealing with the ball, but you used your jump to do this, and then there's always an opportunity cost. So yes, you are not bubbling off your team. But you know what would be better? Bubble up the follow-up. Because Awkward's saying is that like this backline is undiveable. So then you should just go peel your backline. But the reality is that this is look at what's happening here, right? This backline is taking space as a consequence or as a reaction to the ball actively taking space. So there will be things, this backline will be accessible. And all they're waiting for is bubble or us to back up. The second that we as Winston give up an angle or a lane, like the Diva stuff in the earlier Misunderstood Heroes, they will fill that gap and then they will kill our backline. Instantly. And so the second that Chris misused bubble here, they walk forward. So the problem is bubble, for sure. But Chris is right that giving up the angle, giving up the lane to either Lucio or whoever's over here, we need to stop this follow-up from happening. And even though we're down a couple, the only way we clutch this is to be as efficient with our resources as we possibly can and just hope something happens. Should you jump in the mines? No, you should not jump in the mines. No, you do not peel as Winston unless you're fully disengaging a fight entirely. Or there's a support next to you, right? We are aggressively holding the lane. You do not go back, because the second you go back, that backline fills the gap. Because Awkward's interpreting is because we can't go in, we should go back. And what I'm saying, and I think Chris is saying as well, is we should just stand still with the bubble and hold the same angle. Now, obviously, it doesn't really matter in this fight, but the reason why I'm going to kind of die on that hill is because that is an important concept that's not really important here because this fight is lost and we've wasted our bubble, but is important all the time.
The string just past the bridge. It's not as if the ball has follow-up. It was just him and Echo. Not Echo, sorry, whoever dove with him.
But he has follow-up now. You see? He does have follow-up now because we misused our bubble. That's the problem. But yeah, I think this is I think this is one of the tank fundamentals that I think Awkward is wrong with.
Who was it that went in with him? Ball slammed. Oh, Echo, yeah. If you just jump into your place a bubble, that probably would be the best case scenario for you.
No, I actually think you're wrong here, okay? So in this moment, the jump back into the mines is awful. As Winston, in this moment, my supports need to heal each other, and they need to give every single resource to each other. It's super important I don't drain a single resource here. If I jump main, I take any damage and they have to heal me, things get rougher. The reality is whatever fucking happens, this is fucked. But I actually fully have to let them hope that they can peel the ball and then play. Like if I lose a single HP point here, I'm throwing the game, 100%.
Chris, you know what? I don't disagree with you on that one, but you know where the disconnect is for me? You say, this is what my supports should do. No. You're not coaching pro players, Chris.
Hardy is a pro player. He's a fucking pro player. My Anna is a pro player. He's
so the other one isn't.
Semantics.
It's not even about that, man. You have to understand, these people on your team, most of the time, are not going to meet your expectation based on how people play. Because you've been coaching pro players for so long, you have this like established baseline of how people should appropriately play. And that is, well, that's based on the job that you do. But when you queue up ranked, most of the time people just suck ass. They don't know what they're supposed to do.
Can I, really quick here, just before we get any deeper, I hope you guys know that I hope that this I need to learn. I'm sure I'm going to learn something from this. I'm glad that we're actually dude, coaches just don't talk to each other, man. Like this since 2017, 2018, coaches just didn't talk to each other. They kept to themselves. They avoid making enemies. They avoid making friends. It's kind of nice to actually have some sort of debate and discussion. You know, it's kind of nice. Like as long as it's respectful, which I assume this is relatively, it's kind of nice. It's nice change of pace. You know.
They either mute you.
I would like to. It took me forever to learn how to coach because nobody debated or discussed me. It's kind of nice. It's nice to actually have a little bit of discussion.
That doesn't change the facts here. You know, like the facts in this situation is there's tons of time on tank, especially, you have to accept that you're never going to get a heal, and you're aware you're not going to get a heal, and you have to play to maximize your HP as much as possible. If I jump back into all of their
Yeah, I mean, Chris is a little saucy, but yeah.
It's going to get worse, you know?
But the thing is, you lost 2 players, and you could have perhaps prevented that with a bubble. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying ideally, if there was no minefield and the people were actually here.
So let's say, like, without giving full context, like, let's say that backline really was in spawn, like really truly was inaccessible and in a position to where we were incapable or not needing to mark them. In that instance, yeah, sure, there's literally nothing better to do. You might as well bubble off the mines, because if this backline really is inaccessible and really not able to capitalize forward, then that's correct. I think this would have been nice if we'd kind of like third-personed it, looked back, and seen where that backline was. Because I think Chris's interpretation is that backline was in a position to follow through, and I think that's right. But I think the way Awkward's interpreting is that the backline was literally just gone, like MIA and spawn, basically. And so there's no reason for us to worry about it. We might just well do something in that situation. So it's like they're disagreeing about the situation when we can literally just skip back in the VOD and see what was actually there.
They basically kept these at bay, while your ball is not going to kill your team 1v4, right? Surely. The only time Paul can kill your team 1v4
so like,
is when he has follow.
I guess they're both right, but one of them is going to be very clearly right if we just looked at the context of what actually happened.
They're not going to kill him.
You know?
But now the enemy DPS is the backline. They're not doing anything. Just ball going in a little bit early with minefield. So if you realize, they're not there, and I can't really keep them at bay because they're too far away, stacked up together. You just jump back, help your supports live, stabilize, and after they're already committed all their cooldowns and their ultimates, you can see if you turn this around. Your Echo and Genji die.
If they keep hammering away at this without progress, I'll
skip. There's a higher chance they live if you just peel in that specific fight. But let's just move forward with this so we don't get stuck on this too much.
Okay. I already different start coaching styles, because if I actually never teach tanks to go backwards ever in these situations.
Yeah, and by the way, most of the time I don't as well. That's the only exception to this rule would be when what you're supposed to do is inaccessible, which is most of the time contest DPS and support.
Okay, so you see, he's clarifying this. He's saying inaccessible,
okay.
which he's right. Again, it's just like he's right, but it's like we don't. Like, it's unfortunate.
It's going too early. You can tell him, bro, you need to chill, you need to wait for me to dive, distract, then you go. Yeah, this guy sucks ass. Okay.
Why talk about it? Because it's an important concept. It is an important concept.
He doesn't die. Oh, okay, he killed one. Good for him.
Good staging.
Well, in this fight, he didn't really do much. He bladed, killed him, and
he didn't do much, but he also didn't do much because the enemy team didn't take any side space. So then they were compressed, which means that he takes the angle, nobody's there. He could have kept going. He didn't even have a chance to get they're
well, he still didn't do much. Sure. Because he came back from spawn. It's not like he could have done much.
Yeah, right. We're going.
What's the play here? What are we doing, Chris?
Well, I mean, I'm guessing my ears or something's telling me that someone's behind this.
You can't be that old, man.
You don't get it. You don't understand how frustrated. Like, when you coach people, every single time you coach somebody, they like, you can teach them. They don't know how to play, but I know how to play. And
Overwatch does not have engagement-based matchmaking.
That's what's fucking tilting. Is I know what to do. I can't do it.
Right.
I could have rocked him.
You could have, but I think.
See, this is the problem here. This is way too late of a peel. If we had peeled 5, 6, 7 seconds ago, this would have been fine, and we could have actually potentially had impact here. But like at this point in time, we're not sure about it, and then we actually go back right as the backline is taking space. And so Hadi's already dead. Like, it's too late, right? But now this backline's actually going to walk forward.
You see, like, my support should peel for each other. You're right,
okay,
but they don't.
Yeah, I mean, in this moment, the echo was hard for him, Paddy in voice chat, telling him I won't peel for you. So, I mean, that's how it goes, you know?
Okay, so, like, realistically, when that happens, that's what I'm talking about. Except when they're not healing each other, okay, see what you can do to save Hadi.
See, do you see what's happening now? We've got backline taking space now.
To make sure
you know?
You guys can't walk in while the bow is engaging. And, like, I mean, if Bo can go and kill them 1v4, it's a lost game already. There's not much you can do, right? But it's not going to happen most of the time. You could either go here, do this, some right clicks, hold them at bay, no bubble, no nothing. But
he's Chips' brother.
Here, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, do you see? Do you see? We're peeling right as the backline's taking space on the angle that we were just on. So probably not a winnable fight, but definitely not a winnable fight now.
Well, what was the purpose of what he did here?
I mean, the most important thing in Overwatch is always the objective. So in this situation, it's the same as last. If we're down, I have to, like, if I give flip here, then the game is like, it's so bad. Like, I just basically just try to maintain.
No, Chris. This fight, the only way we're gonna win this game is if some miracle we can get Cotty back in time and just buy. So we need to give flip. We need to get it to 97, 98, 99. Touch. Last possible second with bubble. Hope our echo stalls. This is where, like, giving the flip is bad. Giving the flip is bad when the fight is either in a neutral or an advantage state. This is terrible. the only way we win this is if we buy as much time as possible, right? We need to stage, we need to let them dump all the resources in point, maybe catch somebody on bridge to our left or stage just off of point and see if we can get the ball to overextend.
And hope somebody else makes a play. And if I farm primal, then it's okay.
And how often do you think that will work? Hope for somebody else will make a play.
Well, I mean, what can I do, bro?
Well, first off, not take 5 million damage trying to.
You see, he's getting flanked.
Also,
There's
you're
somebody
right,
right there.
You have some time to work with, especially when you're.
Yes, he does.
Here. So you have two things. Number one, you could have tried to go for the Ilari first. You could have forced her out. You have
Agreed.
time. Force
He
her
was right
out,
there.
Let her go back. She's not gonna die, and then you try to figure out walk to point. By this time, there's gonna be chaos in the point, which then you can capitalize on. But you jumping straight to point in front of everybody, forcing a bubble with half HP.
The problem is Chris is prioritizing the objective when he needs to prioritize in winning the fight at this point in time. Because when you're at a disadvantage, prioritizing the objective is not going to change anything. You're just going to lose, right? The only thing you could do at this point in time is hopefully that they make a mistake and try to clutch it
It's
up.
gonna be very difficult to fight, win the fight from this point on.
Because we're getting pincered. We're losing the lane. It's a disaster. Yeah, because this fight was actually so winnable.
Will it be fair to say that a bubble would have really helped her if it didn't use the bubble beforehand by jumping in front of everybody? And you could have perhaps,
even with or without the bubble, just use the bubble effectively. We just didn't use the bubble effectively, right?
Held this corner, jump this corner, work around here, something a little bit safer you can get here.
Yeah, I think Awkward's right here.
Straight ahead in front of everybody.
Yeah, maybe, but
Listen, Chris, I get it. I know that, correct me if I'm wrong. I know that sometimes looking at yourself play and also like knowing how you feel when you play the game, there's some sort for you there's a disconnect because you do know how to play the game, and I think because not many people
that's relatable for sure.
A long time. Chris used to be one of the best things in Europe. Okay, he's a really good player. He's been a good player. He knows what he's doing, right? That being said, if you don't play for 7 years, and especially when you don't involve yourself in rank, because there's a very big difference between rank and pro play. Fundamentally, you don't play different, but pro play is like what would a super high level ranked game if everybody tried their best and communicated and actually did the right thing. But especially here in Masters, not gonna happen.
Why is it so laggy? Is it me? Is it laggy? I think it's just.
If you have your bubble earlier, you can farm primal. And
yeah, I mean that's true. If I even had given the flip just to farm primal, it's better in this situation.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. You would have a case it was overtime. It was overtime. I get it.
Yeah.
So what happened here? What happened?
No, this is insane. Screen share is really laggy for me now, by the way. I don't know.
Okay, that was Chris.
On my end or your end.
He had to at least wait until you jump, flying in the air.
Yeah, but it's like half a second, and we had to touch. This is like,
Yes, it's not Hadi coaching, but you can say that this nano was good, and you can say that Hadi.
Fine, but you should always nano me here, and you should always nano me.
You're right. The nano is just the timing. It just needs picking.
Have to touch.
I don't care about
This is alright. I don't hate it. What do you
fine.
think about this?
The bubble?
Yeah.
Okay, if you flame the bubble, when the bubble is, I have to. Okay.
Do you?
Yes, without a fucking doubt. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If you flame the bubble, when the bubble is, I have.
Okay.
Could be my
What do we got here?
Could be. Tell me when if it goes back to normal.
Okay, it's fine now.
This is alright. I don't hate it. What do you think about this?
We could have tucked. We didn't need a bubble. So basically, here's the criticism for me for the bubble, really quick.
Okay, it's fine now.
I don't want to get into it in chat, guys, because I think this is an important conversation. I'm just gonna say it really fast. Awkward has said a lot of things that I really don't agree with. He's platformed some stuff like the Fresh and Fit podcast, who I just think are objectively horrible human beings. That alone is enough. I would like to think that he's probably changed his mind on those things, but I have no idea what that is. So we're gonna focus on the gameplay here, but I really don't endorse a lot of Awkward's personal opinions, and I think most people would agree with that. But also at the same time, I don't really think Twitch chat is like a great place to air it out. Let's focus on the Overwatch gameplay, and then you can definitely draw your own opinions on that. So, yeah,
It's fine now.
we're focusing on the Chris versus Awkward, and that's really all there is to it. So.
This is alright. I don't hate it.
So the criticism here is that the jump forced the resources immediately.
Okay, it's fine now.
So the jump forces the resources, immediately, right? So we gain no additional value out of pushing beyond the choke here, unless we're going to use that to break pylon. So we can simply tuck the corner here, and then if they push us, we can pylon. This bubble does not allow us to hold the space any better than it does normally, because nobody here is to follow up on anything else at the same time. We're bubbling on a corner, and we're not doing anything with this bubble. This is not a good bubble. We just simply need to tuck on the corner or use the bubble to actually break pylon, which is probably not a great cooldown trade. But just like you force them to disengage immediately, just use the wall. And then you can either disengage and reset up again, or you can sit on this corner with the bubble.
What do you think about this?
The bubble?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. If you flame the bubble, the bubble is. I have to. Okay.
Do you?
Yes,
I wouldn't use the bubble. I would sit on the corner and not use the bubble. You force the Soj out, just duck behind the corner, take 0 damage, get healing, and then decide if you want to play from there.
Fucking doubt. Okay, without a doubt. Okay. I have to maintain HP in these situations. There is like if I.
But see, yeah, I'm not
I
allowed
don't
to
use bubble and I get low. I used to think the same way as you because in Overwatch 1 it was the opposite. You needed to save, but in this situation, I'm not going to get punished from the bubble timing. I need to not give them an opportunity to get me low.
He
and
will.
Push in on it.
He will.
Well, how would you know that you're not gonna get punished for bubble? Like here, for example, they have a lot of time. They have 80%. There's still a lot of time to work with. You now probably jump
Again,
back
I'm
and
not criticizing Chris as a coach. I'm criticizing Chris as a player and your ability to self-VOD, which is not easy, and it's hard to be objective for yourself. I can speak from experience.
you have no bubble, unless perhaps says the Soj has overclock, which he does, and also Bull has minefield, and you have to jump back and maybe protect somebody or teammate from the bubble, and you don't have it.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Like,
that if I'm 200 or 300 HP right now, it's worse than not having bubble.
Well, the solution could be a simple, just don't engage there. Could be. You could just spam right clicks.
I don't know. I swear, like look, this timing is absolutely fine. Like I applied pressure, took no damage, got back in. Now
Yeah, that
I'm
jump was fine. That jump
See
was
what I
fine.
mean, Chris? Look.
I already used another bubble. This is like 7 seconds into my next bubble. No.
Yeah, but again, it's the same fundamental mistake. First of all, why engage here? First of all, why engage here? That's the first thing. Can you get a kill? The answer is no. Can you die? No, because you have primal. Can somebody follow up here? No, because if you just look back, you would see this. You would just see this. You realize if I jump,
I don't agree here. Okay, let me explain why I don't agree here.
Can you die? No, because you have primal.
Because as soon as awkward, can you guys tell me why I disagree here? Do you see? This is pressure right now from the ball. Now you could argue, well, it's not a hard engage, so there's no real follow. It doesn't really matter. This is an opportunity for our team to be able to effectively trade with the ball. There is stuff happening right now on our screen, and so this jump is probably fine. I mean, if you wanted to nitpick, you'd be like, I want this backline to walk a little bit further forward before I go. Sure, but I think fundamentally this is okay compared to the last bubble, which had no intent whatsoever. We could just use the wall. This one is not good. But this one, or that one, this one's fine. There's a trade happening. And so if you actually look here, what we see is balls losing HP, and we're denying the enemy team to push forward off of that ball engage, in theory. And then if you notice how the enemy team responds to this, we'll see it in a second. They compress. They run away from Hottie, Chris. They don't take the lane. They all clump here, which then means that off of the lane that we've earned, we can then primal and win the game. You know? So, yeah.
What he could have done is actually pretty straightforward. Instead of engaging, just keep picking the right click. He's gonna slide, he's gonna social, jump on his ass and bubble. You completely net all of the value that he has. Look, what did this like?
I think it's fine jump, to be honest with you guys. I mean, you can even break pylon here as well.
I mean, so just slid to point.
The ball is doing things
right
right
now. And I have
now.
primal. Like this is all good.
No.
Like in Chris is right. There is point pressure right now, so my team is actively engaged. You could still say this is a little early, but I think it's mostly nitpicky. He saw an opportunity. He sees pylon. He has primal. There's pressure happening here. There's pressure happening on point. It's fine.
I actually think fucking Jumpman is jumping here. And this one's good.
Yeah.
No, it's Chris. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Like he overclocks, and you probably like. Let's see what happens.
Should be a kill.
Oh, minefield, cloak overclock, boom. Bubble here were pretty helpful. By the way, if you bubble here, you don't even need to primal. They're fucked. They're dead.
Well, the problem is that if we had bubble there, we never would have gotten that angle for the jump without using bubble in the first place, right? So we would have had to jump through minefield directly instead of taking this. The reason that we got this angle in the first place was because of the bubble. So I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
This one's good.
No, it's Chris. It's not from your aura, of course. Bubble here, you don't even need to primal. They're fucked. They're dead. Flipped on a banana, this guy, from your aura, of course.
You see, like, our ability to do this is enabled by where we were.
By the way, good mechanics in the primal. I don't know why you say this shit. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you're
Bro, Chris, just let them have point, man.
Champion 1? No, but hey.
A lot of fights are tossed because Chris is a little too urgent between his cycles.
But let me ask you a question.
He's being more patient.
Okay.
What is the contribution of Ilari in here, when she's standing here? Can she really do anything to your team or yourself or anything?
Okay, so you're telling me to ignore Lowry and not get the kill here?
Well, yeah. You might have had a better time. Well, Neko, no. Maybe you can save Hadi. I mean, it's not a bad kill, but she doesn't do anything, and she's not going to do anything from there anyways. You could get the kill, but what I'm saying is that this is a tunnel. This is you tunnel visioning.
Well, the fight doesn't end in 2 seconds. Like this, if we don't kill Idari, she's going to come back and provide value in 3 seconds. We're already here. Finish the kill, then go from here. If this was an Idari and there's like a Widow's End, maybe this seems a little odd to me.
It's like, okay, there's an Ilari there. Is she doing anything? No, fuck her. I'm not going to waste 5 seconds of my time to kill somebody.
We're already here, and she is going to contribute.
Why do you give a fuck about her? She's not doing anything. If she was in the middle of the point, you would have, yeah, sure. But look, she's not doing anything, man. You can let her be here, and there's nothing she can do.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things that she can do.
Here.
The problem is here.
You saw Winston with 5 seconds left on Prime with a half HP Ilari in a room, and you're telling him to jump back and follow a ball?
No, I didn't say necessarily a ball. You didn't know who was behind you. That's
exactly, but I know who's in front of me. It's a half HP Ilari.
Right.
That's true.
But you can also say these things about, oh, there are people here. I should just jump them because they're in front of me. That's not a good argument as to why you should do that. Just because they're like a sojourn here and your team is over there, why would you jump on a sojourn? Just because somebody's isolated does not mean you necessarily have to jump them. Because you have to also ask yourself, can they really contribute to the fight if the team fight just started? Like, if there's a Cassidy here, I'll just give you a very easy example. Let's say that this is what you see on the screen. Your team is like around the point, middle of the point, there's a Cassidy here. And you see that you're standing here, there's a Cassidy here. Do you jump them, yes or no?
Say it again, sorry.
Let's say the enemy has a Cassidy right over here. Your team is playing around this point, which means the Cassidy, absolutely, there's no chance in hell in the next 5 seconds is going to even land a shot on your teammate. And you, as a monkey player, would pick here and see the Cassidy. Would you jump him?
Okay, do I get the kill if I jump him?
Let's just say yes for the sake of the argument. Yes.
Then for sure.
Well, yeah, though the simple answer is no. You want to know why? Because for you to get the kill, number one, you have to use bubble. Number two, you drop a lot of HP. And to get a kill that would... So he is as good as dead by standing here and doing nothing.
Yeah, but in 2 seconds, he's as good as killing my backline.
No, but that's not 2 seconds. It's a long rotation. You would have a cage.
How long is respawn queue?
Okay. It's not about that.
I think we move on. Chris is getting a little agitated, and I do agree that it's a strange thing to say when I think the opportunity cost is pretty meaningless there when you're already there. She's clearly in a position to where she can contribute the fight within seconds. I don't know. Seems like an odd hill to die, and we'll move on. I don't want to. This is definitely going to feel like a rock discussion. Awkward seems really obsessed with like the opportunity cost. Like if somebody's not doing anything, they don't really deserve your attention. And I can agree fundamentally, but I think there's a disagreement about like when people can do something and like when they can actually contribute and also just convenience, right? Like if that's where your staging is, like if you're holding the choke here, then you contribute here, or if you're angling here, then you contribute here. Just kind of how the game flows, but we'll move on. Does Chris use his rock? Yeah. I think it's more important for me there that like I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the fight, but in terms of like a principle that we've seen with Chris a couple times now, where he is very obsessed with point, right? Like he kills the EDR and just immediately runs to point, and it's like, hey man, grab the mini, or grab another mini even. Like wait a second for bubble, let's listen, let's look, let's restage, because you can't really do it. All he does is he jumps the point, walks into a mine. No bubble, dies. It's like again, the only situation there, like you're definitely struggling, is to either not be a drain for your supports, or to stage another dive, right, and to get another dive set up. And so there's like an urgency around objective at the expense of his bubble cycles, around the staging and so on. And Awkward was definitely right, nailing him on that at that one point in time. But okay.
By the way, this would be super good. Recognize low HP. Now it's unfortunately got booped, but it was a good play.
I would prefer, especially if you're in communication with your support here. I'm not gonna lie here. I don't love approaching point this way. I don't hate it, but I wouldn't mind us approaching or staging from either of these lanes here. And just you could see if you got help. If you don't have help, you could just play really conservative on the bubble stand. Like I don't love this because it's basically okay. They boot me, they break my bubble, I have to leave. There's no real, it's pretty direct, so.
By the way, this would be super good.
And also bubble sooner.
Now it's time to go.
Right, it's just more of a micro thing. Lucio, EDR, you just have to bubble sooner.
Why are you going to bubble? Press.
Wait, okay. The stream's lagging a little bit, but I think...
Let's start it again.
Yeah, no, because I see the jump. Okay, I'm interested.
Because
I actually think you have the mindset I used to have before I started to play Winston loads, and I realized that the game is different than it used to be.
Do you think
the bubble needs to come out sooner, especially if your staging is bad? You guys ever see that Capitology video? He's like flaming so and so on Winston. I forget who it was, on Dorado, where he's like, "Yo, if you're gonna stage poorly, you just have the bubble sooner, so you deny the CC, so you get more out of the bubble." or stage better, right? I mean, this is literally exactly it right here. If you go left, you probably don't have to worry about boob as much. If you go main, you're going to have to worry about boob, so you got to bubble sooner, right? So this is like that exactly. I don't like Chris's staging, and if Chris is going to go here, you just got to bubble sooner so that he's able to, you have to bubble sooner so you're on a leash, yes, but that leash is disproportionate to the amount of distance you'll be booped by EDR. Jonathan, yeah. So this bubble need to come in sooner. Or stage.
That my like the way I do the coaching is old school.
No, maybe the way you understand Winston is old school. I don't think the way you do coaching is old school. That's what I think. Say what you're going to say, because I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm predicting what you're going to say.
Let's just say the jump was good. I don't necessarily think the bubble was good too early. You barely lost any HP. You lost like 30 HP. It's not the right time to bubble yet.
Okay, so bubbling is more predictive than, let's say, a Zarya bubble. Because with Winston, it's very much about preserving your health and preserving your ability to do damage. So I think Awkward is probably going to say something along the lines of, I know I said I promised I wouldn't do this, but you had more HP to give. The problem with that is that these targets can do a lot of damage very quickly. And so if you greed your bubble, you will drop to 400 HP, 450, 300 HP. It is really important with Winston to preserve that armor. And yes, to greed your bubble a little bit here. However, being greedy with your bubble to move from here to here on the point, which is literally probably the amount of time that you'd have versus a composition like this, right? Would not significantly increase the amount of space that you would control. You understand? So being greedier with bubble so that you can go deeper is a good idea and is definitely an important principle for Winston. But if you greed too much, especially without reading the composition correctly or denying CC, then what ends up happening is you get like a meter more distance, right? Which in this situation is meaningless because you're not gonna be able to reach the EDR anyway. Maybe if you were going here, but you lose a lot more HP. And so the challenge is finding that balance between bubbling as late as you can so that you can really reach people, but you really can't lose too much health because two reasons. Number one, preserving your armor, which means that you are able to post bubble, next jump, maybe go in without bubble, which is rare, but something that you can do, but it's only possible if you preserve your HP. But actually more important than that, and nobody talks about this, is you stop your supports from having to babysit you off of your bubble cycle. When you are bubbling as Winston, you either need to be doing a ridiculous amount of damage or taking zero. One or the other. And what that does is that allows your supports to heal other targets, to do more damage, whatever else, right? The problem that a lot of Winstons do is they greed the bubble a little too long. They don't really get anything out of that extra half a second of greed. And then because they get that half second of greed, they take a monstrous amount of damage. So in this particular situation, I do think Chris should have bubbled sooner so that he could have been in a better position where he wasn't knocked back so far. There's your extra meter if you need it. He should have staged better, running it down main. When he had a completely open lane to left side, would have been better. Probably wouldn't have needed to use jump there at all. And then if Awkward's saying we need to greed our bubble, I don't completely disagree with that, but I do think that's a very, very, very dangerous line that you have to be careful with. Like, you just can't greed it too far. I think there are certain comps, certain heroes where you could be a lot more deliberate. Tracer, Kiri, Lucio, not a lot of burst damage. They're just not, Genji, Winston mirrors. You can really greed that extra couple of meters with bubble because they just don't really have the burst damage to punish you. But there are a lot of heroes here on our screen that are going to chunk your health, and that's just not worth it for the extra half a meter. The horse? What happened? What? These are the 50 cents.
And then you...
It's so laggy. It's so laggy. Like, even Discord, you're cutting out. Like, I hate...
All right. So,
I disagree really
so where
strongly.
we disagree? Okay, so you disagree. So how does this fight play out with you being full HP and OW?
Yeah, okay, so let me explain. All right. So right now, I'm guessing what's happening somewhere behind me is that my team...
By the way, does that make sense? Like, I guess this is a coaching critique partly, but I'm getting into the teaching side of things. I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to pause as much, but I'm trying to teach a little bit, I guess.
in some sort of trouble. There's
But
two
playing
things to
Sigma
remember
goes to
too.
rock?
Winston can right click right now, so I can still do damage and finish kills without getting
I need to
close.
get
So in
back
this
in here.
moment, like if I'm just in the middle of the point, right clicking everything, I'm still applying pressure. If I get to
Sure,
like
I guess.
maintain all of my HP, I don't require any healing from the team. They can focus on their dive tanks, which is what's happening probably behind it. The ball is like, look at my supports, both of them are HP. If I'm half HP in this game since fucking season 9, I am as good as dead. Like I'm the most useless hero in the game if I don't have my armor cap. So
You're missing, Chris. You're missing pretty much. I didn't say half HP. I said lose a little bit. You have armor. Just lose a little bit of HP and then use bubble. If you
I mean, Awkward is right, especially with heal bubble. The problem is more along the lines of whether that's reasonable to do versus these characters that we're jumping right now, right? It becomes a lot more punishing to get that wrong. So it's like it's the classic of like, yeah, Awkward's right on paper, but in this particular instance, I don't think so. But I also do agree that he probably should have bubbled sooner to deny the boop, or maybe just staged better. You know, like these are the things you have to kind of fixate on. This is the problem with this discussion. Is like it's an interesting discussion, but it's also fundamentally like, yeah, I don't
if
know.
you wait a half a second, you will realize I don't actually need the bubble because I'm not even taking damage. The bubble didn't prevent from you taking damage. Look, they don't even shoot you when you.
yeah, because they don't shoot me because there's a big fucking bubble in my face, you know?
No, but even beforehand, look how much HP you lost.
And the problem is the reason why is because he got booped, so he's not a threat. So they force his bubble without him actually doing damage, which really comes down to that boop. He just got outplayed.
First, did you see how much HP you lost? Look, you jump. Look at the HP bar. Look.
No, I mean I get it, but the point is like everybody in the
Yeah,
lobby
I think I'm telling you in that lane, I think Ash annihilates him. I really do think Ash
me right now if I don't bubble instantly, and then my armor gets cracked.
Pick the
and
bubble
then
toss
I'm
perk.
playing
True.
really-
Wait. Actually, you solved it. This is a heavy boop comp with EDRE, Lucio, Ash, Coach Gunn. And Chris is always talking about how trash the bubble toss perk is. You know what? You're right. I said that perk was situationally useful. This is definitely in the situation where Chris throws that bubble an extra 2 meters towards that Ash. I don't know, man. We might be onto something here.
From here, I'm going to maintain full HP. I'm going to jump out. My next timing is going to be pure, you know? Like, it's there's no
that's
way
great.
that their team
I
doesn't...
love that.
The team could have
This
poked
is not
me.
a soft dive, but this is not a soft dive. You're already fighting. People are fighting, man. It's not a time to chill. You can't just decide, let me disengage, because you're already losing the fight. Like at this point in time, your Echo is fighting, your Echo is about to die, Ball is slamming your ass.
Yeah, but he didn't
It's
know
not a time
that,
to
right?
win.
Like
When is?
he doesn't know that, right?
So you want me to save bubble and then jump again with bubble?
It's probably tech effective.
Well, first of all,
Yeah,
I would want you
situationally.
to assess if I actually need a bubble or not. And in that specific scenario, you wouldn't be, and you could just literally.
I did
without
need
doing
bubble
anything,
here.
just walk outside. Yeah, Chris, you lost 25 HP.
How does you never take it though?
Behind you.
Well, I don't know about
I
that.
take damage so fast in this game. It's not. It's a tough game these days. Okay.
If you did take the damage, I would say, Chris, this was a good bubble, but he didn't. That's the point. Basically, what I'm saying, you can extend
Yeah,
the
you
bubble
missed out on
just
extra
a little
chrono
bit.
damage.
Because right now, if you don't bubble,
And it can be a little
great
clunky to
line of
handle.
sight. People are fighting. You can literally just walk outside here, place a bubble, and maybe you have a chance with the Genji. If you just walk here, place a bubble, you and Genji, these two are possibly done for, likely. And then this guy's left isolated and you kill him.
No,
or
'cause-
alternatively, what he could have done is just walk in his
See-
face and
see-
then place a bubble on him so he cut off the healing. So he could have
I
done.
love the Ash bug with the
I
But he
love
sits right now in the middle of the point where people are fighting. You're not.
Really, basically, what we're seeing here is Chris doesn't stage well. Chris bubbles late or early-ish, so he's not really in a position to do actual significant pressure. And I do think that's a fair criticism. Like, objectively here, this is not the most valuable bubble. This is a misplay bubble from either I should have bubbled earlier and dodged the boop, pad thing for the, oh, congrats on the year. Or I should have staged better, or I should have taken bubble toss. You know, anything to gap close safer, more surreptitiously so that I can get more damage with this bubble. Basically, the outcome of this is not a very effective engage. But the debate is about Awkward says he should have greeted it. I'm saying he could have greeted it maybe, but it's risky. He could have bubbled earlier so he gets less boop, or he should have just staged better. You know, he should have just staged in a better angle, more difficult angle to boop.
Not fighting. People are fighting around you, Chris. Everybody's fucking dying. People are fighting.
So I'm gonna let this go for a minute or
You
two
take
more,
South
but this is
London,
another situation where like this we shouldn't have been in this position.
Your
in the
mates are
first
getting
place.
jumped. Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna still?
Staging is basically setting up on an angle. Walking, fighting, setting up your engage, setting up your cycle on Doomfist, tank, DPS, support, anything. So walking left so that our jump or our bubble cycle is better because it's harder for them to deal with, more inconvenient for us to deal with. Because even if they know that we're there, they have to turn their attention away from a group on main and towards the side. Marking is during that walk, during your setup, somebody stops you. And so you're fighting each other, fighting for that space.
The side, or are you gonna jump in?
Yeah, but this is the problem with what you're saying right now is that you're looking at their movement after something happens and saying this is what they would have done normally. But I'm telling you, like from their Ash's POV, there's no way that Ash doesn't shoot me until I bubble. Like, there's no world in which I'm not bubbling here, I think.
The thing is, Chris, of course, like this is a VOD review, and like I'm looking based on what's happening, but this is a pattern. Like most of the bubbles that we have seen in the VOD were not great. Like they're just not great. Some of them you can make the argument, okay, this was maybe okay, but the thing is, do you want to win here consistently?
Well, I understand the criticism of like awkward min-maxing, but there is truth to, if the assessment is accurate, finding little patterns, little habits. Like let's say Chris does bubble too early, too often. I mean, is that a fight losing mistake? Maybe. I mean, if it happens every fight or almost every fight, yes, that's absolutely a detail that should be fixated on, right? Randomly inting does, like, yeah, you should, but like, you got to think about things. If it happens every fight, you're operating at a disadvantage every fight. I'm just not necessarily 100% sold that this is the correct read, but yeah.
It can't be okay. It has to be good most of the time. Good most of the time. And I'm telling you, alternatively, and the thing is, there's no chance the Ash shoots me here. And I'm telling you, she didn't. Because you give these people too much credit, Chris. You give them too much credit.
I disagree. I think the Ash absolutely clip dumps into this Winston. I think it's definitely the case. Where awkward might be right is that we could have greeted a little bit more. We could have greeted a little bit more. If we fail the boop, maybe we could have greeted a little bit further, especially with heal bubble, drop to 500, bubble, whatever.
And react. Don't think, if I jump here, I'm going to explode. These guys don't make the right decisions most of the time. They don't take the right angles most of the time. They don't necessarily shoot you. They're busy with something. They're distracted with something. She has no healing. Who's going to heal her? Lucio?
Okay, I'm going to move on to a different fight here because I think we've milked that thing dry. You know what I'm saying?
Player time out. Your timing made, that's where you try to dash in. That's where you triple blink trace. You want to try to kill. That's what
I mean, for sure. I mean, you see it right here, right? This is dynamite. Bam, 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 bam. Like that he's got to melt. I mean, you could see it.
Echo is engaging too early in feeding. Right, that means that people are looking at her. You can say that she's making a bad...
Would jumping to the right instead of mid help? I mean, coming from main to right probably would have been better. Yeah, probably would have been a little bit more devious. Probably, yeah.
But he cannot correct that bad play because you're not her.
It doesn't matter if she's aiming at the Genji. The dynamite's going to hit Winston.
Is it the right time to make...
He knows where the Ash is looking.
He can go in, which is exactly what is happening right now, Chris. That's what I'm telling you, bro. That's what I'm telling you, man. Echo is flying right now. Everybody's looking. Echo's fighting.
Okay, I don't care. We're gonna move on. This is
mindset. I have because it discovers he don't draw their deep again. Not fuck his point, but
okay. What do we got?
I agree.
Kill these guys.
Right? Yeah.
Do you think if all the drama didn't happen, the quality of Walkers would have been better? I mean, I don't know. I mean, everyone's a little defensive here. Yeah, sure. I mean, but it's easy for me to say because I'm not in the middle of the drama. I'm just kind of spectating, providing my 2 cents here and there. So it's easy for me to be like, yeah, everyone's too emotional. I'm not the one that's under fire here. So yeah, easy for me to say.
This one was a little bit better about because you jumped in with like 400 HP. You didn't want to lose more HP because you could actually die here. But the question is like, why are you jumping here, Chris?
But see, I feel like in this one, like I don't know. Again, it lagged. I'd need to see it again. But I feel like this is an example somewhere of like, if I could have done this exact
the most
same
reasonable in
thing
the podcast because I was the one. Well, I was also the one that was the least targeted in the podcast.
Like, that's what I feel because it's like it's my mechanics in terms of taking the damage before I go, which is really bad. And I fully appreciate what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but I think it's also like maybe just because I'm old, but the idea that I need to wait damage and then press E, like damage happens so fast,
Yeah. So like for example, Chris here is prioritizing cleave before he gets bubble, which is like fine. But if he waits like 2 seconds here, just tucks to his left, and then does this exact same jump with bubble with full HP, he kills like 2 people here. I promise you. The problem is that because he's off his bubble timing, he's going to have to disengage and then not be able to do as much with his bubble here. You see, this is just, he needs to be more patient. I know he's down one, but it's about to come to a huge spike in value if he could just be a little bit patient here.
In a very high level when you don't know how to stage and set up.
Like, look at his health, right?
You don't know how to set up and stage, and you just jump in front of 5 people, yes, you would lose your HP in a second. But if you jump in when enemies are busy, you will notice that most of the time you're actually not...
Like, the problem here is he's not aggressive enough because he doesn't have the health for it anymore.
Losing that much HP. And if you jump to the correct position instead of middle of the point, you would see that you're not losing a lot of HP. You said if I jump here, it would be the correct play. I just want you to look at this.
I mean, look at this, right? They get a trade, and if he has 100 more HP there, he lives, right? And maybe they win this out. So,
look where ringing the bell. Look at your jump. What does this do?
This is where I really disagree with awkward. I don't know where he's getting this is what's happening because we're doing this. Because we're holding space here and not allowing them to peek and kill this guy or cap point, this is fine.
I can tell you what this does. They let your support stabilize the ball, right?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
To be honest, Even if you just let them be here in the middle of the point, they could not fall off on the ball.
Yes, they could. Yes, they could.
There's no
They could.
damage fall off.
I disagree. I disagree. I think then you give a point where they are able to set up their angles on point, establish pylon. Lucy is able to take the position he's want. Echo is able to fly over the roof, able to get point pressure, chip down the Genji, force deflect, fill in the blank. I understand what Awkward's going with here, and maybe he's right. Maybe. But this really feels like splitting hairs. When your team is engaging and you are staged as Winston to do damage to a target, you just do it. Like it just isn't. You don't need to overcomplicate it here. You just don't. You just don't.
I don't know what the fuck this guy's doing. None of them are doing anything. That's what I'm telling you. You give too much.
But they will do something if you don't bubble or if you leave. They will. I promise you.
None of these people are actually doing anything right now. Nothing. Now you're saying because I prevent them from doing so. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that even if you were not here, they won't do anything.
I just fundamentally disagree.
Yes and no. Like I agree with 90% of what you're saying in this example. Like this jump in this bubble is fine. What I should have done is like I still shouldn't turn around. By the way, I should not turn around. I should instead of jumping, I should have just bubbled myself on again as much HP as I could.
Thank you.
Try to delay them touching point and then just.
The thing that frustrates me here is that like the obvious solution here is that this trade was fine, but Chris was literally almost half HP before he did it because he was trying to cleave targets without bubble, right? So that then he bubbles at half HP and shockingly, it doesn't quite work. Just don't do. See, I agree with Awkward about not doing anything, but it needs to be when we don't have bubble. We just need to chill, right? Duck, hide, cover, sure. Give up space even if you have to. Jump out if you have to. But like now we have the angle, we have the bubble. It's crazy. Like we just needed to preserve literally 100 more HP here. And we could have done both more damage and taken less damage, and that's it.
On full HP and again hope that we can stabilize.
Right. It feels a little bit results based. It feels a little bit hindsighty here, where it's like instead the principle here is preserve your HP between bubble cycles, stage on angles, or bubble earlier into CC. That's it. Like you just need to replicate that. I don't think you need to try to read whether these guys can contribute significantly or not necessarily, because that's a very difficult read to make, right? I think this is just.
It's my job to block. Yeah, it's my job to block backline. But in this moment, this is one where I need to play.
Do I agree with rank inflation this season? I mean, yeah, obviously, for sure. How much it's inflated is probably very proportional. I'd have to ask Gavin. We do have a rank reset, I believe, coming up next season, but I think it's objectively inflated, but I just don't know by how much and if all ranks are affected the same. So, I don't know.
It's insane because they actually outplayed the ball in the back and that died, but this jump is terrible. Like this is an example where I really need to play low resource.
Can I ask?
Low resource before the jump, because this is where we can actually do things now, right? It's low resource when you're not doing anything. Chris is continually demanding resources when he's useless. That's the problem.
Something you said. My job is to, I don't want to change the word. Distract backline.
Block the backline.
Block the backline. Okay. So why do you want to do that? I agree with you, but why do you want to do that?
Because it's the single most important.
Yeah, well, it's like the last.
Connect that front line.
It's the last two seasons, I believe. Like season 18 or season 19 is where they were. But it was not a bad thing because. Holy crap, you guys are sidelining me. Because GM and Masters was like way too hard to get. It was way harder than it ever was in Overwatch 1, just percentage breakdown. And so they relaxed it a little bit to be more competitive with Overwatch 1 on paper. So
in their backline, I do infinite damage to their tank. If I let their supports heal their tank, they don't die. Especially on Winston.
So I would agree with you, but would it be fair to say that if the enemy are not within realm of helping their tank, would it be fair to say that you don't need to block them yet?
Yes,
if
that's correct.
Cannot heal or damage, cannot follow up, would it be fair to say that
yes.
you shouldn't do that yet?
Yes.
But
yes.
But okay, so tell me what you think I should have done here then.
The disagreement is whether these people can actually contribute value or not, and I think that they would absolutely 100% would.
Well. What you said was not a bad thing. You could have actually stood here and bubbled, but
yeah.
I didn't want you to actually place the bubble. That's the thing. What I want you to see you do is actually be a little bit less liberal with your bubbles and use them with more intention, you know? And the intention would be exactly what you said. I want to block the backline. But you want to block the backline exactly when it's the appropriate time to do so. When the ball slams, it's the time to block the backline. But sometimes the backline, because there's no pro player and people here actually suck.
Maybe Awkward's argument here is that like they should have actually peek him first, in which case I would agree. If you guys remember the bubble that I was really critical of with Chris was on that spawn, where Chris jumps to Sojourn, she slides out behind a wall, nothing's happening. nowhere, right? And Chris walks around the corner for no reason on a fully pocketed target. That bubble sucked. Like that, we didn't do anything with that bubble. There's no follow-up. There's no damage to anywhere else at any other point in time. You could argue here, this is a situation with or without HP preservation. We should have let them peek us a little bit more. Maybe we shouldn't have used jump, like Chris said,
and they
for
don't know
sure.
what the timing to go in and out is. Most of the time, you're actually going to see that you don't need to block half the time because the DPS and supports cannot help the tank. So what you can do is number one, peel, which you wouldn't do most of the time.
Okay.
Like 90% of the time, you wouldn't peel. Or you're like, okay, let me just chill here for a second and see, because they're distracted. And when their bowl or tank loses a bunch of HP, the supports are going to be desperate to help him, and they're going to make a mistake, and then you can just jump and capitalize on the mistake. What I'm saying is you want to use your bubble to capitalize on enemy mistakes. When they make a positional mistake, when they use cooldowns inappropriately, when they're low HP, etc., etc. Right now, use your bubble. It's as if you are counting on your team to do something with it. And what I'm telling you, you want to use your bubble for you to do something with it, because you can't count on any of these people to make the right decision. If you were a pro player, you will be correct. You can make plays to set up your team to do the right thing because you're confident they can. But you can't with these people. This is ranked solo queue. Nobody's speaking. Half these people
I mean,
don't
I've
know
been
what they're
sick for
doing.
like a month,
Half these people
off
are
and
talking
on.
to their e-girls on the mic on Discord and giggling.
Okay.
You've been coaching pro so long that I said this before, that there's a disconnect between how are you used to seeing the game, which is super high level, to how these people play. And I'm telling you, this doesn't even get that much better. Just like level up. Yeah, Chris, I've destroyed it.
Okay, what the 10?
Are we doing live coaching here?
Stream, jump between covers, Drew, or your team shot them. Okay.
Oh, Christopher.
It is.
Holy. GK playing against
Coaching, you know.
yeah, I mean you prefer
Same math.
Sometimes we gotta
make tough moves.
See, this is where Chris, in theory, may make a mistake historically, where this Sigma has taken no space. And instead of letting the enemy team take space and then punishing it with a bubble or controlling them, blocking them like Chris says. Chris does sometimes, and this is a very common mistake. I mean, Chris is better at Winston than I am. He will walk in and try to find value when his teammates are not doing anything. So let's see. Like right now, don't need to pick that. We don't need to pick that. Let the Sigma walk into us. And you see we're already in the back foot. We've already lost the tank trade for no reason. For really no reason whatsoever. And so now we've bubbled. We should have been accretion there, but we're quote unquote losing the tank trade when Chris simply holding this corner, let the Sigma walk forward because he has to, right? He has to. We're controlling more space than he is. He walks in, we bubble this full HP, and not only do we block the accretion, not only do we not need to jump, we do more damage to Sigma than he does to us. We win the 1v1 versus the tank, right? And then this means that, shields whittle down, our team can walk forward. So the problem is, once again, Chris shoves his face into areas before the enemy team actually takes any initiation or does anything at all. And I think this is kind of what Awkward was talking about a little bit. And so then now Chris has to give up space. Chris has to jump out. Chris has to lose all this angle that he's dead to stage with, which I think Chris's staging was good. I think the little angle there, that's really good. You can bubble off, you can take the trade. It's really good. But yeah.
We'll go point.
We preserved our HP really good right now. Our team is trading. If we see an opportunity to jump, we should go. We just got surprised by the Sig. That's okay. Now, it's another situation if we've been a little bit more aware. We could have bubbled this off right here and just traded with the Sigma again. Why? Because he's there. Right? It's fine. It's fine. You don't see the health? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Surely that's appropriate. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Just about to go in?
Yeah, we just got surprised.
All right.
Bummer.
You know what the funny part is that you're just chilling for the most part and things are going well.
Fair one.
I mean, I think our Tracer's doing like the Lord's work right now. I think we've lost every single tank trade that we possibly could have, but we staged from right to main, sure. Bubble's good.
Love that.
Yeah, it's just eventually we've lost so much space that even though we had the opportunity to cap point there, it just doesn't matter. Okay, we've lost.
What's the purpose of the jump here? Just kamikaze?
Just try to catch the wave. Think I was dead anyway. Get the ult, I guess.
Kind of talking to Chris about the stream said.
Jump was okay, but it was super blind jump. He didn't know.
I'm more interested in this selfishly. I don't really want to get involved in the 1v1. I'm more interested in this selfishly. I'm trying to play give by 2 cents and focusing on the strategy and trying to listen and learn myself.
Kind of fucked you over because your team couldn't move forward. See where you can stay.
Yeah, we probably should go full point side, like all the way over. We would get poked out here.
Should probably just always force point campaign seriously.
Yeah, pull them towards you. There's not really good staging around on right. It's very flat.
Why not?
Okay, I'm just...
Ult.
And then we can bubble. We took a little too much
You
damage
can
here.
stage.
Should probably
So,
just
right.
Why not?
Okay, I'm just...
Like right here. Like this is definitely where you just need to bubble a little sooner, right? They're going to come to you. This is kind of like the point where we're taking too much damage. And like we could have avoided literally 350 damage. We bubble a little sooner. And then just full disengage. So yeah, we just take way too much damage before the fight
What I
starts.
wanted to do there is actually go hold corner in the middle of the point.
Something's wrong.
How Winston wins the Sigma 1v1? You just force the Sigma to turn his attention to the side and then use your bubble timing to dance around his damage and accretion and take less damage than you do. I mean, look, when we talk about winning the tank trades, with Winston, there's two ways to win the tank trade. One is you outposition the tank, right? You force the tank to turn around or open up a sight lane or turn his back to your team. Basically, you create a crossfire. So you don't do a lot of damage, but you inconvenience the other tank badly. But the other thing is that a lot of people underestimate how good Winston is in the tank trade, just in the 1v1 when he has bubble. Winston wins the HP trade when he bubble dances well versus Orisa, versus Sigma, versus, I guess you could say Malga, even technically, kind of, sort of. Diva, Zarya, Ryan, not so much. Roadhog, probably not so much either. But you can inconvenience and take favorable HP trades off of good angles with tanks pretty consistently with Winston, but it just has to be around bubble and only bubble.
Basically, so you don't get poked out.
Yeah, Chris is actually Chips' brother, yes.
Doing fine.
He's Chips' older brother.
By the way, take a peek at your tracer hand there.
We need to
She's
go
engaging and
right.
the enemies. She's really distracting the enemies all the time.
We need to go right. And we need to flank here because they're shoving our corner here. This lane is completely free, and we've seen it. So we need to just flank, and then use the staging from there. What we did last fight was also okay, but we need to be jumping for staging. We need to use our mobility to pull these guys away because, as you can see, this is not really much of an angle, right? This is only mildly inconvenient for the Sigma. It's not a direct 90 degree. It's mildly inconvenient. It's way better to get to here, trade here, or force point like we did there. We want sharp angles, massive inconveniences, little bit of poke damage, right? We're being way too slow with our rotations. It's not terrible because it is an angle. It's just not great. It has to be earlier bubble. Or we could be really delayed with our bubble, which he's doing well here. So there's two ways of looking at this.
Can you me?
There is, I'm not going to take a lot of damage. I'm going to bubble right now and guarantee kill on Lusu and whoever's behind me. Or I'm going to take the boop and then just walk onto the back line.
I don't have sleep for that.
And kill everything here. And in this situation, given how spread out the enemy team was, I think patience was probably a really awkward approach there, just not bubble. Trust you could follow up afterwards was fine. But important distinction there. It's really got to choose. We need to dodge that. Frick.
What do you think about that play, Chris?
One sec.
I didn't realize the Sigma was fluxing.
What about that? What do you think about the non-jump?
Should have walled, kinda.
I'm also curious to see how the live coaching is going, though, Fast J. But maybe you're right. Maybe we should skip. What do you guys, chat? What do you guys think? Should we skip to the VOD review? I'm down if they're gonna discuss it anyway. What do y'all think? I honestly have not paid attention whatsoever what happened here. Yeah, you can tell Chris is so panicky about point.
Think about the non-jump.
86%. We just have all the time in the world. We could literally go from here.
That's my question.
Like, we should jump here, bubble here, flank all the way around, take the long way to point, the safe way to point. Seriously, what do you guys think? Should we just go? Be more patient. I don't like primals without bubble, if we can avoid it. I don't like primals without bubble. I love a good bubble trade to open up the opportunity for good kills. All right, so we'll okay, fine. We'll skip to the review section. We'll skip the live coaching. We'll talk about the review. Did they go over the entire match? The nuance from this might be important for the review. You don't think so? Okay, so let's go over the entire match. It's not long. It's not long, and we're already one round in. So let's just keep going. But yeah, Chris needs to stage left, bubble left, walk the point, try to greed at the like. Don't do anything right now. Again, look at the kill feed. Echo's dead. Kiriko's dead. Ana's dead. We do not need to be forcing primal right now. We need to take the left angle, bait them the point. Your second bubble, That's when your team is going to start respawning. That's when we're going to start leveraging point. That's when that bubble's going to set up that primal engage.
How likely
Chris
is it to
just
work?
gets very frantic about point instead of staging his next. And again, I mean, again, I really glass houses, stones. Like his Winston's better than mine. Okay, like it just is. Winston used to be a good tank, and I used to be like Masters 2, Masters 1 with Winston back in the day. But no, so that's a good juggle there with point. Good jump there as well.
That was good. I like that bubble. That was good. Nice, Chris.
Take half.
Yeah, very nice.
I like that.
Probably should focus
Sig,
support
that-
here
that
if he
over.
can,
Apply
but
pressure. Let
Sigma
the
was
phone go.
the
Let
easy
phone
one
go.
there.
Let the phone go. Kill these fuckers.
Deep jump. Yeah, great jump. Great jump there.
Nice.
Beautifully
Love that,
done.
Chris.
That's a
But I don't know why
tragedy
you
that
were
your
so
team got
adamant about a
traded.
point. You could've just killed the Sigma.
I was the only one touching it, was I not?
No, you were not. And you have to trust somebody
Whatever.
to touch.
I do agree that Chris prior to his point
Okay,
too much,
you-
but
You're like,
in that particular situation, I'm not so sure.
For sure, right? That's probably what you were thinking.
Well, no, but it's like,
Answer is-
but isn't
I
this
lose
one of the
voice,
ways
yeah,
too?
yeah.
Like, shouldn't you're like so big or don't trust your teammates to do anything, but now we need to trust our teammates to touch?
No, but you could have pushed a little bit more. You still had time. You still had, what I'm saying. You still had time. You have like a very long overtime triggered. You're fine. You had your jump. Just
Pack it
fucking
up,
walk,
Monk.
kill the
Yes,
Sigma,
sir.
And then cap the point.
There's nothing to pack up.
You're
You
giving
know,
up.
just
Sigma.
me
What
and
do we talk
my
about? What do you think about the nano jump?
me and my
Let me
walking
just explain.
stick and
I mean,
It was
yeah.
way too early,
I
bro.
don't know
Way
nothing
too early.
else.
They had all their cooldowns. The only reason why this even works is because Ana somehow got slipped.
Yeah.
Way too early. Okay? Same thing with the Primal. Way too early. Don't try to force play.
That's true. Yeah, the primal is awkward's 100% right. Chris definitely has a franticness when it comes to objective for sure.
When you see your team is starting to take angles,
Instead of, like I said, it's again the franticness when you're down. It's like that's not the time to focus objective. It's to let it go into the last possible second. The time to focus on the objective is when you have a massive advantage and you just don't want to give away flip for free or give away progress for free, right?
traps the enemy's attention. That's where you
Capitology is watching my talent video.
try not to lose HP here.
Love
as much
that.
as you can. Yep.
I hope that it does
Yep.
not come across as egotistical. I really was not so sure about that video. I had to talk with my editor about it. I was like, I don't know if we should release this video or not, but I don't know. I thought it was an interesting discussion. It's like the classic Chris, right? Like, I'm being too negative here. I'm being too negative. This is okay, but this is a situation where like you either need to gap close now, cross your lane, or don't peek at all. Right? Don't peek at all. You know, like at this point in time, like this is just too far, right? Like this is like we don't get anything out of alt fire chaining here, right? Just hold the corner. Don't peek this. Let them walk forward and compensate and go from there. Because it's just we're in such a bad spot to hold the space now again, right? It's kind of what happened the first fight in the previous time. Let them come in. Now we just have to. I don't even know what we do now. Our supports are sweating their cheeks off. That's a good jump. That's inconvenience.
Not the greatest position
right?
here.
Sets up the res. I mean, I think it's okay, right? It's inconvenient. Look at the response here, right? So we don't just jump a target, we jump an angle, right? We bubble. Ana's in a horrible spot right now. Sigma, I don't know what Sigma's doing. Sigma shouldn't be peeling this, but he is. Lucio, peeling this. We've preserved our HP. We're super annoying. We've opened up space for our team. We've allowed the res, and we've preserved our HP. So now Chris needs to give point. He needs to give point. I'm going to weep if he goes in here and dies. Okay, maybe not. Okay, now that the Ash is dead, now it's different.
Yep. Have an angle, perfect.
Lucio, but crucially, this only works because he preserved his HP. What's up, Awkward?
Really good. They need that bubble,
But
bro. Now you would have jumped with a bubble and it would have been okay. They need that bubble, yes.
Yeah, Chris just got a bumbling PC. He's got a Spylo PC. So.
Just right clicks. Even if you lose HP, you're fine.
Nice alt fires. It's got some good alt fire mechanics.
Take a look at your team as well where they are.
Yeah.
Chris, what is that bubble?
Okay, so here, this is where he just needs to kind of choose a side. He's ping-ponging a little bit, which means he's not really in a good position to angle jump here. And he doesn't really check bridge either. He's kind of ping-ponging. So if you notice what the Frey does, she just walks. She just walks. And so I actually... I don't... This bubble's tough, because like we could get crossfired. It is Freya. She can dump bubbles. I probably would have waited half a second, especially because we have the cover of the rock. But, yeah.
That's with the
What is that bubble, bro?
Got the kill. But
Yeah, bro, just because you got a kill doesn't mean it was a good bubble. How is the bubble contributing to the kill?
You can't be hindsighty with bubbles. You have to go like, did we need bubble given the amount of damage that we're going to be taking? Rock? And I would say probably not. But my main criticism here is that we keep ping-ponging instead of sticking with a corner, sticking with a lane, going from there.
It may be cozy.
You can go
Stop. Stop it.
Again, you're chilling. You're literally not doing much. Just poking. All you're doing is setting up the ability for your team to go. Let them take the white room. It's okay.
I don't like this. I don't like this. Okay. I don't love this. I don't mind this so much. We do have an off angle here. Like we got a bit of it. This is like a kind of a take and trade angle. You know, we got some pressure on right. We're going to be a little bit off to the left. My question is what's happening on the lane that we were just on? What's happening here, right? Where is that Freya going to go? She's just used updraft. Where is that Freya? Where's that back line? You see it?
You ready?
So we got the point trade, right? And we're about to go nano. We're going to go nano right down the lane.
Yeah.
Wait.
Like we're being flanked. We're being flanked right now, I think.
Okay.
And he gets a good deep angle there, I will say.
Who gives a fuck?
You ready?
Would have preferred, I would have preferred us to do, to keep an eye on Freya, and then to only do this if we've made sure that Freya isn't doing anything in the lane that we are.
Go.
And Awkward's
Let them take the white room. It's
Awkward's
okay.
criticism here is that we needed to let the Sigma walk forward.
Wait.
Go.
And I agree. This is too soon. Like let the Sigma commit to something first, so that then your team has something to shoot during the dive. But the dive is really good. The dive is really deep, and yeah. But you see what happened with the Freya, right? I'm not saying this is necessarily our fault, but that is that nuance of like we did leave that Freya uncontested early before Sigma even walked to point. Right? There's no real reason for us to go to point before he becomes a problem, right? We could just control the lane
okay,
first.
but I would have loved for you to force a little bit of coolness before going with Nano Blade.
So much as unplayable in 6vs? I mean...
Can you even hear me, by the way?
I can hear you. Sorry, I gotta focus.
Nano Blade. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I can't talk, listen, and play. So I can listen and play. You can talk.
Whole corner zap. Whole corner zap.
Not even joking.
So this is kind of like a good example of what I talk about, like off angle theory. Like you look at this situation here, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. With 81% and heal bubble, I'm probably taking the flank dive here.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just I can't
I'm probably
talk,
taking the
listen,
flank
and play.
dive. Like right here, I'm getting a little bit of healing, and then I'm jumping from behind on that mega health back right off the screen. You guys can't see it. Oh, you guys can. And I'm gonna pincer from behind. I'm gonna primal and kill everybody, right? And I'm gonna do that because I have heal bubble, because I've got the lane for free, and because I have 82% primal. Okay. However, if you didn't have any of those things, you can crossfire here. This is a 90-degree angle, just like first fight in the previous round. And you've got pressure here, and you've got pressure here. This is a tank trade that we can take, right?
So I can listen and play. You can talk.
Whole corner zap.
The problem is we do that little corner peek, which is always spooky. But the good news, yeah, we got booped. Frick. But the good news is we still have the angle, and we didn't take a lot of damage for it.
Nice.
Now,
Gotta jump out if you can.
I don't know if I would have jumped Ash there. I know that sounds crazy to you guys. I would have stayed in my bubble and shot from my bubble. Anyone that's close to me right now. This is a disgusting flank that we have right now, or angle. Sigma's completely isolated. Ash is completely isolated. Backline is not only MIA, they're not even peeking right now. So we don't have to do this. We're going to win this fight either way.
Try to jump out if you can.
Yeah, exactly. So.
In 2 seconds, that is killable.
Just leave it.
A little early. But the angle's good. The angle's good. Very inconvenient for the EME team. And still winnable. Just bubble.
But it was jump block.
Okay, I guess he doesn't bubble. But
Early.
I honestly, I probably would have bubbled there. I'm surprised he didn't. Like, cause there should be a lot of damage coming in right now. But hey, you know what? Hindsight's 20/20, sure, right, guys? Right, guys? Now, crucially, we're like, oh, we didn't need bubble, right? Well, do you guys notice what we did? We took Valking Mercy Pocket and Anti and Nade. So this is one of those situations where I sign a bubble. Preserve your HP here, so that your supports can dump resources elsewhere, or don't get fluxed. But whatever. Way too early bubble. This is the one that Awkward should criticize, I think, because they are not even looking at him right now. They are not even looking. We also have primal, so we're less concerned about the damage that we can take. We're more concerned about how deep we can get in there. And like right now, I mean, they're just not even looking. Right? They're just not even looking. This is bad. There's a lot of chaos happening right now, so we'll cut Chris some slack. But this is where you run it down. You just keep going. Because now.
Bubble. Do you need that bubble yet?
Yep.
Keep playing. You have a lot of HP. Keep playing. Okay.
Go for Lucio. Go for Lucio. Good job.
All you have to do is wait for them to fuck.
It's funny too, because you could tell Chris does not want to leave point right now.
Bubble yet?
Do you see the problem again, chat?
Keep playing. You have a lot.
And I know I'm being
playing.
hypercritical again here.
Okay.
I don't want to be hypercritical. But right now, we need to win this fight. If we win this fight, it is over. We do not care about 10%. If we lose the fight and they get an extra 10%, you know, cap charge because we lost, sure. But I would prefer a 30% greater chance of us winning this fight than a, you know, I'm going to deny them 10-15% cap charge. I would much rather guarantee this with Primal on the Ashe that just used coach.
Wait for him to fuck up. This guy's a dumbass. Just jump in bubble.
You know? So, like, I don't mind this here, but you could tell, like, right here, bro, I'm not going to lie. You got to jump here. You have to jump here. It's hindsight, like the pixel that he gets around the corner, he kills him. But if that Lucio lives there, dude, that hurts. You know? Like, Lucio has to die there. And you could tell Chris was really not going to pursue. He's not pursuing. And frankly, here, I'm leaving point and beelining it towards that Ashe right now. I don't give a frick about Sigma right now. That Ashe must die. Let Sigma capture the point. I don't give a frick. That Ashe must die. She has to die. Win.
All you have to do is wait for him to fuck up.
Right? This is how we lose.
Just jump in bubble.
We don't care about point. Win the fight.
Next. Fuck this guy up.
Yeah. Okay.
Next guy, fuck him up. That was the better. I want you to notice that you didn't force too many plays here, and it still worked because you actually hard engaged the right time. But chill with the bubble, please, okay?
Okay.
Don't preemptively use it because I think they're gonna shoot. Did you see what this Lucio just did? Ran through the middle of the point in front of everybody and just died. That's what I mean by you give these people too much credit. What the fuck was he doing? And all you have to do is wait for somebody to put something, like, not wait, you force them to make these stupid plays. And then you capitalize with your own bubble.
Okay.
The Dragon Balls. Tough point for Winston. Really going to be all about taking those little corners. Okay, so first things first. What is the optimal angle? There's the word. First, for Chris to take the tank trade in this choke. Where is the optimal angle for Chris to take the tank trade in this choke? A couple of choices, right? Here, you know, here, or here. You do not stuff them here because there is no follow-up on your team. And there's no ball on your backline, right? There's nowhere to shoot on right here. Right, exactly. So, like, we need, I mean, even middle pillar, yeah, sure. Like, anything, we need these guys to kind of walk into where we can actually push. So the problem here is we got to cleave. Yeah, cleave. But the problem is that there's nobody here to shoot, right? We don't have any angles on the back line. We don't have any angles on the front lane. And all they're going to do is shoot bubble, 3v1, 4v1, break bubble, force you out, take space. And it costs them nothing. It costs them nothing. It costs them 200 shield. An accretion that, you know, probably shouldn't have been used, but doesn't matter. And you notice immediately afterwards they explode right out because there's just no pressure. So alternatively, I mean, you could even argue going coast side here. I mean, hindsight, you know, oh, look at that. We could have dealt with that. But we didn't know that was there, right? That's kind of hindsight coaching, right? But we could have go here. You know, we could have gone here and then bubbled here. We could have gone here and then taken a bubble trade on this corner here and then actually won the trade. What it is there's a lot of face stuffing, choke stuffing. Let him in, cleave. Let him in, cleave. Let him in, angle. Right? So, yeah. Oh, rock. Right. You said the thing. Yeah, we lose a lot of space because we just didn't get a good bubble trade. We didn't do enough damage. We didn't hold enough space. And it wasn't because... It's because where we positioned ourselves, we had to bubble early.
You engaged too early and put your bubble for no reason, so they just ignored your bubble and just killed your teammates. Alternatively, what he could have done is hold the corner or even play middle of the point for now, because your character is not suited to fight in the white room.
You're right,
face-to-face against Sigma.
Yeah, I mean, we could, yeah, I mean, he's definitely right. Like, I think taking the fight in white room is just kind of unnecessary, but if you were, you would go far right? Like, really make him come out to turn that corner on you. Very similar to what we did in first fight. Like, I'm telling you, the first fight on Lijiang Night Market, like, that where we staged was okay. We just face shoved again, right? You need to let them come into you, you know? Yeah. Like, this is okay, right? This is a bad map for Winston, but we could be comfortable even if we need to bubble trading here. Because this is, really, he shouldn't go back, right? Like, the fact, thank you for the danger. He could just keep going here, right? Like, if they're going to give him that lane for free and Sigma's not going to push that, sure, that's all right. Like, we right now just need to keep going and then just bubble trade right here. It sucks. It doesn't feel good, but it's free. That's how you win tank trades. That's how you allow your team to break Sigma Shield, right? Because we can actually do something here. You see, the problem is this. Do you notice how we get to these positions, right? To these little angles. Because we didn't walk, we had to jump, right? Which then means that if this team decides to turn on the heat or use an ultimate, we're fricked. And then also, because we crossed from...
I like that.
Now, we are getting healed, to be fair. But because we cross from here, we just take more damage and we give more opportunities to boop, right?
I'm okay with that.
Right? Like, this is what happens. Do the exact same thing, but walk and bubble here. Exact same thing. Or if nobody's there, keep walking a point, bubble there. You know?
Still was a little bit too early.
It's the walk staging. You know? It's the walk staging. We can go... no, Freya's left. It's kind of cancer.
Switch, do something.
Okay-ish. Again, there's nobody really marking him on that right lane. He probably could have just not bubbled and kept walking. But we do have a bit of cleave. We are taking a little too much damage.
Try to see if you can do something in the back line.
Yeah, I mean, so you kind of see what I'm saying? Like, obviously, like, they're pushing up here, but you see, like, kind of what's available here if we just keep going?
Yeah, it's all up.
And then what we do is we force them to come on top of us. Like, let's put it this way. If you go here...
Like, so you gotta do something, man. Switch.
We're also down our Mercy, which is kind of a bummer. But if we just keep going here, right? And we just keep going, and we just keep walking. And we keep walking, and we keep walking, and then we full HP bubble here. This will not happen. Like, this stuff, at least, will be a lot harder. You know? Just take the space that's available. Easier said than done. Very difficult, but yeah.
All right.
We can... Oh, no, we're gonna win. We're gonna win.
I like to avoid using your bubble when you're jumping. Okay.
Free one. Okay, appreciate it.
I mean, you could even just go far right here. Like, I mean, you have to be creative. There's not a lot of lanes here. If the Sigma's stuffing this choke, you could just flank. Just go all the way to point. Do the same rotation, but just keep going, please. Just keep going.
Can you see me?
You got to keep going. You see what happens is because he doesn't keep going, he doesn't see who's marking him. He wants that little bit of chip healing. No, you just, sure, maybe not, right? And this is perfect. If we were here with full HP or 550 HP, whatever, and bubbling here, this is the congratulations, we've made it. We've actually got a good health trade, forcing support resources backwards, denying the DPS to the angle, and in a perfect position for a Primal Rage, right? You could go left Omega. I think he's being a little bit conservative because of the Freya. But the problem is that we got surprised. You take the angle, you know that the angle's being contested, you fight for the angle.
Okay, that's good, mate. That's good.
Yeah, that was good.
It's the same crap though. It's always goes right, either gets uncontested and doesn't do anything, goes back to main, or gets contested and then goes back to main and dies.
Chill, wait out the beat. Chill.
Take the staging that you've got, even just a little bit of the side angle there. Nothing, no flank crazy stuff necessarily.
Nice, good bubble. He's dead, probably, yeah. Why? Because you use bubble at the correct time, you can primal. Nice, good job.
Nice, good. Bubble in the primal. That's a really nice one right there. Very nice job. Bubble in the primal was really good there. Good little bit of mechanics there too.
Nice. That was a good fight. By the way, again, you were kind of stuck on point when they beat. I say chill, wait the beat, but I didn't mean just AFK. If they're not shooting or not looking, just out.
I don't think Chris needs the coaching necessarily. If Chris wanted the coaching, he'd get the coaching. But, you know, it's also nice. Like, let's put it this way. I would consider, I've done a lot of self-aud review of myself, but I do think that there's some merit to getting outsider perspectives, even if you are a great coach. Like, it's just nice to have an outsider perspective. Just somebody goes, hey, what are you doing here? Like, well, hang on. Like, you know, you sit there and make excuses, but so, you know, like, I think it's nice to have an outsider perspective. You know,
Someone's server, Freya server.
Now he has no ult, so how does he win next fight? Well, you know, that's hindsight, right? Like, I agree with you. I think the Primal was definitely needed. So my question is more along the lines of why was Primal needed at that point in time, right? So could we have played better to where Primal wasn't needed? And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, she's
right?
server.
So this is fine, I think. I wouldn't have minded of us playing server versus Freya because that's where we were, and then shockingly give up point, you know? But let's see.
Yeah, she's a server.
Now, this is definitely one where he needed to be greedier with bubble. And there's one specific reason why. Why? It's a really tricky edge to toe, but the Ashe isn't looking at him yet. And so you got a quarter of a second, right? Now, if you're trying to outplay the CC, maybe. We've talked about that before, but there's not a tension right now. So we can wait just a little bit. We could just wait a little bit and then go from there. But to be perfectly frank with you guys, I think the more interesting question here is why that we were staging from this side of the map, we hear it a threat on this side of the map, and we walk away from it to play main. Right? And then look what happens in the kill feed.
Yeah, she's in server.
She's in server. Okay.
Double too early first.
Freya kills Cass. Now that's hindsight coaching. Cass could have just as easily killed Freya, but you were there. That was the easiest and most efficient use of your resources, was to deal with the Freya in a space that is good for Winston. A congested angle. We walked away from it. Yes, that means we give up point. That's correct. We win the fight though. Or we try to win the fight, or we increase our odds of winning the fight.
Server.
Sig behind him with a rock as well, to be fair. Yeah, that's true. That's true, but I still think it's a question of, I do think like a question of a couple of meters here would have mattered. The other thing too, the more important thing from like what we did was obviously we needed a clean disengage. Like I think we got booped out of it, but we needed to go all the way to the mega and then hopefully play for a re-engage later on. But yeah, almost impossible to win that fight. Double DPS ult.
Do you notice that, like when you're playing, when I pointed out, like that you bubble early or you like hard engage too early with the bubble? Do you notice that?
Okay. Let me check it.
Okay, go ahead. For sure.
Because they have ult disadvantage, so they kite ults, install gift flip. Yeah, you have to gift flip. You play to try to surprise their DPS angles. You play patiently. You play for space. You play to support your DPS to harass. You do not play to stop flip. You just can't. Like you don't. They have too many things. Like it'd be the same if there was Kitsune, if they had beat, if they had flux. You just can't play to stall a point. Like you got to play to win the fight, right? Hadi said he should have bubbled and sat in point and jump out. I mean, maybe. But again, it's still the point of like, what is that really doing? Hadi's idea is that it would have been better for playing his life. And I would have agreed with that. Yeah. For me, I would have preferred more attention on the flanks. Try to clutch it up. Try to clutch up a DPS. Let him flip. Who cares? Catch in the last possible second. Yeah, exactly. You play for your hero play. You play to punish that Freya. You played, sneak. I mean, you could have played coast side and snuck behind and try to catch the bat by surprise. You just have to play for a hero angle, basically. But
I'm 99% sure you have to be wrong.
Wait, I just want to show.
Right, let me show you this one, and then we'll look at that one. Okay. So then I find some staging. I try to get this.
Okay, this is important.
Original position is good, but my point is, there's no world in which I'm not bubbling in this exact spot anyway, right? Like this.
Yeah.
What would Chris do? Chris needs to work on his staging. Chris's dives mechanically and bubble timings are not great, but like I think, the diving mechanics and all fire and so on are pretty good. The problem is that Chris needs to keep walking. He needs to keep angle maxing just a little bit more and being willing, if he's not marked, to just keep going. If he gets marked, bubble trade, fine, whatever. But maybe most importantly, Chris's tendency to face stuff. He'll see he gets an angle on a choke or whatever, and he shoves his face in for early cleave or pressure instead of letting the enemy team come into him. He didn't do it badly here, but that so far has been a consistent problem. And then I think just fundamentally, I think he worries about the objective too much in fights where he can't worry about the objective. He just has to play the long, patient game. Give him a couple extra capture points, let them flip, win the fight.
I wait. Like okay, they are gonna like. Why let them get me low? Because on the off chance, like in this situation, whatever's happening, I'm bubbling.
I can tell you why. Because first of all, the bubble positioning is not that great. It can cover the right side where the Ashe is still peeking. She can still shoot. But the thing is that I want to ask you, from your perspective, what does your bubble accomplish?
No, I don't think he uses too many resources stage. I mean, definitely thinks he has too much urgency between bubble cycles, probably. But I think more so than anything else, it's just like more expediency, more speed with taking side space and side fights. Like just getting to the targets that he wants to get to from the less direct path. But I don't know if that's really the case. I've watched freaking one code or one. I have no idea, just from a little bit that we've seen.
Holy sheer.
It allows.
I have no idea if that's a consistent pattern or not. So
if I don't bubble here, I've already lost armor by this stage, and I'm jumping out, and then I'm bubbling, and then they're pushing into the bubble.
Okay, so the enemies send a bob, right? Your team purely like disengages based on what you see here. They're not picking. Well, naturally, that's what they should do. Like if they use the bob way too early, why even try to fight it? Why fight its advantage? Just guide it out and then go back in.
Is that Chris's screen?
I mean, this is true, but like that's a caveat, right? Like that's a deflection. Like the reality is, there's no scenario, in my opinion, that losing even a single HP here is good.
So I just want to.
I think you could agree to it a little bit longer, but yeah.
It maintains my HP. It maintains some pressure on the map. It effectively splits the team. It's gonna like the second I start to make people turn around.
Can you pause for a second? When you say it effectively splits the team, and that is only good when.
Well, if my team can shoot their front line.
Look, bro, amazing. You're right. Front line, back, anything. If your team...
No. It's if your team is doing anything. Like, this is just fundamentally, like, kind of comes on, like, what is tanking? Tanking is doing damage, applying pressure, doing anything when your team can do something else. And right now, the Cassidy is taking the duel with Freya. And in theory, our team is shooting Sigma Shield. The problem, to me, is not about, like, the theory of bubble. It's just, we need to do something right now. The fight is happening. The fight is starting. We need to be doing something right now. The question is whether we could have gone here with our bubble instead and taken no significant damage. And that's a legitimately good question. My argument has been that, like, we probably shouldn't be this conservative of an angle when we're in last fight territory with a team with 1, 2, 3 ults. We should be trying to do something risky or doing something silly, or maybe like Hadi said, you know, bubble on point, be super, super conservative, and then just try to dodge flux or whatever. But, like, to me, this isn't about, like, the concept of, like, it's not that deep, you know, like, we just need to do something right now. And the question is whether we could have greeted the bubble from here to here versus an Ashe that wasn't looking at us. You know? I don't know.
Can shoot. If you just look back and you realize, or if you just, you know, have the tendency of to understand, like, you do understand.
Well, the question is we can't look back. Like, it's too late to look back. Pre-fight, sure. But when we can't. Like, we have to do something now.
Pay more attention to. If they use Bob earlier, they use...
For almost 20 minutes? All right, we'll give it like 2 minutes, and then I might move on.
Even it happens, by the way, in plats. When people use ults early, most of the time, people just go back. So you split their attention, sure, but nobody could capitalize on it.
But it's 99%. We can't kite this ult. You know, like we can't. Like, something has to happen somewhere, right?
That's the idea. And now exactly when your Soj picks the mercy pocket, that's when you want to split the team. That's the time that you want to split the team. That's the time.
But I just don't think it's reasonable for us in this developed fight to decide that this is the timing for the split. Because if we waited until Sojourn peaked right now, I promise you that we would be 300 HP. Promise you. Promise you. I've agreed with a lot of these early bubbles, especially the face-stuffing bubbles, before people have done anything or taken any space. And I also can agree that sometimes that Chris probably bubbles too early in targets that aren't looking. But if Chris waited to bubble until now, he is either dead or 200 HP. Promise you.
That frame that you see right now is exactly where your bubble should be used. Now, you can say, well, I could have lost a lot of my HP there.
And also, I don't know that it's reasonable for us to expect Chris or any player to make this timing of a read when the fight has been going on for 3 or 4 seconds.
And then I had to jump out. Okay, and you jump out and what? So what? It's good. Don't need to fight this yet. Wait. You're fine.
But I do agree that Chris does have an objective, like an objective obsession. But I also think that 99% doing something is not like necessarily a mistake. If Chris jumped point right now, I'd be like, come on, Chris, let them flip, play to win on this angle here, play to win there, right? But I don't think Chris is doing that here. Chris is like letting them get the flip as he should, right?
So use the...
There's an urgency to do something. There just isn't an urgency to do something on point.
Bob. I don't know what else to use. Something
he has bubble. He should do something because the fight is actively going on.
Jump in with the bubble where people can follow up. That's what I'm saying. And you can see, by the way, almost every bubble that you have done in this round or in this match, actually, the first,
I'm about out, actually.
The second point was better. But the third point from start to finish, you'll see your bubbles way too early. Now, granted, you did use some because your HP exploded, but that is less with the bubble usage, how you decided to stage or set up.
I would agree, yeah. Definitely some staging issues.
And by the way, you cut off the team, you say, like, what if Ashe kills my team? She couldn't because your team was behind cover. Number 2, I split the attention so my team can capitalize, but they couldn't because they were not there. That's what I'm saying, too early. This jump, you're not suited to take a fight in the server room. Your best case scenario, maybe play in the right side,
Hi, Kitty.
Side of the screen there if you want to play white room, so you can avoid taking some of the damage and capitalize. Yeah, this fight, I don't know why you thought this bubble was good. I mean, I understand why the...
What do you think of Chow content? I haven't watched it.
Because if, let's say that let me get epic. Wait, can you see if I go
don't know, to be honest.
No, because you're streaming the game. If you stream
okay, it doesn't matter. I don't need the pen. Like, if my Sojourn or someone swings bottom side right now and headshots to Lucio, we say this is a good bubble. No, we say this is a good bubble.
No, we don't say this is a good bubble.
We do. Because everything we do here is
I'm going to give Chris 1 minute, then we're going to move on.
No, Chris, this is not even if it's Soj. So there are 2 components to combat this. The one is the obvious one. If, again, you're going back to if my team makes the correct decision, right? Based on the circumstance. Okay, so like you have to understand that's not going to happen. Therefore, you can make decisions based on what you assume should happen.
You can go a little further with your thing, bubble.
Players that I work with who are very do. These people don't. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing that we cut off to, even if you bubble here or you don't bubble here, Lucio is still there. If Soj swings, she kills the soldier.
Okay, yeah, I think that we're making marginal headway. We will move on. Again, the question really comes down to, like, you know, when the fight starts, does my Winston need to be doing something? I think the answer is yes. And then the question kind of comes down to, like, is my Winston doing something optimally? You know, could he greed a little further with doing something? Is he greeding too far? Is he staging properly? You know, this kind of, like, I think obsession with, like, trying to get these crazy timings down. I think it's like maybe straining in that, you know, a little bit.
Why?
Okay.
You know what? You know what?
Okay.
Let's just say you're correct. The reason why I need to bubble now is because why are you walking to the middle of the point, Chris?
Because if I bubble now, I can get within range to do maximum damage to anyone that touches point, and also my team can't take damage, you know?
Hear me out.
And we get
Okay,
the point
let's say-
flip, which is the key.
Let's say you're okay. Fair. Wouldn't it be fair to say that all they have to do when you put a bubble right now? Okay, monkey use bubble. Wait 3 seconds and then go.
I actually disagree with Awkward here. I think because of what we have done with our rotation here, any motion that we'd make right now to any location is going to involve taking a dumpster load of damage. There is in no way a shape, like no world where you cannot say, like, you can't save bubble. You have to use it, like, right now. And in fact, Chris fumbles this because he waits too long. He tries to get too close. He's messed up, right? Partly due to staging, partly due to his team getting picked off, but also just partly due to there's just not a lot of cover here, right? So just bubble here. We're going to force point. They're going to walk into our bubble, and we're going to preserve our HP. And then we're going to get a miracle pick off of our damage boosted echo, or we're not, and we're going to disengage and live to see another day. I mean, you could literally just watch how this fight plays out because Chris doesn't bubble for a while and his HP just explodes.
With point flip, that's awful for them.
Is it?
Of
Your Anna is
course.
dead?
That's
No,
like
your Anna is dead. Yeah.
This is definitely, it's a better than Tuesday's discussion, but so many of these conversations, just play. Look at what happens. Just play. Watch.
Gain even more percentage.
Yeah, okay, but then they re-killers and stuff.
Watch. Just watch.
What happens? How do we lose? Flip.
In ranked, you do win the objective, but most of the time, the most consistent way to win the objective is to win the team fight first and then.
True. Yeah, but unrelated for what we're talking about exactly in this particular moment.
Because you put yourself in the middle of the point for no reason. Where's the cover?
I mean, the idea here is to close the gap and to try to create a clutch opportunity. I don't think forcing point here it's a good angle, right? Like, we're running away and the enemy team is rushing towards us, using resources. This is an angle. It's good. It's not a lot of cover, but there's just nothing you can really do
How do you
uh,
about
avoid 4 people shooting at you right now? And the simple answer, where you would tell me, is the bubble. But I'm telling you, you should not find yourself in a position.
Because we've been unable to get. Now, maybe, I don't remember, maybe Chris was too slow transitioning here. Maybe he could have gotten here faster, in which case, maybe. But.
Where you get poked out by 4 people, use your bubble. You might as well just use the simple cooldown that these.
And 4v5, you don't play for team fight, for point. No. 4v5, you do not play for objective. No. You will never win the objective fight in a 4v5. Never.
4-second cooldown, which is the jump, to put yourself in a position.
The only thing you can do is play for space and hope the enemy team over prioritizes this objective.
I mean, they kind of could if they were really.
Okay.
Just play it. Play it.
Kind of like change.
Look at his health.
You have to use it. These people. Okay, Chris, what are we doing here today? Damage with our bubble. We don't just jump in and press bubble. We jump in and press.
Play
bubble.
it.
You take it easy. I'll see you later, okay?
Oh, is that it?
I kind of like.
Oh, man. Well, had its moments. Definitely had its moments. So, big thing for me has just kind of been like, Chris definitely has an objective focus too much in fights where he needs to focus on winning the fight. Definitely has some staging problems. Definitely could probably be greeting his bubbles a little further, and definitely needs to stop face stuffing. But I don't necessarily agree that all of these bubbles have been bad. And I think the concept of like trying to like Chris taking initiation and taking initiative when there is combat happening elsewhere, I think sometimes Awkward saying like, oh, they're not going to do anything, they're not going to follow up, there's no reason, there's nothing really happening right now, and I'm like, well, kind of is, I think it's okay, so all right, well, yeah, I guess this yeah, is what it is. Look for it. Hottie steak of Sval's steak of Awkward steak of criticism. Yeah, I might be getting off this train unless there's some new, more productive discussion. This is a lot better than Tuesday, so I will say that. A lot better than Tuesday. A little bit more listening, a little bit more thoughtful. But But yeah, I mean, again, easy for me to say. You know, I'm not the one. It's gameplay being coached. I'm not the one on stream. You know, I'm got the third party. I got the React advantage where I can just, I don't know what I'm circling that for, to where I can just kind of sit back here and throw stones in my little nook and take no criticism. So, but it was a good discussion. I hope you guys learned something. I really try to not just talk about like the opinions here, because that was, whatever. To me, it's more like use this as a springboard to talk about Winston, talk about staging, talk about taking space, right? Talk about stuffing and holding lanes, holding angles, timing, greeting, so on. And the objectively better minor perk. That's a joke. The bubble toss. But yeah. Questions? Concerns? Thoughts? I'll make a video. Thank you, Sarah Lee. I am super hoarse. So you use the rock enough? No. There's a lot of unworn toss. I mean, yeah. But like I said, easy for me. I found a video of me playing my guitar. Nice. It's a rare one. We need a ding emote? Maybe we do, yeah. Maybe we do. Rock the bell. Wait, no, I muted it. There you go. I mean, whole reason they did this was because Awkward beat them in a Masters rank game. I mean, Awkward's... I don't know why that's a surprise. Awkward's going to obliterate them in a Masters rank game. But... So, would you be interested in watching a VOD of console control playing PC at Champ 4? Maybe. I mean, you could DM it to me, maybe. Rock. Awkward beat them in the VOD reviewed Hottie's Anna. Okay, that's a little bit disrespectful, but that is kind of funny. I can't imagine Hottie was too happy about that. That's funny. That's funny. Freaking VOD review on it. Hottie's Anna. That's crazy, man. One of y'all should do that sometimes. Play versus me in some crappy Diamond 3 Doomfist game. There's some Masters 5 stupid garbage can me trolling it. And then just Sigma male pull it up on stream and start VOD reviewing me. You know what I'm saying? Absolute Sigma move. In a pug, I'll do that for you. I respect that, Sarah Lee. Like the Doomfist compilation, but worse. Got nothing to lose, man. Listen, punch down on the 5'9", 5'8"ers. You know, it's not like they can hit back. You know, what am I gonna do? You know, my ops or my what is it? Not the opposite of my ops. My guns, my mates. No, that's not near gangster enough. I mean, they're all like 17 years old and say stuff like GOG, so they're not gonna do anything. So you're probably fine. My shooters, that's right. That's the gangster. My bad, guys. My shooters are all like 17 years old and like chronically online, so we're kind of fricked. You know what I'm saying? My goons, yeah, that's a good one. Homies, yeah. Well, no, homies is not aggressive enough. We need shooters for sure. My day ones. Nah, I still use goon, man. The goons, yeah. Goon's a good word. It so perfectly fits. It even sounds like it, you know? It's like slinky little lizard with a machine gun under a trench coat, you know what I'm saying? That's fodder of your Sigma play from Saturday Bugs. Look, that was not pretty. I'll be honest with you guys. My Winston on the previous one wasn't that bad. My team just sucked. Not my. I take zero responsibility. Pretty sure it's a deadlock hero. A lizard with a machine gun and a trench coat. That sounds about par for deadlock. Can't be worse than mine. You're my dwarves. My dwarfs. That doesn't sound nearly as intimidating. Yeah, me and my dwarfs. We out here. We out here mining for gold. Throwing witches off the cliff. You get what I'm saying? Snow White be like, yeah, me and my shooters. Yeah, freaking Snow White had shooters, man. They didn't know what hit her. Snow White had shooters. My meat shields? No, that's demeaning. We need something that's actually more demeaning than that, preferably. Me and my dwarves. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Rock and stone. Did you guys see what freaking Kyle DeSange commented on the talent video? Ah, fricker, man. I tell you what. Wait, you gotta really see if I can find it. Why talented people have it easy. And this guy, look at this guy. Look at this guy. I like how you say, I'm 5'9" right now, as if you still have got time, brother. What have I done to deserve this? What have I done? Why?
Hands with danger. Need a guy who ought to know.
Come on, man.
I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me.
I don't know why I even said it like that. I mean, it's a good question. I don't know why I said it like that. You know, like, but you know, come on, talking about. I mean, literally a low blow. You know, so you know, it is what it is, my friends. Just upvoted him. I appreciate that. I have no friends in low places. Freaking Kyle. There's no way that guy's taller than me either. Like, he has to. I guarantee that he's throwing glass. He's throwing glass houses in a stone. Got a hide surgery book? No way, man. I value my knees. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Stat check on Saturday. We'll read the win rates. We'll read the tea leaves, and then pugs. I'll see you guys there. Loves and kisses. How's the weather? Freezing. Loves and kisses. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for being here. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye, Twitch. I'll see you guys later. Tell Kappa said hi. Bye.